What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8 Mick. Chapter 196 Ye use ultimate devil fruit ability. You idiot, of course our Lord Im's strength is pretty good, who else can you tell me? How do you talk to the gods in this world? Is this the tone you should speak in? Sword Master Bickley said on the ground. Shang roared again. There is quite a feeling of being fake and powerful. Sword Master Bickley will naturally not give up this opportunity to please Lord Yimu. He dares to talk to Lord Yimu like this. He must educate this guy Yi Yu. However, what was waiting for Sword Master Bickley was a purple lightning. It was just a flash. Even Sword Master Bickley's unique sense of sight did not perceive the existence of this terrifying lightning. It was just a meeting in front of him. There was an explosion under my feet. With a bang, a huge sound resounded between heaven and earth. After the sound, there were still residual purple lightnings making sizzling sounds from time to time on the entire ground. Even the second elder next to Sword Master Bickley was so frightened that he fell directly to the ground. His white beard covered his whole body, and there was also an armed color attached to it, of domineering. The masters such as Garp, Sengoku, Cyborg Kong and others on the side also avoided each other one after another. The electric current is so terrifying that they can detect it. If the sharp lightning is coming towards them, then they will definitely not be able to avoid it. When they felt that the power had almost dissipated and turned their heads around, they discovered that Sword Master Bickley, the strongest among the celestial dragons in the past 800 years, was being shocked by electric shocks all over his body. Just like Kurozumi, black smoke comes out of the body from time to time. The smell of coke irritated their noses. Sword Master Bickley also spit out a mouthful of black smoke, was paralyzed by the electric shock, and fell directly there. Hereby, people around him took a breath, and couldn't believe that this powerful guy like Sword Master Bickley fainted from the electric shock with just one blow, this time in front of Yi Yu. The strength Yi Yu showed was even stronger than before. If Yi Yu hadn't hidden his strength before, then it can only mean that Yi Yu's strength has become stronger again. This kind of character should be hidden. It won't take half a year. I'm afraid even a terrifying existence like I am able to kill instantly. Kaido of the Beasts and Charlotte Linlin also came over one after another, looking shocked at the Sword Master Bickley who fell to the ground with his skin being electrocuted into char. Katakuri also followed her aunt closely, bowing slightly to her. Mom, I just used the color of observation to find out that the attack released by Yi Yu just now did not contain the power of domineering power. Katakuri said in shock. After hearing Katakuri's words, the aunt's eyes widened, and the bloodshot eyes were exposed. Then he turned to look at Katakuri, his red lips growing bigger. What are you talking about, Katakuri, are you kidding? I know Yi Yu is really strong, but he is the Sword Master Bickley after all. To deal with a strong man like Sword Master Bickley, Yi Yu can't even use his domineering energy now. The aunt looked suspicious, opened her mouth wide, and said with emotion. Katakuri continued to clasp his fists at the aunt, then looked at the aunt with firm eyes, swallowed his own saliva, and spoke slowly. That's right, Mom, Yi Yu's attack is just a pure devil fruit ability. I have already sensed it with my knowledge, and there is no domineering spirit in it at all. Katakuri replied firmly. After hearing these words, even Kaido, the beast on the side, felt an unparalleled shock. Just rely solely on devil fruit abilities. You know, for Yi Yu, the most terrifying thing for him is Yi Yu's conquerors. Judging from so many battles with Yi Yu's biggest trump card is also his own conquerors. It can even be said that Yi Yu's no matter how powerful the conqueror's enemy was defeated, Kaido would take it for granted. However, judging from his previous fights with Yi Yu's devil fruit ability is far inferior to his conquerors. It may not be a problem to defeat a four emperors like himself, but he can directly kill the Sword Master Bickley instantly. This kind of existence, which is closely inferior to the god-level existence of IM, made Kaido's back break into a cold sweat. Yi Yu, this guy, even his devil fruit abilities are so terrifying. He is simply a devil. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates also showed shocked expressions. Bickley, this guy, was defeated by our Captain Yi Yu with just one blow and in an instant. Captain Marco said in disbelief. Diamond Josie looked at Bickley, who fell to the ground in the experimental field with black smoke rising from his body, and opened his mouth in shock. Yes, that's right, Yi Yu just raised his hand, and Bickley fell to the ground. Although the Sword Master Bickley was taken away from the Holy Sword and his combat effectiveness dropped a bit, it is impossible to drop to this level. The point. If you say this, it can be confirmed that our Captain Yi Yu's Zero Division has improved in strength again. Now, I really didn't expect that Captain Yi Yu's strength would actually improve again. Everyone looked up at Yi Yu in the sky, looking shocked. Mihawk held the holy sword that Yi Yu had just given to him tightly in his hand, with a thoughtful expression on his face. Compared with Yi Yu now, I am afraid that even if I was given 10 lifetimes to practice as a swordsman, I would not be able to surpass Yi Yu. Even if he was given 10 lifetimes to practice his swordsmanship, Mihawk knew very well in his heart that in the end he would only be able to reach the realm of Swordmaster Bickley. And Sword Master Bickley, this guy was easily defeated just now by a casual blow from Yi Yu, without even using his domineering energy. His fate has been decided. In this life, he can only look up at Yi Yu's tall back and catch up step by step, but he can never catch up. Even Whitebeard showed an expression of extreme surprise. Although Yi Yu was powerful before, his ability to use devil fruit abilities was about the same as his own, so he often comforted himself that his ability to use the fruit was not too bad. But now Yi Yu actually killed such a powerful and terrifying guy like Swordmaster Bickley directly in front of him with a purple lightning. This makes Whitebeard a little embarrassed. Now Yi Yu is far superior to him in terms of his control of domineering and the use of devil fruits. In terms of aspects, they cannot be compared with Yi Yu, the captain of his own pirate group. On the battlefield, after Yi Yu released his Thunder Fruit ability, he looked at IM with a smile on his face. Chapter 197 Yi Yu, power is bullshit to me. I'm sorry, IM, this guy is really noisy. I had no choice but to take action in order to be quiet. I didn't expect that my action was a bit harsh this time. I'm really sorry, Yi Yu said jokingly, raising the corners of his mouth slightly. It seems that Yi Yu has the slightest attitude of admitting his mistake. IM naturally knew that Yi Yu was laughing at his tribe for being too weak, but as a guy who has lived in this world for so long, his mental strength is also extraordinary. He saw his tribe's sword master Bickley being electrocuted and became like that. After the appearance, there was no expression of regret at all, but instead he looked at Yi Yu with a smile on his face. Oh, really? Then I have to thank you, Yi Yu. In fact, I am also a quiet person. If you hadn't taken action, I might not have been able to hold back for a while, and I might have killed this noisy guy. It's over. A cold voice came, making people around them shudder after hearing it. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes and looked at Yi Mu in front of him. Yi Yu could feel that Yi Mu was definitely not lying at all. He could really kill his own people directly. You are really a cold guy, IM. Yi Yu stared at IM and murmured. After hearing Yi Yu's words, IM laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha. Yi Yu, I originally thought that strong people like you and me have mastered the truth of this world, but I really didn't expect that you are still so simple. Ha 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 ha. IM's cold laughter shuttled through the entire area of the Whitebeard pirates, making everyone shudder when they heard it. In this world, big fish eat small fish, and small fish eat shrimps. Such a simple truth, you don't even understand. Sword Master Bickley, since he is not strong enough, isn't it natural for him to die in the hands of someone stronger than himself? IM looked at Yi Yu with a serious look on his face and asked. Yi Yu shook his head. This guy IM gave him a different feeling from everyone before. He seemed to have lost human emotions. He was just a machine-like thing. Yi Yu shook his head helplessly. The person who doesn't understand the truth of this world is you, IM. Forget it, for a guy like you who has no emotions and has ruined the world like this, leave it to me to do justice for heaven and completely change the face of the world. Yi Yu said to IM. IM continued to laugh after hearing this. Don't be ridiculous, kid, I just defeated a sword master, a dog that is favored in front of me. What's so arrogant? IM showed a confident look. I can give you a chance, Yi Yu. As long as you are willing to surrender, I can forget all the things you have done before, including killing the Tianlong people, causing a scene at the Marine headquarters, and insulting Bickley. And, I also promised you the power that is less than one person and more than 10,000 people. IM said loudly, the domineering energy on his body was directly released, and a huge aura swept across all directions in an instant. Under the terrifying aura, there was a strong sense of oppression. Even the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard, the world's greatest swordsman, and the former uncrowned king, Golden Lion Shiki, felt cold sweat break out on their foreheads. It's so scary, conquerors, even I, the Golden Lion, can feel the pressure. Shiki, the Golden Lion, said in disbelief. The Whitebeard on the side also showed a solemn expression. In that case, IM's conquerors is not under Yi Yu. You know, we are now under the protection of Yi Yu's conqueror's wall. Without the protection of this wall, I'm afraid, we will be crushed immediately. Whitebeard said with emotion. But there is one thing I will definitely do. Even if Mr. Yi Yu fails in the end of this battle, I will definitely fight for Mr. Yi Yu, and I will follow Mr. Yi Yu and fail together. Mahawk looked serious. Said. White-bearded Edward Newgate showed a pleased expression to Mahawk. It seemed that the little brother Yi Yu brought was right. Did you see that the 5 elders, who were once at the pinnacle of power in this world, will surrender like a dog in front of you? On the battlefield, IM continued to win over Yi Yu. After all, Yi Yu's fighting power was so powerful that IM had the idea of replacing Swordmaster Bickley with Yi Yu. With the existence of a powerful bodyguard like Yi Yu, he would be able to sleep with him. 1,000 years of good sleep. In the past thousands of years, as long as there are resistors, they can be left to Yi Yu to deal with them personally. After the 5 elders felt the sense of oppression transmitted to them by Lord IM, they were so frightened that they fell to the ground and surrendered. IM looked at Yi Yu with an expression of relief, as if to show Yi Yu the dignity of a powerful person. Yi Yu smiled slightly. He was a salty fish, but he had no interest at all in the so-called power that IM said. Even if you get yourself to the highest position, what's the point of worrying and working hard all day long to protect your position? I have got what I want now. Enjoying delicious food, basking in the sun, and talking to my brothers and friends every day is not 100 times better than being a high-ranking person in power. Isn't it better than the pinnacle of power? Thinking of this, Yi Yu looked at IM with a very sad expression and smiled slightly. IM, you are really pitiful. To me, power is nothing but bullshit. What I want is the life I have now. No one will disturb me. I can live a salty life every day and live with my own brothers and friends. There is nothing better than the life I have now. The people in the Whitebeard pirates below were very moved after hearing Yi Yu's answer. Yi Yu, you guy. Just wait, when you defeat I am and no one in this world can disturb our Whitebeard pirates, I will definitely drink you down. Marco shouted loudly to Yi Yu. The surrounding Whitebeard pirates, especially the elite captains, also shouted to Yi Yu. Chapter 198. Is it just a temptation to be so strong? Yes, Marco is right, and wait, Yi Yu, don't think that your drinking capacity is unmatched in the world, I will definitely drink you down next time. Diamond Josie held the wine in his hand. Fist murmured. Fire Fist Ace also shouted after him. That's right, Captain Yi Yu, just wait. When you defeat I am, our Whitebeard pirates will definitely drink him up for 3 days and 3 nights. Fire Fist Ace said handsomely. That's right, there's me too. And I can't beat you in a fight. If I practice drinking, I will be able to defeat you. White-bearded Edward Newgate also laughed heartily. He stabbed the Kongyunchi in his hand hard on the ground, and a wave of momentum swept over him. Ha 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 ha. Did you hear that, Yi Yu? We are all waiting for your victory. We drank for 3 days and 3 nights to celebrate the victory. You must not lose this battle. Whitebeard's unique smile. The sound echoed throughout the deck of the Moby DK. After hearing Yi Yu's words and seeing the performance of the Whitebeard pirates, I am immediately became furious. He really didn't expect that this guy Yi Yu was so disrespectful. As the god of this world, he was able to put down his own face and invite this rebellious guy Yi Yu. This in itself gave Yi Yu a huge face. I don't know how many people knelt on the ground begging me, wanting to be one of them. Even the existence above 10,000 people did not agree to it. How good is Yi Yu that he dared to defy his own will by speaking in person? What is most unbearable to Yi Yu is the way Yi Yu looks at him, as if he is pitiful. He is a god in this world and does not care about him at all. If you need anyone's pity, you will always pity others. When others see you, who would not lower their head to the ground? Yi Yu's behavior was simply disrespectful to himself. Since you are so disrespectful, don't blame me. I am said coldly. Then the Conqueror's domineering energy on his body became even more intense, and the powerful aura instantly surged in all directions like the water of a dam being released. In an instant, the world changed dramatically. Originally, there was a clear sky above the entire Whitebeard pirates, but now dark clouds appeared one after another, and the previously bright light suddenly dimmed a lot. The entire sea began to churn under Lord Yimu's strong aura, and cracks appeared one after another on the earth. The ground directly below Yimu was forcibly compressed by this momentum. There is a huge pothole. All the birds and beasts within 1,000 kilometers radius fled outside. The faces of the people around were shocked, and they were all shocked by the conquerors released by I am. This must have triggered a huge change in the world. Isn't we just now with conquerors fully open? What a scary guy. This guy's conquerors are so abundant. People around him showed fearful expressions. Even though it was the conqueror's city wall that Yi Yu built for them, ripples began to appear. Then let me try your true strength, Yi Yu. I am said confidently. Looking at the shock that I am brought to the world, Yi Yu smiled slightly. Is this interesting? Just right. You can also try your true strength for once. It has been so many years since I came to this world, and I am as the first being who has allowed myself to fight with energy. Changing from his careless appearance during the previous battle, Yi Yu stood up straight this time, with light shining in his eyes. In an instant, a stream of conquerors of the same level shot out from Yi Yu's body. In an instant, it rushed toward Yi Mu with great force. The entire space was filled with conquerors from Yi Mu and Yi Yu. And Yi Yu's conquerors also caused great changes in the world. In an instant, the earth shook and the mountains shook, and the whole world seemed to have experienced an earthquake and tsunami. The sea, which was turbulent before, flew several feet high. Even the volcanoes on the seabed became active under the influence of conquerors. Red bubbles continued to appear in the sea, and the next moment the entire sea turned red, and the temperature of the seawater rose sharply. I am looked surprised when he saw that the changes caused by Yi Yu's conquerors were greater than his own, but then his expression calmed down and he continued to increase the intensity of his conqueror's release. It seems that he still underestimated this boy Yi Yu, I am murmured in his heart. The two conquerors were equally matched, and finally collided in the center of the two. A bang, a loud sound that resounded throughout the world, came from the center of the two people. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates area covered their ears with their palms. There was no way the sound was too loud. If they didn't cover their ears with both hands, it was very likely that their eardrums would be damaged on the spot. Shattered. Not only was there a huge sound, but the center of the collision between the two people also produced an extreme white light. The intense light stung people so hard that they couldn't open their eyes, and they closed their eyes one after another. After a short period of light, everyone regained their vision again. After seeing the scene in the sky, everyone opened their mouths one after another, their faces were dull, and they began to swallow the saliva in their mouths. This is a joke. Kizaru from the Marine headquarters, relying on his shining fruit, has stronger immunity to strong light than ordinary people, and was the first to open his own. His eyes were extremely shocked. Within the entire field of vision, in the area between Yi Yu and Yi Mu, there were still a large number of flames. These flames burned in the sky, and even because of the collision between the two, the space actually part of it was torn apart, and dark cracks were exposed in the space, which looked very weird. Even in the sky between the two of them, the previous dark clouds had all dissipated, and the entire sky seemed to be divided into two. Under the influence of the Conqueror's fragment, the sea was directly cut into several areas. These seawaters seem to be blocked by something invisible and cannot heal for a long time. Hundreds of small islands located 10 kilometers away from the Whitebeard pirates were completely wiped out due to the impact of Conqueror's aftermath. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates defeated the island. Except for the area protected by Yi Yu who released the Golden Conquerors, other places were also uprooted with trees and the earth, and disappeared in the light here. The entire Whitebeard pirates were completely shocked. As this, a battle between the two most powerful people in the world. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said with great emotion. Compared with the battle between Yi Yu and IM, the previous battle between him and Roger was simply a joke. It was not on the same level at all. The eagle-eyed Mohawk on the side also had a bright light shining on his sharp eyes like an eagle, and he murmured. It's so exciting. It's so exciting. This battle between truly strong men. I was lucky enough to witness such a battle of the century. Even if I, Mohawk, die in the end, it's worth it, ha 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 ha. Mohawk watched. After such a wonderful battle, there was a sense of excitement. As a swordsman, Mohawk is always pursuing this kind of top-notch battle. The conquerors of the two people are still constantly colliding and eliminating. Within the entire space, wherever you can see, there is a tense atmosphere. Sizzle. The place where the two conquerors collided before, and the space that was torn apart before, has now completed its healing. The previously dark space had now returned to its previous appearance. In the end, the conquerors of the two people gradually closed up. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates showed surprised looks. Is this just the end? Although these people are not within Yi Yu's conqueror's defensive wall, the collision between Yi Yu and Yimu this time is too strong, so even these people who are under the conqueror's wall can one by one feel this rich conquerors. At this time, conquerors dissipated, and the tension in everyone's hearts dropped, but they all showed puzzled expressions. That's weird. Could it be that this is the end? Golden Lion Shiki asked with a confused look on his face. Yes, the momentum was so strong just now. Why can't they feel their fighting spirit just now? Doflamingo on the side also asked with a confused look. Not only them, but also the coalition soldiers who were still wearing work clothes at the experimental site, all showed confused expressions at this time. This is a battle between the two most powerful people in the world. How could it have ended so easily? The outcome between the two of them has not yet been decided. At this time, the second elder looked at the sky and suddenly began to speak. No, it's definitely not over. If I guessed correctly, the two of them were just spying on each other's strength. The second elder suddenly realized something. Said loudly. Just testing each other's opponent's strength. The people around them all showed shocked eyes. This is a joke, right? They were just testing each other's opponent's strength, and they were actually able to do it, tear the entire space into pieces. Cut off the sky, the sea, and the earth. The people around him all looked at the second elder in shock. At this time, the Warring States period glasses reflected a white light, and he also spoke. Yes, the five elders are right. The two of them are really just testing each other. You can see that their breaths are still very stable. It doesn't look like they are exhausted after a battle. On the contrary, they are now. I can only say that I just finished my warm-up exercises. Warring States swallowed his own saliva and murmured. As soon as these words came out, the people around him once again looked at Yi Yu who was high in the sky, and all of them showed exaggerated expressions. Monsters. These two are monsters. In such a terrifying collision, are these two people testing each other here? Their true strength has not yet been unleashed. In this world, the only ones who can do this are Yi Yu and Lord IM. And this battle happens to be between these two people. It is definitely a world war. It may be the only strongest battle in human history. In the area of the Whitebeard pirates, Whitebeard also narrowed his eyes and noticed something strange here. These two people are just testing. It's so scary. Whether it's Yimu or Yi Yu, these two people have reached the highest heights in the world. Even if others try to catch up, they can't. Catch up. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said with an exaggerated expression. The Whitebeard pirates on the side heard Whitebeard's words, and each one of them looked at Yi Yu and Yimu in the horizon again. Really? Kakuzu had a faint smile on their lips. The collision of power between these two people just now stirred up the whole world. It turned out that it was just a test. Two terrifying guys. On the battlefield, Yi Yu and Yimu continued to look at each other. IM was the first to speak, and an old voice came. Ha 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 ha, I really didn't expect that Yi Yu, you are not weak, you can actually withstand my Overlord spear. IM said with sincere appreciation. To be honest, I have ruled this world for a long time, including my own people and my own enemies. The only one who can compete with my conquerors is the ancestor of the demon clan. However, after the death of the ancestor of the demon clan, in these hundreds of years, I haven't even had a single person who can catch my conquerors. Yi Yu actually borrowed his own conquerors. We can know that the defeat of the original sword master Bickley was not unjust. Yi Yu also smiled slightly. You are the first person in this world who can catch my conquerors. There was no respect for IM in his tone. Instead, there was a sense of admiration from an elder to a younger one. After hearing this, IM showed disdain. It seemed that this kid was still so arrogant. Anyway, he originally planned to invite Yi Yu to be his right-hand man again, but now it seems that this is impossible. Since such a terrifying guy like Yi Yu cannot be used by himself, there is only one fate for Yi Yu, and that is to suffer his own destruction. He was destroyed before Yi Yu could grow into a towering tree. The majestic momentum emerged from Im's body again. Once it appeared, the powerful Conqueror's domineering energy transformed into a hydra directly above the sky. The giant python opened its bloody mouth and charged crazily at Yi Yu. Come. And Im's own face, under the stimulation of this thought, turned into the appearance of a python, with a human body and a snake head, just like the legendary monster in the pirate world. Looking at the hydra in front of him that was transformed from Yi Yu's conquerors and reached several thousand feet in length, Yi Yu also opened his mouth slightly. He really didn't expect that this guy Yimu, conquerors it's so abundant. If my conquerors hadn't been raised to 20,000 points after defeating Bickley, I might not have been able to defeat IM, but I am invincible now. Yi Yu smiled slightly, and the conquerors in his body rose up. He also imitated Yi Mu's appearance and transformed. Different from the hydra transformed by Yi Yu this time directly transformed into an oriental dragon, and the dragon expanded. In his own mouth, rows of teeth were exposed, and he was still salivating at all kinds of red magma. This dragon is the giant dragon that Yi Yu transformed into by adding the ability of Rock Berry to his conqueror's haki through Conqueror's fusion. Chapter 199 I am in decline. HMPH, I am, you're just a mere snake, how can you be my dragon's opponent? Yi Yu said disdainfully. At the same time, Yi Yu did not forget to continue sarcastically. I thought you would be a little more advanced than that guy named Bickley, but I didn't expect that you were the same as him. In order to increase your strength, you changed your appearance like this. You are really pitiful. Yi Yu smiled slightly and spoke in a joking tone. The members of the Whitebeard pirates below were completely shocked when they saw the dragon and snake transformed by the two of them, with extremely exaggerated expressions. These abundant conquerors are just a joke to me. The strange monk Ulki widened his eyes and murmured. No matter how much I use my imagination, I can't imagine how someone could transform conquerors into such a behemoth. Conquerors doesn't cost money, the weird monk Ulki thought with shock in his heart. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo on the side also swallowed his own saliva and fell into a sluggish state. I am also the owner of conquerors, and I know very well how much energy I have to expend if I want to create such a huge conquerors. Moreover, Yi Yu and the conquerors released by Mu are still advanced forms of conquerors. That kind of conquerors consumes much more power than the ordinary conqueror's form. It is indeed the best battle in the world, Shaki. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said slowly. The golden-headed lion Shaki on the side is the uncrowned king, and the word, convinced, is written in big words on his expression at this time. This kind of terrifying conquerors. I will never have it in my lifetime. Yes, Whitebeard, compared to our time, the battle between these two people is really infinitely stronger. Golden Lion Shaki said with emotion on his face. On the other side, the coalition forces and others were also shocked by Yi Yu and Yimu's conquerors. Speaking of which, they had to really thank Yi Yu, if it weren't for Yi Yu's conqueror's wall that also protected them. I am afraid that at this time, even the aftermath of conquerors will be difficult for them to resist. I'm afraid that all of us here will only be able to watch this kind of terrifying conquerors collision in our lifetime. A battle of this level is not something you can just watch if you want. Cyborg Kong also looked at the sky. He murmured and said. Garp didn't care about that much, he was focused on IM. I really didn't expect that IM, the ancestor of the celestial dragons, the man who is called a god, would be the same as Bickley. He looks so ugly, Garp murmured said. At the same time, he also looked at the sword master Bickley on the side. This Jog Wo was stunned by Yi Yu's casual blow and is still awake until now. Garp, you guys must not talk nonsense, that is Lord IM. The Buddha warring states on the side hurriedly tried to dissuade Garp. If this old naughty boy was heard by IM, he would kill them all. Ha 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 ha. Warring states, you guy, how long have you been, do you still think about the government class? Garp was the first to laugh. Looking at the confused Sengoku, Garp, the former Marine's wise general, was the first to discover the problem. Hey, I'm talking about warring states, do you really think that even if Lord IM wins, he can forgive us? Garp said cheerfully. Do you think that as a god in this world, we would allow people like us to tell people in this world that the god they believe in actually looks ugly, like an ugly monster, like a monster, ha ha ha. Garp laughed to himself. After hearing these words, Sengoku suddenly realized that he was still Marine's fleet admiral. He was called the wise general Sengoku before. Looking at himself now, he was not as simple-minded as Garp. Guys, you can see clearly. Even the sword master threatened to kill everyone here after everyone saw his appearance. As a god in this world, naturally he would not allow anyone to know his ugly appearance. It can be said that it is easy for IM to kill all his people and then form a new world government. When that time comes, if this piece of history is erased, the world will be a fabricated world again. This reminded Sengoku of the Buster Call Ohaba incident. The more he thought about it, the more creepy Sengoku felt. He really didn't expect that this world was so dark. The so-called justice of Haiju was nothing more than just a made-up lie. Garp, you guy, are you going to tell me that the justice we believe in is all false? Sengoku murmured to Garp beside him. Garp laughed again. Ha ha ha, what kind of bullshit justice? Ever since Marine captured Roger, I have already begun to doubt Marine's so-called justice. Justice in this world only serves the winner. I just understood this truth today. Garp also said with a helpless smile. Ha ha, the so-called justice is just one of the ways that IM rules this world. I have followed Lord IM for so many years, and I know this much better than you. The second elder among the 5 elders, he spoke directly. What bullshit marine justice is, it's just to deceive people like Garp and Sengoku who are easier to brainwash. This world is extremely dark. Dot 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 dot. On the battlefield, Yi Yu and Yi Mu directly launched their own attacks. A 9-headed hydra with a wide mouth, and an eastern dragon with lava everywhere on its body. The two behemoths began to collide. A loud bang. The whole world seemed to explode. The earth directly below Yi Yu and Yi Mu collapsed completely under this collision. Within 1,000 kilometers, everything was wiped out. All the clouds in the sky were completely blown away. The sea rushed directly into the sky, but the sky seemed to be blown away and fell into the sea. The entire space was in chaos. If it weren't for the Whitebeard pirates, protected by Yi Yu's domineering wall, I'm afraid it would have been wiped out by this terrible aftermath. Because of this big explosion, the surrounding temperature suddenly rose, and even the sea began to boil, like a purgatory on Earth. Feeling the sudden rise in the temperature of the surrounding air, General Aokiji started his own ice age. A large amount of cold air adhered to the Conqueror's city wall released by Yi Yu, which caused the surrounding temperature to drop a lot. The Whitebeard pirates and the United Army saw this apocalyptic scene. They were all shocked and speechless. They all froze in place, swallowing the saliva in their mouths, and couldn't believe what was happening in front of them. Did this scene really happen? It happened right next to them. This is simply a fight between gods. Golden Lion Shiki said with emotion. This is much more shocking than my own piao piao fruit. People all over the world heard this groan and felt the turmoil of the earth. Everyone looked in the direction of the Whitebeard pirates. I saw a huge mushroom cloud appearing in the sky in the area of the Whitebeard pirates. It was really like a nuclear bomb exploding. Look, what is that? Oh my god, that loud noise just now must have come from that place. That distance, it seems to be at least 10,000 kilometers away from us. Oh my god, what happened? A big explosion thousands of miles away. People in some areas began to walk out of their homes and looked at the scene in front of him showed an extremely confused look. From such a long distance, we can actually perceive it so strongly. Oh my god, what is happening to this world? Isn't it some god sent by God to punish us? People from all over the world started a heated discussion about this big explosion. This is the biggest disaster they have ever seen in history. People all over the world feel the existence of this energy. The ground under their feet is still shaking violently. Above the sky, a pterosaur with flames on its body was flying towards the area of the Whitebeard pirates. In the sky, this terrifying power was also felt. This pterosaur was transformed from the flames of disaster. When I saw the scene in front of me, I was shocked in my heart. What happened? If I read it correctly, the place where the big explosion occurred should be the area of the Whitebeard pirates. What on earth happened? Lord Kaido, are you okay? Yan Liangjin murmured. I was also carrying several large bags of gold and silver jewelry on my body. I originally thought they were used to save Lord Kaido. But looking at it now, could it be that Lord Kaido was simply wiped out in this big explosion? The more Yan Calamity Jin thought about it, the more frightened he became. It is really hard to imagine what happened in the area of the Whitebeard pirates. Could it be a battle between two extremely powerful men? But if it were a human battle, it would be too terrifying. Even the combat power Yi Yu showed before has not reached this level. What on earth happened? However, as a loyal supporter of Beast Kaido, and Kaido risked his life to rescue himself from the Celestial Dragon's laboratory. No matter what, I will never give up on Mr. Kaido like this. Thinking of this, Jin directly accelerated his flying speed and flew hard towards the Whitebeard pirates. Dot 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 dot. On the battlefield, the screen changes. After the explosion disappeared, the sea that had previously flown into the sky returned to the ground again, setting off huge waves across the entire earth. Thump thump, thump thump. A large amount of seawater was raging against everything around it, and the entire land was now also in the area protected by the Whitebeard pirates Yi Yu Conquerors, and a huge wave hit them heavily. This wave was so huge that it covered the entire sky. The minions of the Whitebeard pirates and the Marine of the World Alliance were all so scared that they hugged their heads. With a bang, the giant waves hit the nightly golden Conqueror's city wall, making a muffled groan. Then, the waves submerged into the sea and slowly calmed down. After everything was quiet, people in the entire area looked panicked. Yan Nan, the cigar in Smoker's mouth, fell directly, and he looked around with a horrified look on his face, showing a very helpless expression. As a mere lieutenant general, facing such a battle, I can only sigh. These aftermaths can kill me at any time. And he has no backhand power. For example, just a wave of waves caused by the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth, without Yi Yu's help, could kill him. Above the sky, Yi Yu and Yi Mu looked at each other again. In the collision just now, the attacks released by the two of them were all wiped out by the other party. It can be said that they are evenly matched. The reason why the sea boils is because the aftermath of the magma power released by Yi Yu is sinking into the sea. After the sea, the entire sea boils directly. Yi Yu's expression was quite calm, but Yi Mu was no longer calm. This was a full blow when he turned on the second state. He thought he could kill this kid instantly. But I didn't expect that this kid could resist it. I am, who had ruled the world for so many years, felt fear for the first time. Although the boy in front of him looked harmless, he could indeed threaten him. What's wrong? I think your expression doesn't look good. Are you planning to surrender? Yi Yu squinted his eyes and replied with a smile on his face. Yi Mu was ridiculed so many times by Yi Yu, and her heart was completely unsettled. She began to breathe heavily. Faced with Yi Yu's teasing, Yi Mu did not answer, but just stared at Yi Yu. The people below began to lose their composure. Especially the second elder of the 5 elders who was wearing labor uniforms, his eyes were wide open at this time, and his face was bloodshot. Although the previous scene shocked him, it was far less than what I am brought to him this time. Shocking effect. Are you kidding me? Lord Yimu, you are actually at a disadvantage. The second elder's beard exploded and he said with an incredulous look on his face. People around him showed puzzled expressions. How is it possible? The attacks of the two of them have obviously cancelled each other out. Cyborg Kong on the side said. At this time, Lieutenant General he also walked up to the two people and spoke slowly. No. Look, his breathing is very short. In a real master showdown, this slight difference is enough to affect the direction of the entire battlefield. Lieutenant General he began to explain to the people around him. After hearing Lieutenant General He's words, the people around them also noticed Im's breathing. Whether it was because of excessive consumption of conquerors, or because he was angry with Yi Yu. In this duel between peerless masters, Im has already lost. I really didn't expect that even the creator god of this world is no match for Yi Yu. Sengoku Fleet Admiral on the side said. What god of creation? I think it's just a trick to deceive the world. His true appearance may be that of a devil. Copy. A very nervous man began to tease Amu again. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates also showed happy smiles. Chapter 200 Kizaru, can Yi Yu still play like this? Whitebeard, Eagle Eye, Golden Lion and other heavyweight masters all showed excited eyes one by one. Marco, Ace and others were also cheering for Yi Yu. Kuhahaha. I really didn't expect that a boy I picked up 10 years ago would accidentally overthrow the creator god of this world, ha ha ha. Whitebeard stood up the Kongyun cutting sword in his hand. As soon as he released it, a surge of momentum immediately rose, and he spoke with a heroic laugh. Marco, Josie, Beasta and others also had smiles on their faces. Now their Whitebeard pirates are really invincible in this world. Let's see who dares to stop the Whitebeard pirates from now on. Not to mention the 4 emperors, even the creator god of this world is no match for Yi Yu. When Yi Yu wins this battle, their Whitebeard pirates will be invincible in the world. On the battlefield, Im's face looked very ferocious. Yi Yu, I didn't expect that you, B**************** D, could be so powerful. Im said in disbelief. Yi Yu smiled slightly. I didn't expect that the god of creation in this world wasn't very powerful. I was the one who looked up to you before. Yi Yu murmured. Then, Yi Yu directly gathered all the Conqueror's domineering energy in his body again, all gathered on the top of his head. This time when Yi Yu formed Conquerors, he did not have any imagination, but gathered in the most primitive way of Conquerors. I saw a huge spherical Conquerors appearing above Yi Yu's head, it was very huge. It was as powerful as a big mountain, and its whole body was always covered with jet black lightning. The space around Conqueror's sphere has been fragmenting, looking very strange, like a huge black hole. Then I'll finish you off, this is my strongest attack method. Yi Yu said lightly. The most extreme conquerors, coupled with the perfect fusion of the most powerful thunder fruit, are presented in front of everyone in the most original spherical form. Go! Yi Yu shouted directly, and then the huge spherical conquerors teleported towards Im. Although the volume of Conqueror's sphere is very large, its speed is extremely fast. In just a blink of an eye, he came directly in front of Im. Before Im could react, he could only reluctantly activate his conquerors and formed a conqueror's defensive shield in front of him. However, this defensive shield only withstood for a quarter of an hour, and was directly hit by Yi Yu's Conqueror's electric ball the next moment, break directly. The huge ball of electricity quickly suppressed Im directly into the sea. The entire sea began to surge rapidly, and finally there was a loud bang, completing the explosion. The sea that had just calmed down before began to surge again under Yi Yu's blow. Huge waves kept rolling in the sea, and each wave was bigger than the other. The entire sky is full of sea water, and the Conqueror's city wall of the Whitebeard pirates below is constantly being baptized and washed by the waves. This was not over yet. Doflamingo showed a horrified expression under the protection of Yeyu Conqueror's defensive shield. I wonder if you heard any sounds. Brother Dudu Langming asked fearfully. What's the sound? People around were also confused. What other sound can there be? It's just the sound of waves hitting the defensive shield. If Yi Yu hadn't protected us, I'm afraid we would have been washed away by this huge wave. Zephyr, the former marine general, murmured. General Aokiji on the other side also showed a horrified look. If it were a huge wave, he could use his ice age to resist it, but there were so many huge waves in the sea. Even if he was exhausted, he could not block the huge waves caused by the aftermath of Yi Yu's energy. No, it's not just the sound of waves. Empress Hancock shouted loudly. I also heard, there was a strange sound. Whitebeard also showed a solemn expression. After everyone calmed down, they heard that the whole sea was making a sizzling sound. Finally, these sounds became louder and louder, sizzling. Finally, the current inside the sea led directly to the sea surface. Looking at it for a moment, it was all strong black current, entwining the entire sea. The sound just made is the unique sound of the chemical reaction between electric current and the sea. Damn, this is a joke. Looking at the endless sea and the dark current above the sea, Golden Lion Shiki was completely confused. Open your mouth wide, how big the current must be to spread the current across the entire sea. Our surroundings seem to be affected by electric current. Fortunately, we are protected by conquerors, otherwise we might really be like that guy. Monk Yerki said helplessly. He shook his head, pointed at Bickley who had been electrocuted by Yu and fell to the ground, and murmured. People around him also took a breath, and they were really surprised. Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield can not only protect against physical damage, but also elemental damage. It is within Yu's Conqueror's defensive wall. These people finally have some sense of security. Zzzz. The current in the entire sea lasted for a full minute. Finally, these terrible energies gradually disappeared. After everything was over, even the sea level of the sea dropped by dozens of meters. That was because just now Yu's Conqueror's electric ball exploded deep in the sea, creating a huge crater. A large amount of seawater is directly absorbed by this huge hole with a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers, and the seawater in the entire sea also has a place to stay. With just one blow, the topography of the seabed was easily changed, causing the sea level of the entire sea to drop. This is Yu's strength. I'm sorry, compared to me, your strength is still a bit lacking. Under my strongest attack, you can't resist. Yu smiled lightly. Just when Yu was about to call it a day, there was some movement in the sea again, and two arms that were several kilometers long stretched directly from the depths of the sea towards Yu in the sky. The speed is very fast, even reaching the speed of light. Two loud bangs. Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield automatically opened, and the previous defensive shield was directly turned into pieces under the collision. A large number of defensive shield fragments began to scatter in the air, and piece after piece of Conqueror's fragments fell directly on the sea. Boom, boom. Like several small nuclear bombs, the entire sea was completely stirred again. The people around him all looked in Yu's direction. What happened just now was too fast. Before anyone could react, Yu had already been hit. Did that guy, do this? Mahawk narrowed his eyes and said seriously. No one noticed it, nor did they expect that this guy Yu could still be alive after being hit by such a terrifying blow from Yu. Fortunately, Yu is protected by Conqueror's defensive shield. Otherwise, this time he might be plotted by this Amu. Whitebeard also squinted his eyes and murmured. But, this guy Amu is really difficult to deal with. If you can't kill him like this, how can you kill this guy Yimu? Golden Lion Shiki he showed a worried look. Even the people in the revolutionary army began to worry. If I am alive, they have seen the true face of the so-called god. How could I possibly let them go? Garp clenched his fists and murmured. What the hell, if I wins and takes our lives, we will fight with him. If he defeats Yu, he will definitely consume a lot of energy. Then is the best time to defeat Garp said. The people around, like Sengoku and others, all looked serious, but this time no one came to stop Garp from speaking, because Garp was right. They didn't believe in any bullshit justice. Just when everyone was yelling at the whole sea exploded with a roar, and appeared directly from the sea, his eyes still as cold as before. The previously stretched arm retracted, looked at Yu, and narrowed his eyes. I really didn't expect that this guy Yu has such an absolute defense. Said seriously. At this time, Im's appearance changed again compared to before. The size of his body was completely larger than before, and a python tail grew out of the back of his body. The people around started pointing at As this a monster. Doesn't he look like a god? Looking at the ferocious expressions on their faces, the half-human and half-snake said, obviously, this guy did not gain strength by eating the devil fruit, but rather gained strength through the transformation of his own race. Purpose, that is to say, half-human and half-snake is Im's true face. HMPH, you low-class humans, shut up. I will come to you after I deal with Yu. Don't worry, no human being who has seen me in this form can survive. He licked his lips with his long tongue and murmured. They are right, you don't look like a god. I think if I guessed correctly, your power was snatched from the hands of the previous king a long time ago. Yu opened his phoenix fruit, and a more powerful conqueror's defensive shield appeared on his body than last time, and said to opened his big mouth, and disgusting green liquid flowed out from his mouth. Instead, he smiled ferociously at Yu. Ha 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 ha, you are right, Yu, I didn't expect that you are quite smart, but, so what? Back then I killed King Lan of the whole world, and the holy sword in his hand became my trophy. However, after hundreds of years of practice, my strength has improved by leaps and bounds again, so there is no need I want that weapon. My strength has reached the ultimate level of human beings. I think you have realized it, Yu. Otherwise, wouldn't you have killed me with that conqueror's ball just now? Laughed loudly. He looked very ferocious. The limit of human beings. Yu showed an idiotic expression. Don't think it's amazing that you can dodge my conqueror's giant ball. Yu said disdainfully. After saying that, Yu crossed his hands, and the conquerors in his body began to flow crazily towards the top of his head again. I saw a huge conqueror's ball appearing above Yu's head again, which was also mixed with the power of black lightning. HMPH. It seems that your strength has reached this point. You only know this trick. The same trick won't work on me the first time. How could it work on me the second time? Defeat me, you idiot. Said with a slight curl of his lips. Yu did not mean to be angry at all, but smiled slightly. Oh, really? I am. What about the next attack? Yi Yu asked I am with a smile on his face. I saw a huge thing condensed in the sky again. Accompanied by a vibrating feeling that appeared in the entire air, the giant white ball suddenly appeared in everyone's field of vision out of thin air. The sea directly below the giant ball seemed to be experiencing sea earthquakes, rising and falling again. The whole body of the giant white ball flashed with white vibration energy, shaking the space around the giant ball into pieces. Whitebeard looked at the giant white ball above his head with an extremely shocked expression. It's unmistakable, it's unmistakable. This energy is the energy of the vibrating fruit. This guy Yi Yu can actually combine the vibrating ability with Conquerors to such an extent. Whitebeard said excitedly. The Golden Lion and Zephyr also laughed loudly. They were very aware of Whitebeard's shocking ability. This terrifying fruit ability is known as the most powerful devil fruit ability. When combined with Yi Yu's strongest Conquerors, it can definitely be called the strongest attack. I am also showed a hint of shock. He was able to avoid the blow of Conqueror's giant ball just now due to his lightning resistance. There are big reasons. However, against this kind of terrifying attack that can shatter the space, my resistance is not that strong. You guy, you actually have such an ability. I am frowned and asked. Ha ha ha, what about I am? This attack of mine is pretty good, isn't it? Yi Yu smiled at I am and said, to be honest, he was quite happy to beat himself this time. Next, there's more, I am. Yi Yu smiled evilly at I am. I saw a huge Conqueror's giant ball appearing in the sky again, and the whole body was filled with icy chill. The air around the white Conqueror's giant ball, stimulated by this cold Han Yi, all of them were frozen. Condensation into ice. The sea below the giant white ball was frozen directly after the appearance of this cold domineering ball. The sea that was rolling just now due to the appearance of the Conqueror's ball suddenly became quiet, and everything was frozen into ice sculptures. General Aokiji, who was protected by Yi Yu Conqueror's barrier, widened his eyes and took a deep breath. This ability should be my freezing ability. I didn't expect it to be so terrifying. Just the residual power is stronger than my ice age. Aokiji swallowed his own saliva and murmured. Kizaru on the side also gave Aokiji a mean expression. What a scary guy. This ability is 10,000 times more powerful than your ice age, Aokiji. Kizaru's yellow sunglasses reflected a bright light and he murmured. Aokiji rolled his eyes directly at Kizaru. What time of day is this? Kizaru was still joking. However, before Kizaru could finish his words, a yellow Conqueror's giant ball appeared again in the sky. This sphere shone with a dazzling yellow light, and in an instant, the entire area was almost blinded by the flash. Only Kizaru relied on his small sunglasses and his resistance to light, and he was the first to see the power of the yellow light ball. Strands of yellow light were emitted from the body of Conqueror's giant ball. Each ray of light was as powerful as its own 8-foot Magatama. It exploded violently on the ice layer, and pieces of it were directly exploded. It has to fly all over the sky. Kizaru opened his mouth wide and swallowed a mouthful of his own saliva. This can't be wrong. This is my devil fruit ability, the shining fruit. Kizaru said in shock, taking a deep breath. I really didn't expect that I could still play like this. Kizaru made an exaggerated expression. Chapter 201 Fission. Never reincarnate. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Aokiji on the side was happy now. Ha ha ha. Kizaru, you're still talking about me. I think Yi Yu's attack is 10,000 times more powerful than your 8-foot Magatama. Aokiji said in counterattack. Looking at the 4 Conqueror's giant balls that appeared in the sky in an instant, I am looked stern and his pupils shrank. The power of thunder, vibration, flash, and freezing were all summoned by Yi Yu. The appearance of these 4 Conqueror's giant balls also stirred up the surrounding air to a state of complete agitation. Waves of strong wind began to blow unbridled, and the clothes on Im's body began to dance in the strong wind. With a buzzing sound, a Conqueror's defensive shield was generated in front of Im. Yi Yu was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that Yi Mu also had this Conqueror's defensive shield. The reason why Yi Mu was not killed in the previous attack was probably because Yi Mu had just opened the Conqueror's defensive shield. I really didn't expect that you actually have such abilities. It seems that these attacks still can't kill you, so let's add some more damage. Yi Yu said with a smirk. Then, his fingers moved slightly again, and a Conqueror's giant sphere was once again generated above his head. Even though he was as strong as his eyes widened. How many abilities does this damn brat have? How many Conquerors are there? Are they really endless? I saw, above Yi Yu's head, a bright red Conqueror's giant ball appeared again. The temperature around this ball directly reached tens of thousands of degrees Celsius. The ice layer that was still on the ground before began to dissolve step by step under the erosion of the burning gas of this sphere. A large amount of fog rose from the sea, and the surrounding area seemed to have experienced a heavy fog. This ability, could it be Sakasuke's magma power? Aokiji said in shock. Do you even need to ask? It must be Akainu's ability, but Akainu is no longer here, otherwise he would be shocked and speechless by Yi Yu's attack methods. General Kizaru also had a look on his face. Surprised. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates also showed shocked expressions. This terrifying ability, if it weren't for a specific reason, I would have thought the sun was setting. Golden Lion Shiki widened his eyes with surprise. My understanding of Yi I have always thought that Yi's conquerors are very powerful. This time I saw so many fruit abilities and how terrifying they are, I was really shocked. Even though he was a master of Mahawk's level, his fingers started to tremble non-stop. I really didn't expect that Mr. Yi could use his devil fruit abilities so horribly. This once again refreshed Mahawk's admiration for Mr. Yi. It's not over yet, I am. Yi made a face directly at I am. I am screamed in her heart that something was wrong. Is this boy Yi the devil? With so many weird Conqueror's balls, it was already difficult for him to resist, so this boy is still here. I saw that directly above these Conqueror's balls, a blue Conqueror's ball appeared again. As soon as this blue Conqueror's giant sphere appeared, it burned out a large amount of blue flames. These blue flames finally turned into 5 blue flame chains, and then connected the top of the 5 previously formed spheres. The previous Conqueror's giant ball became turbulent upon contact with the blue flames, and a 10-level wind immediately blew around it. Fortunately, everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates is protected by Yi's Conqueror's wall. Even a 10th level strong wind is difficult to feel within Yi's Conqueror's wall. The scene inside the entire city wall and the scene outside the city wall are simply completely different. In the area outside the Conqueror's defensive shield, strong winds were flying, ice fragments were everywhere, and magma was flying in the sky, making it a chaotic mess. It's really terrifying. Just the momentum alone can reach this point. Everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates said in shock. At this time, Yanjajin, who was in the sky, also saw 5 strange Conqueror's balls in the sky. Although they were still 10,000 kilometers apart, Yanjajin could already sense their aura. This terrifying aura, are you kidding me? It's so far away from the battlefield. It's actually affected by it. Yan Calamity, who was above the sky, felt the super strong wind coming from the area of the Whitebeard Pirates. He squinted his eyes and spoke in shock. Under the strong wind, his flight was also seriously affected. Yan Liangjin showed a suspicious expression. Who on earth can actually create such a vision of heaven and earth? It's really terrifying, Yan Liangjin said with emotion. After finishing speaking, Jin still flapped his wings and flew directly towards the area of the Whitebeard Pirates. This ability actually strengthens the abilities of these conquerors. I am muttered, his eyes widening. Looking at the Phoenix Conquerors released by Yi, I am was shocked. Let me see if you can resist this blow, I am. After Yi finished speaking, he pointed his finger at I am. The 6 Conquerors' giant balls all hit I am at extremely high speeds. Cracks in the entire space were constantly being created, and the powerful force stirred up all the surrounding objects. The entire sky reflected the entire sea very low due to the influence of these 6 behemoths. Like 6 meteorites, they hit I am one piece at a time. Im's face was shocked, his expression condensed, and he kicked his legs in the air. With a bang, and with a powerful explosive force, I am left his previous position and ran quickly towards his rear. However, the golden flashing Conqueror's giant ball flew up very fast, directly exceeding the speed of light. In an instant, he was behind I am. I am widened his eyes, his pupils suddenly shrank, and wanted to dodge, but his speed was too fast and he could no longer dodge. Boom. An explosion sounded. Intense yellow light, accompanied by the hot flames generated by the explosion, dispersed in all directions. Kizaru, who was in the territory of the Whitebeard Pirates, widened his eyes with shock on his face. His lips slowly trembled. It's really unimaginable. The ability to flash. Can you still play like this? Kizaru swallowed his own saliva and said in shock. After the strong light dissipated, the vision of the people around him returned to normal, and everyone was shocked again. I saw I am in the sky, and a large amount of green liquid began to appear on his body. That should be Im's blood. It's really a monster. Marco looked at the injured I am and said in shock. Doflamingo also came over. Sure enough, the heavenly dragons of Yemu's lineage are different from the humans in the whole world. They actually have green blood. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo also looked at Yemu and murmured. Even the coalition forces of the world government all looked extremely shocked. If I had known that the man in front of me was a god, he was actually injured by a kid. On the battlefield, it's not over yet. Seeing Im's embarrassed look, Yu smiled slightly. It seems that the first Flash Conqueror's bullet successfully broke through the wrinkled Conqueror's barrier. It's not over yet. Come again, I am. Meteorites of different colors smashed towards I am again. Immediately after the yellow flash of Conqueror's giant meteorite exploded, the second meteorite also struck I am at lightning speed. This meteorite was surrounded by black lightning. Wherever it passed, the sea was electrified, which looked very strange. Boom. The thunder and lightning Conqueror's hockey exploded on the side of Yemu, and the powerful electric current hit Yemu. At the critical moment, Yemu once again added a Conqueror's armor to himself, and stayed away from the explosion point, so as to avoid major damage. He was breathing heavily on the side, but there wasn't much time left for him. A terrifying chill had already hit him. I am looked up and immediately showed a serious expression. I wanted to move, but found that the air near my body had been condensed. With no other choice, I am had no choice but to activate his Conqueror's transformation again, and blasted the frozen Conqueror's meteorite in the sky with 2 pairs of huge fists. Rumble. Under this terrifying collision, the fragments of the frozen Conqueror's domineering force fell directly into all directions. Just when everyone was sighing, someone with sharp eyes suddenly shouted. Look, I am didn't hide away, he was frozen. Above the picture, the entire sea is covered with white flowers. It is bone-chilling and the white cold air rushes around. I am, a once aloof human being, now exposed his python tail and became an ice sculpture. Is it over? People around looked at IM with surprised expressions. And just when everyone was looking at Yi Mu, in just a moment, Yi Mu directly dissolved the frozen layer on his body. Yi Yu showed approval, as expected of you, IM. Conqueror's freezing ability is included, but the freezing effect is 100 times better than simply releasing the fruit's ability. And IM, this guy, actually achieved the effect of thawing in just an instant, which shows how high IM's explosive power is. However, it should be over. Yi Yu said with a faint smile. The next moment, two Conqueror's meteorites, containing magma and shaking, attacked Amu together. These two Conqueror's meteorites represent Yi Yu's two most destructive meteorites. Wherever it passed, even the space seemed to be shattered, the entire sea boiled, and some rocks on the mountain were directly shattered by the earthquake. There were even some rocks close to the magma Conquerors. Under the scorching heat of the high temperature, they melted directly into bright red magma, and finally flowed into the sea. The entire sea boiled again, and the sky was filled with water vapor. Im's pupils shrank sharply. He had already wasted a lot of energy before, but now, it is impossible to escape even if he thinks about it. But if you have to bear it, I am looking at the two meteorites in the sky, still feel a little scared. The Phoenix Conqueror's giant ball in the sky directly transfers all its power to these two Conqueror's spheres. These two Conqueror's meteorites suddenly expanded several times in size in an instant. The surrounding sea was directly shaken and cut into pieces. The white shaking Conqueror's giant sphere hit IM hard. A-hole. Im's clothes flew around under the pressure, and he was directly suppressed and fell into the sea. There was a loud bang. It was as if hundreds of nuclear bombs had exploded deep in the sea. The entire sea became turbulent, and waves appeared one after another. The people around looked at the entire sea and were completely stunned. What kind of battle is this? Marco said with a dull look on his face. The terrain is changing at will, and even the sea is being kneaded at will. It's so terrifying. Foil Beasta looked solemnly on his face and murmured while looking at the surrounding scenes. I really didn't expect it to be so terrifying. Facing IM. Did Yi Yu finally use his strongest strength? White-bearded Edward Newgate squinted his eyes and looked at the visions around him spoke. If this wasn't Yi Yu's full strength, my god, how powerful would Yi Yu be? Shiki, the golden lion on the side, took a heavy puff of his cigar and said with shocked eyes. While everyone was commenting on Yi Yu's terrifying fighting prowess, a pirate shouted loudly. There is something even more terrifying behind, a sea earthquake. It's a sea earthquake. Seaquake. The people around them looked shocked again. The most terrifying side effect of the Junjun fruit is that it can cause sea earthquakes. Under the shout of this pirate, the sea boiled completely, the entire sea was completely stirred, and the sea level was no longer called sea level. Some sea levels rise directly into the sky, while other sea levels directly submerge under the earth, and the entire sea is in chaos. It can be felt that even the crust within the sea begins to shake violently, which directly triggers a collective eruption of submarine volcanoes. A large number of volcanoes erupted directly from the underground sea. Under the powerful force, the whole sea was filled with bubbles. The whole world has completely fallen into madness. This is not over yet. After the last magma conquerors has absorbed all the Phoenix's conquerors, it is like the sun, burning the surrounding area. People around them swallowed their saliva one after another. This scene was too shocking, like a huge sun sliding directly into the sea. Sizzle. The sea that was turbulent just now has become even hotter this time under the impact of the magma conquerors. The people of the Whitebeard pirates saw this scene that looked like the end of the world, and they all swallowed their saliva crazily, with fear on their faces. This is a bit too much. Marco said after swallowing his own saliva. Yeah, I feel like a sun was created by Yi Yu. Foil Beasta also looked excited. With the power of this sun, even a god will never be reincarnated under this attack. Diamond Josie also started discussing. Chapter 202. Will Yi Yu be more powerful than before? This battle was different from the past. This battle refreshed Diamond Josie's understanding. In my previous understanding, no matter how powerful Yi Yu was, it only stopped at the limit of human power. Now this time is different. He summoned such a terrifying conqueror's meteorite casually. This is no longer something that a mere human can do. He is simply a god. Only a god can kill Shinigami. Yi Yu's current strength has surpassed the limits of human beings and reached the height of the creator. Sizzle. After the last magma conquerors submerged into the sea, the entire space was filled with the boiling sound of the sea, as well as various mists evaporating from the sea. The previous sea level dropped again, and a large part of the mountains in the depths of the sea were exposed one after another. Now that Guy Im can be said to be dead, the people around said with serious expressions. Yes, such a horrific attack. Im must be dead. People around him began to talk. However, Yi Yu did frown. When he first started fighting Im, he released the Conqueror's field next to him. And through his own Conqueror's field, Yi Yu has noticed that Im is not dead yet, and he is in his own field. Babble. Yi Yu snorted lightly and showed a surprised look. Im didn't know when he ran to the position behind him, and a jet-black fist wind rushed towards him. He could feel that the surrounding space was directly blown into pieces by the punch wind. Splitting Kong fist. Im shouted. This punch hit Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. In an instant, Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield disappeared. This reminded Yi Yu of the power of the Sword Master Bickley's Holy Sword, but the space ability of the Sword Master Bickley's Holy Sword could only be used for defense. The difference with IM is that it can carry out long-range attacks. Yi Yu could feel it. Just as Swordmaster Baikali's defense could ignore any attack, IM's sky-splitting fist could ignore any defense. The people in the Whitebeard pirates below saw this scene and were all stunned for a moment. IM, the guy in this world who claims to be a god, actually survived such serious injuries. Moreover, it seems to have directly broken Yi Yu's absolute defense. These people know exactly how high Yi Yu's Conqueror's defense level is. Think about it, when facing the attack of the coalition forces, how many strong men in this world were gathered together. Among the pirates are Kaido of the Four Emperors, Big Mom from Cake Island, Cyborg Sora, the commander of the entire Marine Army, Fleet Admiral Sengoku of Marine, and Garp, the hero of Marine. There are also 5 elders from the pinnacle of world government power. The existence of any of these peerless powerful men in today's world is enough to shock an area. But the combined attack of these peerless experts failed to break Yi Yu's defense in the end. And today, IM, known as the descendant of God, directly broke through Yi Yu's defense. This really surprised everyone in the Whitebeard pirates. Yi Yu. The entire Whitebeard pirates shouted, and some people were even ready to break out of Yi Yu's protective shield and avenge Yi Yu. Yi Yu's brows became serious. Since coming to this world so many years ago, IM is really the first person who has made him feel very troublesome. The terrifying power just now didn't even kill IM. It seems that IM has been able to rule the entire pirate world for many years, and he definitely has 2 skills. But, I naturally have my own trump card. Field, Yi Yu shouted. In an instant, Yi Yu disappeared from his previous position. Just when Yi Mu's air-splitting fist swallowed up his Conqueror's defensive shield, Yi Yu directly opened his Conqueror's field, and came directly behind Yi Mu in the next moment. IM's eyes widened and his lips began to tremble. You guys, really didn't expect that you also have spatial abilities. IM said in disbelief. This is not a space ability. To be precise, it should be called a domain. Yi Yu explained behind IM. Then, Yi Yu hit IM with another Conqueror's meteorite. This time, IM escaped again. Huge thunder. After Conquerors submerged into the sea, it once again electrified the entire sea with lightning and thunder. But this time, above the sea, Yi Yu could see IM's movements clearly. There was a slight smile on the corner of Yi Yu's mouth, and he dared to say that this guy, IM, couldn't really resist his attack. Instead, he used the same skills as himself, Conqueror's field. In this case, I just need to expel your Conquerors and I'll be fine. Yi Yu said to IM with a smile. Then Yi Yu directly activated his Conqueror's domineering power to its strongest state. In an instant, all the Conquerors in Yi Yu's body emerged. A strong fighting spirit rises between heaven and earth. At this moment, Yi Yu's Conquerors are fully activated, like a god of war. The surrounding environment, driven by Yi Yu Conquerors, also began to tremble. IM naturally also understood the measures he should take at present, and he also shouted loudly, and the Conquerors in his body rose. In an instant, 2 Conquerors' domineering energy filled the surroundings. Under the impact of these 2 Conquerors, the entire sky began to thunder and lightning, and dark clouds reappeared in the sky. There was lightning and thunder in an instant, and a heavy downpour started to fall towards the ground in an instant. Powerful energy swept through the surroundings, and streams of energy emerged crazily under the squeeze of the 2 Conquerors. Even the people in the Whitebeard pirates felt the terrifying power of this energy. This energy is so scary. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo's eyes widened. Empress Hancock's beautiful eyes were also wrinkled, her body trembled, and she murmured. The Conqueror's collision between these 2 people must be the most terrifying Conqueror's collision in the world. The Empress and Heavenly Yaksha are both owners of Conquerors, but their own Conquerors' levels are very low. They used to think that their Conquerors were already very good, especially Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo, who awakened his Conquerors at a young age. The 2 people who had always been arrogant were completely shocked when they saw the showdown between Yi Yu and Yi Mu this time. Now that I think about this Conquerors thing about myself, I feel a little embarrassed. Is that called Conquerors? At best, it's just a skill for cleaning up stray fish. And Yi Yu's Conquerors has absolute attack, absolute defense, can be imagined at will, and can create domains. That's the real power. On the side of Fire Fist Ace, sweat gradually broke out on his forehead. This strong pressure was really terrifying. Some Conquerors actually penetrated part of the defensive cover during the squeezing process. The minions of the Whitebeard pirates behind them, as well as the Marine of the World Alliance army, even vomited and fell to the ground. Now the only ones who can withstand this kind of Conqueror's pressure are the peerless strong men like Edward Newgate with Whitebeard, Shiki the Golden Lion, and Mahawk the Eagle Eye. Although it only infiltrated a small number of Conquerors, these Conquerors have affected everyone including the elite captain of the Whitebeard pirates. Smoker's forehead was covered with cold sweat, and he looked at the scene outside with a solemn expression. If Yi Yu's Conqueror's wall collapses, there is no doubt that a lieutenant general of his level will be squeezed into a meat pie in an instant. Lieutenant General he also frowned, although he could still bear the Conquerors that had penetrated so far. But, if this Conquerors continues to become stronger. With Yi Yu and Yi Mu's Conquerors, how could they be stopped by their own group? There is even a worse ending, that is, if Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive wall is hit and the hole is exposed, all the Conqueror's air pressure from outside will rush over in an instant. At that time, facing the Conquerors of Yi Yu, the Devil, and the Conquerors of IM, who is known as the god of the celestial dragons, who can resist? I'm afraid that in just one moment, all the people protected by Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield, whether you are an elite or a junior, can be instantly killed. Thinking of this, Lieutenant General He's expression became more and more serious. Even Newgate of the Whitebeard pirates frowned. He was not worried about his group, but looked at Yi Yu who was fighting in the sky. This time's opponent is several levels stronger than Yi Yu's previous opponents. The previous opponent Yi Yu could defeat the enemy within one move, but this Yi Yu released so many attacks, it was still difficult to defeat. This gave Whitebeard himself some bad premonitions. When he was worried, the golden lion on the side came over and patted Whitebeard hard. Don't worry, I don't believe anyone in this world can defeat Yi Yu. Shiki, the golden lion, smiled and showed his gap teeth, looking very confident. Above the sky, Flame Ember was rushing back to save Kaido. In an instant, the violent wind brought to him by the entire sky became even more turbulent. Sweat actually broke out on Jin's forehead, and he looked doubtfully in the direction of the Whitebeard pirates area, with a confused look on his face. What's going on? Why do you feel a sense of terror for no reason? Jin was thinking in horror. He turned on his most sensitive state of knowledge and finally sensed something strange. This is Conquerors, Yan Liangjun said with a shocked look on his face. And, there are two more Conquerors. After turning on his wisdom color again, Jin was surprised again. It's hard to believe that there are two people in this world who have such terrifying Conquerors. One must be Yi Yu. Such a terrifying Conquerors, Yi Yu will definitely not be able to escape. I just don't know who the other person is. Captain Kaido, you can't die. Jin muttered in his heart, this kind of terrifying Conqueror's confrontation. Even a strong man like his own Captain Hyakju Kaido would undoubtedly be smashed to pieces. Even the strongest creatures are useless in front of these two Conquerors. It's sad to say that I didn't expect it to develop into this situation in the end. The so-called four emperors were completely unworthy in front of a player of Yi Yu's level. It can even be said that in front of Yi Yu, he was instantly killed. If I had known, before Yi Yu appeared, what the four emperors meant to the world, it meant absolute danger and absolute dominance. However, since Yi Yu came out, Jin's view of the entire world has completely changed. Four emperors. In the face of the absolute power of this world, it is simply not enough. The reason why the four emperors are terrifying is entirely because the forces behind them have not appeared. The so-called four emperors are just chess pieces that can balance the world. Thinking of this, Jin once again moved toward the area of the Whitebeard pirates, wildly inflating his wings. The tense atmosphere lasted for a minute. The people around them swallowed their saliva and watched the direction of this war. Whitebeard swallowed his saliva. It's been going on for a minute. Between these two people, whose Conquerors is more majestic? Whitebeard murmured, showing a confused look. It should be Yi Yu. Just talking about Conquerors, I haven't met anyone who is more powerful than Yi Yu. Golden Lion Shiki walked towards Whitebeard and murmured to Whitebeard. But, as far as I know, one of the very important reasons why Lord I Am was able to become the master of this world is that he relied on his own Conquerors to become the king. Magnificent. The second elder on the side said with a solemn expression. Now, they have become grasshoppers on the same rope as the Whitebeard pirates, and naturally joined the Whitebeard pirates' discussions. Is it because of the Conquerors that I became the ruler of this world? Whitebeard murmured in thought. In this way, I Am is also a master of Conquerors, but I Am has practiced Conquerors for thousands of years. As for Yi Yu, he has only been practicing for 10 years, and more importantly, Yi Yu is basically sleeping, and has not practiced Conquerors at all. If you put it this way, after I Am practicing for such a long time, Yi Yu is really not necessarily his opponent. Josie frowned. No, although Mr. Yi Yu has not practiced Conquerors for a long time, it can be clearly felt that Yi Yu's talent is very high. Even if Yi Yu has not practiced, Mr. Yi Yu's Conqueror's level is developing rapidly. Eagle Eye Mihawk narrowed his eyes and analyzed seriously. The people around also noticed what Mihawk said and looked over one after another. Yes, Mihawk's analysis is right. Although Mr. Yi Yu is a little lazy, his talent is really high. I have fought against Mr. Yi Yu several times, and every time I can see how powerful Mr. Yi Yu is. At this point, Mihawk's eyes shined brightly, and he fell into the memories of the past. You think, this time, Mr. Yi Yu, will he become more powerful than last time? Mihawk narrowed his eyes and spoke seriously. Will it be more powerful than before? After hearing Mihawk's words, the people around him once again looked in the direction of Yi Yu. Yes, every time Yi Yu's fighting power is more terrifying than the last time, no one can guess how strong Yi Yu's fighting power will be next time. Chapter 203 Bullshit 4 Emperors. I remember the last battle was just one day ago against Bickley. Will Yi Yu become more powerful in one day? The answer is yes. I don't know how many battles Yi Yu had, but it only took one day to completely change his look, as if he was a different person. Thinking of this, everyone's confidence in Yi Yu finally increased. I believe Yi Yu, Captain Yi Yu's strength cannot be considered with ordinary people's mentality. Yes, Mr. Yi Yu's combat power will reach a new height every day. So what if he has practiced for thousands of years? Maybe it is not as good as our Mr. Yi Yu's one day of training. The people around him became more confident and began to cheer for Yi Yu. On sight, Yi Yu felt Yi Mu's domineering power, and finally the corners of his mouth rose slightly. You are powerful, I am. You can see my true face. I'm a scarier monster than you, Yi Yu said with a smile. Yi Yu's own 20,000-point Conquerors was fully activated, even Yi Mu felt the pressure. IM's Conquerors has shown a trend of losing ground. IM showed an incredulous expression. It was really hard to believe that a 20-year-old young man was actually more accomplished than himself at Conquerors. Look, IM seems to be dying. People around said, pointing to IM in the sky. IM frowned tightly and spoke slowly. It's really unexpected, Yi Yu. You guy, the Conqueror's strength is actually higher than mine. IM frowned tightly. The next moment, like a balloon exploding, a large number of Conquerors spewed towards IM, and the Conquerors generated by IM itself were completely unable to suppress Yi Yu's Conquerors. There was a muffled bang. The sound resounds throughout the world. The huge Conquerors is like a tornado, quickly sweeping around. Even the walls of the Conqueror's city are beginning to collapse. Everyone within the city wall showed extremely shocked expressions. How terrifying. IM's Conquerors was completely suppressed. I don't know if our Conqueror's city wall can withstand the terrifying aftermath of Conquerors. The strange monk Ulki looked at the surrounding scene with a serious face. The surroundings have already become a mess, and the sky, sea, and earth are all indistinguishable. The entire surrounding area is filled with various substances, and they are flying and floating in the entire sky. There are stones, sea, soil, trees, all of these things have been stirred together, and their original appearance has been changed beyond recognition, replaced by their elemental patterns. Because they themselves have been turned into powder by Yi Yu's Conqueror's impact. High in the sky, Yan Calamity Jin was flying quickly. Suddenly, a large-scale domineering force appeared in front of him. In an instant, the air explosion caused by the powerful Conqueror's domineering power directly blew up Yan Calamity Jin. The man fell on his back and his horse fell over. The flames on Yan Calamity's wings rose up, and he flapped his wings crazily. After spinning in the air for several times, it slowly stabilized. The flames calmed down, and the forehead was filled with sweat. Looking ahead of him, he had a solemn look on his face. What exactly is happening ahead? Lord Kaido, are you okay? Yan Liangjin showed a worried look again. I am so far away and have been impacted like this. If I am in the same situation as Lord Kaido, I really don't know if I can resist this terrifying power. No matter what, I must go there. Even if Lord Kaido is dead, I must get Lord Kaido's body back. Yan Liangjin thought with a serious face. He knew very well in his heart that anyone who was immersed in such a terrifying shock wave, even Kaido, who had the strongest defense, would definitely not be able to withstand it. Who on earth has such terrifying abilities? Thinking of this, Jin felt horrified in his heart. This terrifying Conqueror's aerial bombing caused an uproar throughout the world. Many media personnel have been dispatched, although they cannot get close to the area where the Whitebeard pirates are located, as it is too dangerous there. But, most of the press members in the world carried their own photography equipment and gathered in the Whitebeard pirates area, 100 kilometers away. One by one, they narrowed their eyes and stared at the area of the Whitebeard pirates. You can be sure that so many huge and terrifying energy fluctuations are all created from that direction. The one who can make such a big noise must be Yi Yu. After hearing Yi Yu's name, the people around him swallowed their saliva. This is a legend in the journalism world. After going out to sea to kill Drought Jack, there will almost always be a piece of breaking news. The entire journalism world has created many new news stars because of Yi Yu's emergence. Among them, the luckiest person has gone from being an ordinary manager to becoming the vice president of the World Economic News. And, most importantly, that person also directly received a reward of 100 million belly from Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency. Enough for their family to live on for several lifetimes. There are more and more people 100 kilometers away from the entire Whitebeard pirates area. Some people even set up camp directly on the ground and set up windproof tents, hoping to capture wonderful scenes and become an instant hit. Picked up their ultra-long-distance telescope and looked at the area of the Whitebeard pirates. The entire lens was filled with chaos, and all kinds of substances were turned into powder under the baptism of Conquerors. Under the dozens of strong winds caused by Conquerors, the entire shot was blurred and no one could be seen clearly. Although there are no characters in the entire Whitebeard pirates area, but, these scenes alone are enough to shock their hearts. One by one, they opened their mouths wide and fell into shock. This power is too terrifying, right? Far beyond their expectations. It's no longer as simple as splitting the sea and slashing the sky. Moreover, the matter in the entire space seems to have been annihilated. Who is so terrifying? It's complete chaos. To be able to stir up the entire space like this, I'm afraid only the god of creation in this world can do it. A famous war reporter exclaimed in horror. The person who can do this. In this world, I can only think of one person, and that is Yi Yu. But, it's obvious that the noise this time is caused by who Yi Yu is fighting. If it's one person, who would make such a big noise? The surrounding war reporters asked in confusion one by one. At this time, one of the founders of the original World Economic News Agency came out. If I'm not wrong, there is a person in this world whose strength has reached the pinnacle of humankind. That is the legendary god of creation. Although I don't know his name, he is the one who created this world in the first place, and the Tianlong people are his descendants. The older news agency veteran murmured. It can be seen that his expression is also extremely serious. After hearing the words of this veteran of the journalism industry, the people around him all fell into confusion. But, regarding this veteran figure in the journalism industry, the reporters around him still know very well that his words are absolutely correct. He is an old man who cannot tell lies. It was because he told too many truths that he was forced to leave office. After the people around heard the old man's words, they were briefly confused and started a heated discussion. It's true. This is too unbelievable. The previous legend turned out to be true. A reporter said in surprise with a very exaggerated expression. The surrounding war reporters knew very well about that legend. It was a legend they had heard often since they were born. However, I just regarded it as a legend and never thought that it was true. That legend means there are really gods in this world. A war reporter opened his mouth wide and said exaggeratedly. Wait a minute, the crux of the matter is, Mr. Yi Yu is fighting God right now. A battle with that legendary god. A mere manpower, directly fighting the god. The reporters around them were shocked for a while, with incredible expressions on their faces. God, manpower versus God, something they had never dared to imagine before, was most likely being done by Yi Yu at this moment. Gulu, Gulu. Each one of them swallowed their saliva crazily, showing a sluggish expression. After a while, a reporter suddenly reacted and pointed his super camera in the direction of the battlefield. With a serious look on his face, this is a rare opportunity for the most powerful human being in the world to fight against the gods in this world. If anyone can capture this battle, they will really become famous. The surrounding reporters saw someone starting to take crazy pictures in the direction of the Whitebeard pirates, and each of them also picked up the camera in their hands. Click, click, start shooting crazy in the direction of the Whitebeard pirates. Although the place where they were shooting is now in chaos and it is impossible to tell what is what, they are still shooting hard and trying to capture every moment. This is about the battle between gods and humans. No matter how important history is, it cannot be compared with it. Even this kind of picture that can't be photographed may become a priceless treasure in the journalism world in the future. And, if you're lucky, you might be able to capture some exciting scenes, and then your group of people will really have nothing to worry about for the rest of their lives. Click, click, each machine started running, all turned on to maximum power, filming the area of the Whitebeard pirates. The scene changes, just above the scene, in chaos. IM finally appeared, with dark energy appearing in his hands, and he grabbed Yi Yu fiercely. At this time, Yi Yu could be seen to be in a very embarrassed state, with his body covered with green blood, especially the tail that had grown out before, which was directly broken into two sections by the impact of Yi Yu's powerful conquerors. Facing the blow that angry IM used against him, Yi Yu smiled slightly. This is a bit too disrespectful of oneself. HMPH, now the entire space is my conquerors, IM, you admit defeat. I won this battle, Yi Yu murmured in the air. IM's face was full of anger. Since he was born, even when he fought for the dominance of the world 800 years ago and fought against the King of Nations, he had never been so embarrassed. This guy Yi Yu has completely angered himself. I am, the only god in this world, and how can I be ridiculed by a careless, young boy? This, can't bear it. The strange black energy, in the space filled with conquerors by Yi Yu, was actually able to draw a black gap in the space. The Whitebeard pirates below all widened their eyes. Yi Yu's opponent this time is really unusual. Such a terrifying attack, as if the entire space was torn to pieces, but I am still fine. Whitebeard was located in Yi Yu's conqueror's defensive shield, showing an extremely serious expression. So, the defense of the celestial dragons is really strong. Lord it's okay. The second elder of the five elders said with trembling teeth. Reminding of the terror he once felt, he started shouting. It's finished, we are all finished, we have offended the god of this world. There was no trace of the usual solemnity of the five elders. This directly caused the surrounding World Alliance army to panic. Kaido and Big Mom looked at each other. They never imagined that they would end up losing their lives in the hands of Sama in this world. I'm telling you, old witch, if wins and he takes action, do you think we can resist it with our two people's defenses? Kaido said weakly, feeling uncertain. These two people have always boasted about how terrifying their defense is. Kaido is known as the strongest creature in the world, with strong blood volume and recovery ability. The ant herself has rough skin and thick flesh. The skin on her body is like a steel balloon, and her defense is even more abnormal. This is also an important reason why these two people can become the emperors of this world. And these two of them, now facing the battle between Yi and Yi Yu, were really scared in their hearts. Can you resist? Stop joking, Kaido. Sherlock Linlin accepted the reality. If these two guys wanted to kill any of us, it would just be a thought and we would be dead. Bullshit, 4 emperors, in front of these two people, they are like ants. Auntie murmured with excitement on her face. After hearing this, Kaido completely gave up. Chapter 204 Uranus. If it were Yi Yu and Yi Mu, it was very likely that just an ordinary aftermath would be able to kill them 4 emperors instantly. The more they thought about it, the more frightened they became, and they all showed expressions of fear. On the battlefield, Im's strange ability went straight to Yi Yu's face, just when everyone was sweating for Yi Yu. Yi Yu disappeared strangely. Im's strange energy directly hit an empty space, and the huge force rushed into the sky. A strange black hole instantly appeared in the entire sky. The entire sky seemed to be penetrated by some strange force. The reporters located around the Whitebeard pirates area noticed something unusual in the sky and picked up their cameras one by one to take pictures. Look, what is it? There seems to be cracks in the whole sky. What is going on? It's unbelievable that it actually made a big hole in the sky. God is the only one in this world who can do this. It's so terrifying. The energy fluctuations coming from over there are much more terrifying than natural disasters. The reporters around were all shocked by what happened in the area near the Whitebeard pirates. He was also extremely shocked by the damage caused by IM in the sky. However, contrary to what they thought, at this time, Yi had completely lost the chance of winning in front of Yi. Although Yim's attack is very powerful, within Yi's Conqueror's field, Yi can completely see Yim's movements. No matter how scary Yi's attack is, Yi can easily dodge it. The furious Yi stretched his arms again and grabbed Yi. This time, there was a jet black flame on Yi's arm. The people in the Whitebeard pirates area below noticed this, and everyone was surprised. Especially the pitch black flames made people feel very uneasy. This guy has so many weird abilities. What is that weird energy flame? It makes people feel evil. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo narrowed his eyes and stared at the black energy, said. The people around him naturally noticed this strange energy. Why does this feel so much like Blackbeard's? Dark fruit. Fire Fist Ace murmured as his vision was filled with black flames. Dark fruit. The faces of the people around him became more solemn. It was an evil thing. Could it be that after Blackbeard died, IM could not gain power after eating this fruit? It's not like Blackbeard's dark fruit, it's more like a space skill. Marco, who also possesses the ability of fire, narrowed his eyes and murmured. Space skills. The people around them all turned their attention to Marco, which they really didn't expect. What can consume the flames of space? Marco gave a serious look. That's right, you can turn on the color of seeing and observing this weird energy, and use it in the same way as my Phoenix Flame. But the abilities are different. Mine is recovery, but his is devouring. Marco murmured. Mahawk, the eagle-like sharp eye on the side, also showed a serious expression. I wonder if Yi can handle this strange energy. The next moment, when everyone was worried, Yi Zhou disappeared directly from the spot again. Then, a sharp and domineering slash appeared, and Im's stretched arm was cut off on the spot. A miserable scream sounded out, making the people around them feel terrified. This sound is Lord Im's scream. The second elder among the 5 elders showed an incredible expression. He would never have thought that the IM who was so high in front of him before, who was called a godlike existence, would actually be defeated by a young brat. Oh my god, what the hell is going on? Master Yimu actually cut off his arm. This world is going to change. This world is going to change. The second elder in the 5 elders opened his mouth wide. He spoke incredulously. The entire World Alliance army also looked shocked. They really didn't expect that Yimu, the god in the world, would be defeated by Yi. They are the real pinnacle of power in this world. Needless to say, he is the first person in these thousands of years to be strong. However, now it was ended by Yi. Cyborg Kong had a look of shock on his face. Master IM, who was so mysterious in front of him before, now looks like this. He looks miserable, like a messy and destitute person. It's hard to imagine that he was once hailed as the god of this world. Warring States also clenched his fists. Although I have never had contact with IM before, since this god has been able to rule the world for so many years and suppress the terrifying 5 elders, his strength is naturally terrifying. Such a person would be killed by Yi. Although Yi was also very strong, he still felt a little unbelievable when he actually appeared in front of him. Garp smiled. This guy IM was shouting before that he wanted to kill his group of people. Now it's better. Before he could kill his group, one of his arms had already been broken by Yi. The 3 generals all had sweat streaming down their foreheads, mainly because of Im's screams, which really surprised them. IM is the real person behind world government, but he is so vulnerable in front of Yi. Looking at Yi again, at this moment, his face is still calm, his breathing is still really even, and there is no sign of any joy after Yi's victory. Could it be that Yi had already predicted the outcome of this battle? The scene changed and Yi faced IM and began to communicate in a condescending manner. Stop it, IM. In this realm, I am the king. I think you should understand this. In my field, Yi, am invincible. No matter how much resistance you make, you will still be a loser in the end. Yi said with disdain, raising the corners of his mouth slightly. A-hole. IM cursed loudly, expressing his dignity as a god at this moment. In front of Yi, an ordinary human being, everything was lost. Don't think that you are invincible just because you beat me, Yi. Im's mood gradually calmed down, and he looked at Yi in front of him with a cold face. Even his angry fingers began to tremble. Yi still had a smile on his face, and he actually enjoyed the feeling of making the creator god of this world so angry. What's wrong? As a god, you were defeated by me. Is there anyone more powerful than me in this world? Yi said with a smile. The guy named Yi in front of me is probably mad at him, right? However, it is understandable. After all, being pulled down from the altar by others is not a pleasant thing. Facing Yi's ridicule, Yi became even more ferocious, with sharp claws growing on his fingers, and they penetrated heavily into his body. A large amount of green blood flowed out of his body. Then at some point, 7 more key fragments appeared out of thin air on the other hand of his hand. All 7 keys are combined together. Then, a dazzling light appeared above the synthetic key. With the appearance of the light, the whole world trembled. Whether it is the Grand Line, the New World, or any corner of the Red Earth continent, violent tremors begin at this time. People all over the world showed shocked expressions. On the sea, red-haired Shanks' pirate ship was sailing. The whole sea suddenly became rough, and there was even a sea earthquake under his ship. Huge waves rose into the sky one after another. Red-haired Shanks' pirate ship began to spin left and right amidst the roar of the sea. The members of the red-haired pirate group walked over from their dormitories one after another, each of them looking shocked. What is happening to this world? Why do you feel like something big is going to happen again? Beckman smoked one cigar after another and looked at the sea around him, feeling equally confused. Hey, Beckman, what happened? Lakeelu walked out of the kitchen with a big chicken drumstick, a look of confusion on his face. Beckman could only spread his hands and show a helpless expression. I didn't know what happened, so I could only wait for Shanks to come out. Sure enough, after just a while, Shanks also hurried out of his dormitory. As soon as Shanks came out, the people around him immediately surrounded him. Shanks, what happened that could make the entire sea and the entire continent tremble? Is this the end of the world? Everyone around looked at Shanks expectantly. Shanks looked solemn, looked around, and opened his mouth. This terrifying scale makes the whole world tremble. It is most likely a natural disaster. If God does not want to destroy mankind, there is another possibility. That's man-made. A glint appeared in Shanks' eyes. I don't know about this big earthquake, but if it's not a natural disaster. Shanks said solemnly. If it's not a natural disaster, could it be a man-made disaster? This is impossible. Even the two strongest guys in the world, I am and Yu, I don't believe they can grow up to this situation. Beckman put out the cigarette in his hand and showed an incredulous expression. Man-made. Stop joking. Is there really someone in this world who can achieve the power to destroy the entire world? Although I am is called the god of creation, but I still know this. How can there be a god of creation? Even if there is, it is impossible for this god of creation to live in the human world. It's not Yu and Yu, Shanks said seriously. Isn't it Yu and I am? The expressions of the people around him became even more confused. What on earth is Captain Shanks talking about? Aren't Yu and Yu recognized as the strongest in the world? Shanks had just told them a few days ago. It is said that this battle between Yu and Yu will determine who is the master of this world and the direction of the world. So it goes without saying that one of these two people must be the strongest in the world. Now, Shanks actually said that such a terrifying man-made power was not released by Yu and Yu. This is obviously very contradictory. The red-haired Shanks looked around with sharp eyes and took a deep breath. After calming down his mood, the red-haired Shanks continued to speak. When I was very young, I heard a legend from the Tianlong people. I'm afraid you have also heard of this legend. Shanks murmured. Legend? Another legend. What the hell, Shanks, stop showing off. Could it be said that there really are gods in this world? Beckman, a usually calm person, could no longer hold back at this moment, and asked anxiously towards the red-haired Shanks. It's not a god, it's a weapon. Super ancient weapon. Shanks' eyes became more serious. Super ancient weapons. Or a legend. Hearing this, Ben Beckman suddenly realized something and trotted all the way to Shanks. Shanks, the weapons you are talking about should be Uranus, Poseidon, and Pluton, these three killer weapons. Ben Beckman took a deep breath, with a solemn look on his face. Then he turned to the red hair and spoke again. But, I heard about these weapons, haven't they been discovered yet? Even if someone discovers them, the next step is to find a way to activate them. This method is not simple. After so many years, there is no way to activate them. Why was it suddenly activated? Beckman asked suspiciously. The other people also became interested one by one, but they still had doubtful looks on their faces. Yeah, Shanks, are you telling the truth? There really is someone who can activate these three killer weapons. Shanks let out a breath. I'm not sure, but I heard something about Uranus from the Tianlong people. Shanks explained to everyone. Oh, what's going on? People around became interested. Uranus, known as the most powerful weapon among the three major weapons of death, has always been a weapon that the entire pirate world talks about. If it is Uranus, the power generated is more powerful than Yu and Yu. Everyone agrees on this. Because Uranus is originally called by people in the world as a weapon that can destroy the world. It's not surprising that it caused a big shock in the whole world. I once heard from the Dracos that one of the most important reasons why Yim is able to rule this world is that Yim has the key to Uranus. Know the secret to unlocking Uranus. As soon as these words came out, the people around him exploded. Uranus, that is Uranus, a weapon that is superior to Poseidon and Pluton. Chapter 205 Uranus appears. I am actually knew that he had mastered such a terrifying weapon. Before this, there was a rumor in the entire pirate world that as long as Uranus could be found and activated, the world could be overthrown. If you look at it now, it's just a joke. That's because Uranus is already in the hands of the rulers. If you want to rely on the power of Uranus to overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons, it will be impossible in your lifetime. I am relied on this weapon to rule the entire world back then. So, this weapon is definitely very powerful. If I am activates him, the final winner should be I am without a doubt. Shanks said seriously. Gee, the people around did not expect that Yu activated the weapon, which means that Yu cannot defeat Yu with his own strength. The outcome of this war really surprised everyone. Yi Yu actually defeated IM, but in the end IM used Uranus to defeat Yi Yu, which made people sigh. The great earthquake in the whole world also surprised the supernovae in this world. Luffy, who was still wandering around in the new world at this time, felt this terrible power and was almost unsteady on his feet. However, Luffy, who was very nervous, did not feel any surprise and thought it was an ordinary small earthquake. Nami hit Luffy on the head several times. Idiot Luffy, this is not a small earthquake. Nami yelled loudly at Luffy. What, isn't it a normal earthquake, Nami? People around, Zoro and Sanji, also asked in confusion. Immediately afterwards, just like Luffy, several big bags appeared directly on their heads. You idiots, you are as big an idiot as Luffy. The whole world is shaking, idiots. Nami roared loudly. What? The whole world was trembling, which made Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates instantly quiet. As their navigator, Nami's research on astronomy and geography is ranked among the best in the world. If Nami said this was a major earthquake worldwide, she would not be wrong. It will turn out to be a major earthquake all over the world. Luffy, Chopper, and Brook all opened their mouths, showing expressions of extreme surprise. This was the first time they had encountered this kind of thing, and it was hard to believe that such a thing could happen. Zoro's eyes were extremely solemn. As a swordsman, he inexplicably felt an aura of danger and fear. Why do I have a bad feeling? Zoro said seriously. The people around him also showed the same expression as Zoro for a moment. I hope nothing terrible will happen. A major earthquake around the world is not a good sign. Nami looked at the animals around him that started to have no target and were running around randomly, frowned and murmured. Kid, who is located in New World, is currently thinking about the first 4 Emperor's target to kill with Kira and others. They temporarily set their target on the red-haired Shanks. During the discussion, the whole earth suddenly began to tremble violently. What's going on? Is there an earthquake? Kira asked. This situation is really relatively rare. On the side, one of Kid's Supernova Alliance, Hawkins, rode his elk and came to Kid. Kid, I always feel like something bad will happen. Hawkins frowned and said. It seems that I need to calculate the fortune carefully. Apu, the player who played the audio disc, came over and showed a trace of disdain. I said, Hawkins, you are always suspicious. Isn't it just an ordinary earthquake? What's so surprising? After hearing Apu's words, Hawkins didn't have any unusual expression. He still looked calm. He took out his fortune-telling poker and started to divine. One after another, the glowing divination cards slid back and forth in Hawkins' hands, and finally a strange pattern appeared. After seeing this strange pattern, Hawkins showed a very ugly expression. This was in sharp contrast to Hawkins' calm face before. Hira on the side noticed Hawkins' face and came over. What's wrong, Hawkins, what happened? Hira asked curiously. Although Apu on the side had a disdainful expression on his face, he still trusted Hawkins' weird abilities. Moreover, every time Hawkins performed a divination, no matter how serious something happened, he was very calm. This time, it turned out to be this expression. It was definitely not simple. Something big must have happened. The corners of Hawkins' mouth kept trembling, and his expression fell into a hollow state. What's wrong, Hawkins? You are talking. People around him also rushed over. They were planning to conquer the red-haired pirates, fearing that something would happen that would hinder their progress. Is it about the red-haired Shanks? People around asked in confusion. At this time, if it weren't for the red-haired Shanks, the target of their challenge, it would be unimaginable what kind of situation would happen to shock Hawkins like this. Hawkins calmed down his mind and finally murmured. Not about red-haired Shanks. After hearing what happened to the red-haired Shanks, everyone let out a sigh of relief. Why is this guy, if not red-haired Shanks, so shocked? What's going on? Look at you making such a fuss. Apu asked Hawkins angrily. It's news about Uranus. Hawkins swallowed his own saliva and spoke with trembling lips. Buzz. The surrounding pirates held their breaths one by one. Uranus. This is something that many pirates dream of. Even Kid, the boss among them, showed excited eyes after hearing it. It's news about Uranus. Great, ha 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 ha. Kid came to Hawkins with excitement on his face. Hawkins, please tell me where Uranus is now. If we can get him, let alone destroy the Shanks pirates, even if we rule the world, it won't be difficult. Kid asked excitedly. Hira, Apu and others also came to Hawkins one after another, and each of them pricked up their ears. Hawkins, a magician, was unexpectedly useful at critical moments. He could actually know the existence of Uranus through his strange ability. You want to get Uranus? Hawkins looked up at everyone's greedy eyes and said in surprise. Immediately, he smiled bitterly and shook his head helplessly. Don't be joking. Uranus is being activated by someone right now. The whole world is trembling because Uranus was activated just now. The energy that activates Uranus is very powerful, and his strength is probably on the same level as Yi Yu. After hearing Hawkins' words, everyone also showed a surprised look. When did a guy as terrifying as Yi Yu appear again in this world? And Uranus's activation of my hexagram shows that it is to deal with a young man who is 20 years old. In this world, I think there is only one young man who can use the power of Uranus to solve the problem. There is only one person in this world, and that is Yi Yu. Hawkins said solemnly. At this time, the people around him also opened their mouths. Yi Yu relied on human power to fight against the most powerful existence in the world, Uranus. Gulu. Gulu. Everyone felt horrified by Yi Yu's improvement in strength. That kind of powerful power, even if it is Yi Yu, but he is only a human being after all, can he really defeat it? Apu, the audio player, said with a shocked look on his face. The impression Uranus gives in this world is really too terrifying. After all, the legendary Uranus is a being that is superior to any power. Even if Yi Yu becomes the #1 human being, he may not be able to win in the battle against this human-killing machine. I don't know, Hawkins murmured. The strength of both of them is too huge, beyond my prediction range. Hawkins said with a frown. This is the first time I have encountered this situation. Because the power of Yi Yu and Uranus is too huge, my prediction will be unbalanced. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva. It was so huge that even Hawkins' power could not be predicted. Yan Calamity Jin, who was in the air and flying towards the Whitebeard pirates area at a high speed, also widened his eyes. Although my body is located in the sky, major earthquakes in the entire world will not have a great impact on me, but it is precisely because I am high in the sky that I can look down on the entire ground. Everything is in his own eyes, and he can see that the whole world is in ruins everywhere. This made Yan Liangjin feel inexplicably panicked. What kind of weird energy could actually shake the whole world like this? Why? How do I feel like the end is coming? This feeling is so insecure. By the way, could it be emanating from the Whitebeard pirates area? If it radiated from the area of the Whitebeard pirates, then Kaido, the boss of his family, would definitely be doomed. This kind of terrifying power can shake the whole world. No matter how strong his defense is, his boss, Kaido, may not be able to withstand it. But, even if Boss Kaido is dead, I must bring him out. Back in the Tianlong laboratory, Lord Kaido did not give up on himself. I will never be able to abandon Lord Kaido. A certain corner of the world, to be precise, located in a certain forest area of the world. A war machine rises from the ground. This war machine has tens of thousands of propellers on its body, roaring in the air, bringing 10-level winds wherever it passes. The entire machine is 800 feet long, 500 feet high, and 300 feet wide, and is made entirely of sea tower stone. There are tens of thousands of muzzles on the machine. From the depths of these barrels, you can feel the strange energy inside the cannon. It is definitely not as simple as a bomb. Just like this, a huge thing rose from the ground, and everywhere it passed was filled with shadows. The monsters below Uranus were frightened and began to run away one by one holding their heads. This huge thing in the sky was visible to people all over the world. Looking at this war machine one by one, they felt an inexplicable feeling of fear. This thing, what on earth is it? It feels so terrible. I don't know. Do you think the earthquake just now was caused by this terrifying thing? I think it's possible. This thing is really weird. What's going on these days? It's either wars or UFOs. Why does it feel like the world is about to end? Everyone was discussing intensely over this dark and vague thing in the sky. Uranus went from waking up just now to being fully activated. All the energy in his body was radiated out with a loud bang. A huge mushroom cloud appeared in the entire sky, and then Uranus, a war machine with such a huge body, began to fly towards the direction of the Whitebeard pirates at the speed of light. The entire sky is filled with black smoke created by Uranus. With the speed of light, Uranus arrived at the Whitebeard pirates area in just a blink of an eye. Look, what's that in the sky? Fire Fist Ace took the lead in discovering the behemoth in the area above the Whitebeard pirates, and shouted loudly. People around them looked to the sky. Damn it, this thing, it must be the war machine that I am mentioned, Uranus. Golden Lion Shiki swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in shock. This behemoth is even bigger than my own island. Are you sure this thing really exists? As this Uranus, according to legend, he is a being that can destroy the entire world. Whitebeard Edward Newgate looked shocked. Although he is the strongest man, he is still shocked when facing such a terrifying war machine. This is an existence that can destroy the world. In Roger's time, I don't know how many people wanted to get Uranus, but in the end, they still ended in failure. I didn't expect that Uranus was actually in the hands of this IM. It's no wonder that IM can rule this world. The world for so many years. Legend has it that whoever possesses this weapon can overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons and replace them. But who could have thought that this weapon was originally in the hands of the Tianlong people? So, humans can't overthrow God's rule in their lifetime. Haha. Chapter 206 The Arrogant Tianlong People. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Whitebeard mocked helplessly in his heart. Eagle Eyes Mahawk also widened his eyes. This is the first time I feel that this kind of dead weapon can bring its own domineering power. That's right, the entire Uranus exudes something similar to the human Conqueror's domineering force, and the weapon in Mahawk's hand begins to tremble violently. Even the supreme sharp sword Hidoe began to tremble violently. Mahawk looked incredulous. My sword has been tempered to be extremely powerful. Other ordinary weapons can only tremble in front of my black sword. I didn't expect that today, when facing Uranus, my sword would actually tremble. Ha 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 ha. Yi Yu, didn't expect that, did you? IM said with a proud look on his face. The reason why I have been able to rule this world for so many years is because of my own strength. How can it be enough? Of course I have considered your existence, but I didn't expect you to be so young, ha 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 ha. However, it doesn't matter anything. As long as I kill you, I can rule this world safely for another 1,000 years. Existences of your level only appear once in 1,000 years. I am continued to say to Yi Yu. Facing the majestic momentum of Uranus, Yi Yu also showed a look of surprise. It was unimaginable that such a huge creature turned out to be the legendary Uranus. Moreover, Uranus has something similar to Conquerors. Interesting, really interesting. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes. Uranus, I've heard of it, but I don't know how strong it is. Yi Yu said with a smile. After Yi Mu heard Yi Yu's words, he was obviously stunned, and then suddenly burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Yi Yu, you are so overestimating your capabilities. Do you really think this legendary weapon is so easy to deal with? After saying that, I am directly jumped into the sky. The huge Uranus in the sky now opened his valve. I am soared into the air and then flew directly into it. White light emitted from Uranus's body, and then came the ancient vicissitudes of Im's voice. Yi Yu, I'm going to show you the horror of Uranus. Just as he finished speaking, all the muzzles of the cannons around Uranus were aimed at Yi Yu. Boom, boom. Cannonballs were fired from the muzzle of Uranus one after another. Looking at the posture, there were thousands of cannonballs. Located within Yi Yu's Conqueror's territory, Yi Yu narrowed his eyes tightly, showing a trace of solemnity. I never expected that these cannonballs were all made of seafloor stone, and the insides of these cannonballs were all armed with Conqueror's hockey. What a weird cannonball. Two mutually incompatible things were perfectly combined. The only material in the world that can encapsulate domineering energy is Sea Tower Stone, and the only energy that can break through the restraints of Sea Tower Stone when it explodes is domineering energy. The perfect combination of these two things will produce the most terrifying explosion in the world. Boom, boom. No shells were fired, but all were directed in Yi Yu's direction, attacking accurately. Yi Yu directly activated the ability in Conqueror's field, instantly causing spatial movement. But something strange happened. After Yi Yu's body was displaced, the thousands of cannonballs that followed did not miss. Instead, they were spatially displaced just like Yi Yu. The members of the Whitebeard pirates below couldn't believe what they were seeing. Since Yi Yu appeared, they had seen too many strange attacks, but this time they were completely shocked. It is simply unimaginable that a weapon actually has space capabilities. How is this done? Is the person who made this weapon an ordinary human being or a god of this world? The people of the Whitebeard pirates don't know this at all. The only thing that is certain is that the weapon Uranus cannot be figured out using ordinary human thinking methods. With Yi Yu's spatial displacement, the cannonballs that were densely packed in the sky before completely disappeared, and the entire sky fell into calm. The Whitebeard pirates below also fell into a strange and silent atmosphere. Everyone swallowed their saliva, the calm before the storm, this is the feeling. Sure enough, just as everyone was thinking for a moment, the next moment, a strong explosion occurred in the sea 1 kilometer away from the Whitebeard pirates area. Thousands of nuclear-like bombs, at the same moment, released their energy crazily, shaking the entire sea. The violent explosion directly stimulated the volcanoes located on the seabed. A large number of volcanoes erupted directly from the deep sea. The strong volcanic energy directly broke through the sky. The entire sky was filled with sparks. The Whitebeard pirates began to tremble violently on land, and the waves on the side swallowed them up. The faces of the World Alliance army were all ashen. If they hadn't happened to be on the edge of Yi Yu's Conqueror's city wall, at this moment, they might have risked their lives here. Their leader abandoned them and even threatened to kill them, but the enemy he fought before, Yi Yu, actually protected them. At this time, there was a subtle change in everyone's psychology, that is, it was not bad to be a free labor force just to keep working for Yi Yu like this. The members of the Whitebeard pirates frowned one by one, not only because this was like a doomsday scene. There is another more important reason, that is, they discovered that there were cracks in Yi Yu's Conqueror's city wall at this time. A-hole, I thought that by defeating this battle would be over. We, the Whitebeard pirates, would rule the world in place of the celestial dragons and give the world a fair, peaceful and stable world. But, who would have thought that this guy could actually master something as terrifying as Uranus? Looking at it like this, Uranus seems to be even more terrifying than himself. The members of the Whitebeard pirates all said in surprise that this was like a doomsday scene, and the destructive power it produced was even more terrifying than the Conqueror's collision between Yi Yu and Yim. I don't know if Yi Yu is okay. If Yi Yu can't resist this terrifying power, then there is no doubt that they will be at their wits' end. Before, they were able to fight to the death against but facing Uranus, this behemoth, this war machine, they couldn't resist at all. Risking your own life to fight a cold machine. At this time, everyone's thoughts were all focused on Yi Yu. Sure enough, after everything calmed down, Yi Yu flew directly out of the depths of the sea. Who was in the Uranus cockpit, frowned. This guy Yi Yu, I didn't expect him to be quite cunning. He actually led his attack into the bottomless sea. This greatly hinders his own explosion damage. In fact, was wrong about this. Yi Yu introduced the bomb into the sea not because he was afraid that Uranus would destroy his Conqueror's defense shield, but because Yi Yu was afraid that so many horrific nuclear bomb explosions would affect the Whitebeard pirates. That's why Yi Yu chose to introduce this thing into the sea. The sea and the Sea Tower Stone have some similar power, and can buffer the aftermath of the explosion very well. That's why Yi Yu chose to introduce them to that depth. Thousands of meters deep in the sea. Sure enough, Yi Yu's judgment was right. This terrifying power directly shocked the whole world. At this time, earthquakes of various sizes occurred throughout the One Piece world. The people in the news agency who were watching in the distance showed signs of horror. The cannonball fired by that behemoth actually caused a major earthquake in the entire world. A member who had just joined the news agency said in disbelief. No matter how much I think about it, I can't imagine that a machine can actually cause shock all over the world. That machine should be the legendary weapon Uranus, right? A senior journalist spoke up. He had heard some descriptions about the Uranus, saying that the Uranus was as huge as an island and could float in the air. Any one of the cannonballs on the machine could level an island to the ground. At first, I didn't believe it, thinking it was just a legend, but now I believe it. This kind of terrifying war machine really exists in this world. Such a terrifying war machine is used to deal with Yu. It seems that Yu will be in trouble this time. Sure enough, this world is still dominated by the Tianlong people. The war reporters said in shock. No, look, Yu hasn't fallen down yet, he has appeared from the sea. A sharp-eyed war reporter swallowed his own saliva and murmured. After hearing this reporter speak, everyone focused their cameras on Yu again. Although supernovae located around the world were not able to be there personally, some reporters conveyed the information through live broadcasts. So these supernovae can also see the situation here on the big screen. Kid, Hawkins and others saw the scene on the screen and felt the whole world shake. It's unmistakable, the earthquake just caused was caused by Uranus's attack. It's just that I really didn't expect that Yu could resist such a terrifying attack again. Apu was attracted by the crowd at this time and walked over. He looked at Yu who appeared on the screen again with a look of shock. And the person who appears in Uranus should be the creator god of this world. Since Yu forced him to activate Uranus, this has actually proved one thing, that is, Yu is now the most powerful person in the world. This made Apu stand in awe. Alone, with his own strength, and with the protection of his crew, he can still fight against the war machine. Throughout the ages, Yu is the only one who can do this. Luo, another superstar, also widened his eyes. That guy Doflamingo, even if he wants to betray Kaido, he must join the people who follow him, is he the one? Luo said with a shocked look on his face. This man's strength is so terrifying. With human power, fighting Uranus is something I can't even imagine. At the same time, Luo also narrowed his eyes. If Doflamingo is following this guy, there is no doubt that he will never be able to kill Doflamingo in his life. The boss behind Brother Ming is really terrifying. At the same time, the people watching were naturally people from the Holy Land Marijoa. First are the remaining Marines who guard the Holy Land of Marijoa. Everyone widened their eyes. Uranus. Uranus took action. As soldiers, they understand the horror of Uranus better than ordinary people. Uranus, that is an existence that can destroy the entire world. The important point is, it is not the creature of the entire world, but the entire world. It is so powerful that it can explode this planet. However, Yu actually resisted. No matter what method Yu used, they only had respect for Yu at this time. This is people's natural admiration for the strong. If the soldiers here show respect and admiration for Yu, then the people in the Holy Land of Marijoa feel fear for Yu. As Tianlong people, as the supreme rulers of this world, they have long abandoned the normal emotion of fear. Now, they taste this long-lost emotion again, and each of them is naturally very uncomfortable. Why do I feel my legs shaking when I face this inferior human being? A Tianlong man said in disbelief. No matter what he thought, he did not dare to admit that he had an expression of fear, or fear towards an inferior human being. In his opinion, this was completely unacceptable. Aren't the surrounding Tianlong people restless and full of fear? It's just that some celestial dragons are trying to make themselves fat and can't feel it on the outside. There's nothing to be afraid of, this machine is Uranus. This low-class human being just luckily took the cannonball into the bottomless sea and blocked most of the energy. Wait, Lord Im's second wave of attacks, this boy's luck is definitely not that good, and he can still resist it like the first time. A gray-bearded Tianlong man faced the Tianlong people in the surrounding Holy Land Marijoa. People spoke. These words made these heavenly dragons who were greedy for life and fearful of death feel a little calmer. Yes, no matter how strong you are, what's the use? Even if you can withstand one wave of attacks from Uranus, can you still withstand the second wave of attacks? The outcome of this battle will not change, and the final winner is still Lord Im who represents the highest will of the Tianlong people. At this point, these arrogant Tianlong people, not knowing how high the sky is, actually started shouting for Im. Chapter 207 The Secret of Uranus. Lord Im, please deal with this guy who dares to defy the will of our Tianlong people. Yes, Lord Im, please don't show mercy to such a low-class human brat. Just blow his corpse to pieces. That's right, what's there to be afraid of as a mere human being? We Tianlong people represent the will of the gods in this world. The surrounding Tianlong people shouted at Im. At this time, in the slave community located in the Holy Land of Marijoa, a strong man's eyes showed a glimmer of light, and he would be very depressed if he was discovered. Because this person has been transformed into a robot by scientist Vegapunk, so it is impossible for him to have human emotions. But, this man's eyes just flashed a glimmer of light, and now this reformer actually turned his neck to look at the big screen of the Holy Land Marijoa without any orders. He slowly opened his mouth. Will this battle determine the direction of the entire world? The person who said this turned out to be the former Shichibukai, the famous Tyrant Bear. At the same time, Tyrant Bear broke free from the chains on his body. I have been pretending to be a robot for so many days, and all I want is to wait for this day to come. Although it is different from what he planned, Yi Yu, the guy who can save the world, is not his revolutionary hero Long, but he is a person with lofty ideals. Even if the person who saves the world is not a member of his revolutionary army, what can he do? How about that? At this time, the Tianlong people who regarded the tyrant bear as a mount suddenly came over and stood up when they saw the tyrant bear. Suddenly, his eyes were filled with angry looks. I really can't believe that this guy who I regard as a superior slave would dare to stand up without my permission. This is undoubtedly a huge provocation for the Tianlong people who have always been aloof. Hey, slave no. 1. I order you to kneel down now, otherwise, I will punish you. The Tianlong man said fiercely to the tyrant bear. The guards on the side also ran over and looked at the tyrant bear. Hey, why are you still standing there? This slave dares to disobey my orders. Now you can catch him and send him to the slave training camp. After receiving the order from the Tianlong people, these guards started to take action against the tyrant bear, but the next moment, a huge bear paw appeared, and then these people disappeared directly in place. Only the celestial dragon with eyes full of fear was left. You should feel the pain. Tyrant bear looked seriously and said to the Tianlong people in front of him. But I think this should be the last time you feel pain. With your physique, you simply cannot bear this painful feeling. After finishing speaking, a mysterious energy suddenly shot into the body of the Tianlong man, followed by a roar like a killing pig. After Tyrant Bear came out, he casually grabbed 2 hostages and learned that his team of revolutionary heroes had been defeated by a guy named Juggernaut in order to save him. Now his life or death is unknown. After learning the news, Tyrant Shang quickly rushed to the previous battle zone. Arriving here, Tyrant Bear directly saw the revolutionary Long. At this time, Long's body was covered with scars. The previous big explosion had already injured this man completely. Arriving in front of Long, Tyrant Shang hurriedly helped Revolutionary Long up, and released a burst of energy from his palms. Revolutionary Long finally slowly opened his eyes. Great, Mr. Long, you're awake. Tyrant Bear came to the Revolutionary Long and helped him up. Long looked at Tyrant Bear with a look of shock on his face. That's great, Shang, you are okay. I am not dreaming, am I? Revolutionary Long looked excited. You are not dreaming, Mr. Long. I have escaped from the Tianlong people. I am here to tell you something very important. I now need the help of the Southern Army Commander Lindbergh. I don't know where he is now. The bear settled the dragon and told the Revolutionary Dragon everything he knew. After the Revolutionary Long heard this, his eyes widened. Are you sure Yi Yu is really that strong? If that's the case, Sword Master Bickley, the guy who single-handedly defeated our entire team of revolutionaries, must have lost to Yi Yu. Quote. And, Yimu activated Uranus, which means that Yimu has also begun to fear Yi Yu's strength. Yi Yu is really a terrifying guy. Revolutionary Long's eyes widened, and he asked Revolutionary Long repeatedly. Revolutionary Long also had a serious look on his face. If he hadn't been lucky enough to see the live broadcast on the big screen inside the Holy Land Marie Joa, he wouldn't have been able to believe that this guy Yi Yu could be so strong. But the live broadcast picture is absolutely true and absolutely unmistakable. So, Long, hurry up and tell me where the Confederate Army Commander Lindbergh is. I need his wireless equipment now to tell Yi Yu a major news. This news is very likely to lead the trend of the world. Shang, his eyes were solemn and he spoke seriously. After hearing the words of the tyrant Shang, the revolutionary Long Yi realized the importance of this matter and did not dare to be careless. He spoke to the bear seriously. That guy, Commander Lindbergh of the Southern Army, was hit hard by the Sword Master Bickley just like me. His life and death are still unknown. He should be around, Revolutionary Long said worriedly. Then the bear began a long search. Under the bear's search, Sabo, Crow, the Demon King and others were all found, including the Confederate Army Commander Lindbergh. After Lindbergh woke up and heard everything Tyrant Bear said, he also showed an extremely shocked expression. Tyrant Bear directly stopped the words of the Confederate Army Commander. So, Lindbergh, now Yi Yu is fighting fiercely with that war machine for the sake of people all over the world. You must give me the radio sonic device now. Only in this way can I help Yi Yu and let him defeat Uranus and save the world. This world. Tyrant Bear looked serious. If it were on a normal day, this bear who likes to read and has always been gentle would patiently inquire about the injuries of each team member and then give them the treatment they deserve. But now, the revolutionary bear tyrant knows that now it is about the entire situation. This is a major moment for mankind, and we cannot waste a single second of time. I know some secrets about Uranus, this war machine. Chapter 208 Uranus Weakness. After hearing this, the commander of the Southern Army, Lindbergh, also showed a serious expression. Now that Yi Yu was fighting with that huge war machine, what did the injury he suffered count? Take it, Tyrant Bear, you must pass this important news to Yi Yu. However, when Tyrant Bear picked up the wireless sonic device, he was unable to search the specific area of the Whitebeard pirates. This moment made everyone anxious. Tyrant Bear's eyes widened even more, and he couldn't believe that something like this happened at such a critical moment. Lindbergh, what should I do? Tyrant Bear looked at Lindbergh for help. Don't be anxious, Tyrant Bear. Leave this matter to me, and I can debug the area of the Whitebeard pirates within minutes. Lindbergh, the commander of the Southern Army, said to Tyrant Bear with assurance. However, Tyrant Bear still had a worried look on his face. During the time he was imprisoned in Mariajoya, the home of the Draco, he clearly understood the horror of the war machine. Uranus, Poseidon, and Pluton, any one of these three ancient war weapons can cause a devastating blow to the world. What's more, the most terrifying of these three weapons is Uranus. The weapon Uranus is also known as the most powerful weapon in the world. The first of the three great weapons. Every cannonball can blow any island in the world into pieces. Even a strong man like One Piece Roger is just a cannonball in front of Uranus. Through the live broadcast just now, it can be clearly known that Yi Yu has dodged 1,000 such shells, which really made Tyrant Bear sweat at that time. After seeing Yi Yu's figure dodging, what's left is Tyrant Shang's deep respect for Yi Yi, and his anxiety for Yi Yu's safety. Because the Tyrant Bear knows that Uranus's cannonballs are just its most basic attack method. The most terrifying attack method of Uranus is still behind it. I know, Bear, but now I can only do this. Lindbergh, the commander of the Confederate Army, said nervously with sweat on his forehead. Of course I also want to repair this wireless machine quickly, but there is no way. At this time, Long, the revolutionary leader who had always been steady, took the lead to speak. Shang, it's useless for you to be anxious now. We can only wait slowly. It's useless to be anxious now anyway. Why don't you tell us what major secrets you know about Uranus? Revolutionary Long looked suspicious. Asked. Yes, people around him began to look at the tyrant Shang. In such a terrifying battle, what kind of help could a person of Shang's level give Yi Yu? Looking at the curious eyes around him and the comfort given to him by the revolutionary Long, the revolutionary Shang calmed down a little. Sorry, Lindbergh, I hope I didn't disturb you just now. The message I want to convey is the weakness of Uranus. The weapon Uranus is theoretically invulnerable. The most powerful material Sea Tower Stone, the most powerful offensive hockey attack, and the most powerful Devil Fruit Space Fruit. These three are the reasons why Uranus is called the most terrifying killing weapon in the world. But this weapon has a fatal flaw. When Shang said this, the people around him looked solemnly in the direction of the revolutionary Shang. Shang slowly spoke under the gaze of everyone. This weakness is the cockpit specially provided for humans. Once the personnel in the cockpit are injured, the so-called Uranus will be paralyzed even if it is not damaged. And the location of this cockpit is just 10 meters below the center of this war machine. That location is quite similar to the heart of mankind. Revolutionary Shang murmured, finally telling everyone the important news. On the battlefield, Yeyu continued to face off. Looking at the white-bearded people under the Conqueror's city wall, and then looking at Uranus at this time, Yi Yu admitted that he was a little overweight. For being able to force me to this point, it seems that your strength is quite good, I am. Yi Yu frowned and said. What's wrong, Yi Yu? Uranus's strength has only just been unleashed, why can't you do it now? I am in the cockpit showed a look of contempt. If you want to surrender, kneel down to me immediately. I can consider sparing your life and make you a person who is inferior to one person and superior to 10,000 people. Yi Mu did not forget to win over Yi Yu. After all, the strength Yi Yu showed was so terrifying that even he couldn't defeat him. He had to rely on the power of Uranus to suppress Yi Yu. It's impossible for a subordinate of this level not to be moved, so even under such extreme circumstances, I am still doesn't forget to win over Yi Yu. Yi Yu thought for a while, then smiled slightly. Stop joking. I will not surrender to anyone in this world. Being free has always been the goal I have pursued all my life. Yi Yu said confidently. When Yi Mu saw Yi Yu being so disrespectful, he also sneered, a guy who refused to drink and was punished with a drink. If you are so determined to have your own way, you are so good and free, you will laugh to death. Go and teach this sentence to the king of hell in the underground. I snorted coldly. The next moment, a large amount of energy was generated around Uranus. The surrounding temperature rose accordingly. The people under the defense of Conqueror's city wall frowned tightly. What does this feel like? Fear, uneasiness, and all kinds of negative emotions surged into their hearts in an instant. Even men as powerful as Whitebeard, Golden Lion, and Mahawk had sweat on their foreheads at this time. It smells like the fusion of something. The Golden Lion felt this strange energy and murmured. Fusion of flavors. After hearing the words of Golden Lion Shiki, Whitebeard showed his thoughts, as if he had thought of something. The world's greatest swordsman, Mahawk, also frowned and looked thoughtful. Could it be that? The two people spoke at the same time. What is it? The Golden Lion asked curiously. The people around him also looked in the direction of Whitebeard. Cold sweat broke out on Marco's forehead, Diamond Josie's heart beat faster, even Garp, Sengoku and others looked at Whitebeard. Old guy, tell me, what happened to Uranus? Now that things have happened, the hatred between Whitebeard and Garp Sengoku and others doesn't seem that serious anymore, and Marine finally understands that they are just dogs guarding Im's house and home. Became angry and wanted to kill them all, but it was the rebel Yi Yu who always hoped to take in. What a ridicule this was. HMPH, you old guys, it doesn't hurt to tell you. This kind of thing should be the ability of conquerors combined with devil fruit. I think you should also know that Yi Yu has used such a move before. I just didn't expect it. I really didn't expect it. Now it's our turn to taste this taste. I can understand the fear that the enemy felt when Yi Yu used the ability to fuse conquerors and devil fruit. It was a kind of primitive fear. Whitebeard Edward Newgate murmured. Everyone understood what Whitebeard said. But I really didn't expect that this Uranus would be so weird. Not only could he have the ability to penetrate space, but he also had other devil fruit abilities. Hockey, devil fruit, sea stone, all these things are combined to create a weapon, right? Back then, 800 years ago, the guy who created this thing could definitely be called a genius among geniuses, many times more powerful than the most powerful scientist in the world today. While everyone was discussing, the behemoth in the sky was already brewing. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Along with a violent buzzing sound, a large amount of steam was emitted from Uranus's body. Immediately afterwards, a huge fire dragon suddenly appeared in the sky. At this time, the fire dragon's eyes seemed to be able to shoot out flames. It roared at the sky, and the clouds in the entire sky turned blood red. The temperature of the surrounding air suddenly rises, and all the moisture in the air is sucked out directly under this extremely hot temperature. The people inside Conqueror's city wall widened their eyes. They could feel that the temperature inside Conqueror's city wall, although not as hot as outside, had also increased a lot. The temperature inside has risen by at least 30 or 40 degrees, and even reached a temperature of about 60 degrees. And the temperature outside is even weirder, starting at 100 degrees. This is the ability of Rockberry. General Aokiji widened his eyes and said with a dull look on his face. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. General Kizaru's yellow sunglasses reflected red light, and his small eyes under the sunglasses were also wide and round. It's really General Akainu's ability. I wonder, how would this guy Akainu feel if he were alive? Kizaru murmured. It's already this time, but I still haven't forgotten my former colleague who was in hell. Wait, it's not over yet. Fleet Admiral Sengoku said with bloodshot eyes. Sure enough, under the scolding of Fleet Admiral and warring states, a giant dragon appeared in the sky again. This giant dragon emits yellow light all over its body, which is composed of light elements. Once it appears, the yellow light flashes and makes people unable to open their eyes. This, isn't it my fruit ability? Kizaru was stunned. He didn't expect that his former colleague who was underground would have his turn so soon. By myself. Aokiji on the side laughed secretly. The next one would not be his own ability. However, Uranus in the sky did stop the operation of his machine, and the two dragons began to merge, creating a two-headed dragon. Go, I am, who was in the cockpit, shouted loudly, and a red-yellow light suddenly bloomed. Oops. The people below shouted. The two-headed dragon in the sky not only possesses terrible destructive power, but more importantly, it also possesses a displacement comparable to the speed of light, and attacks Yu straightly. In the past, this made people sweat for Yu. If such a terrifying energy is hit, even Yu, who has Conqueror's defensive shield, may not be able to resist it. Buzz. There was only a loud noise, and the two-headed dragon flew towards Yu at the speed of light. Even Yu was surprised. This speed must have exceeded the speed of light. Not to mention, this machine is really pretty awesome. Fortunately, I have Conqueror's domain, which is within my own domain. Otherwise, my Conqueror's defensive shield will definitely be smashed to pieces. Conqueror's realm is open. The next moment, Yu disappeared directly from the spot. I am smiled. Do you still want to use that trick, kid? This time, I will make it impossible for you to hide. I saw Uranus in the sky. The machine was running again. Like a transformer, a sharp object once again grew directly on the body of the machine. This sharp object emitted a pitch-black light under the sunlight. Unexpectedly, Uranus can actually transform. A long knife made of sea stone. White-bearded Edward Newgate said with his eyes widened. The next moment, the giant Uranus emitted yellow light and disappeared in front of everyone in an instant. It was as if a ray of light flashed and disappeared out of thin air. Go. Feeling the temperature in the air temperature had previously risen due to the magma's power, but now it had returned to the usual temperature again. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. There was a huge and oppressive presence, but their hearts were always in a tense state. It's just that Whitebeard, Marco, Diamond Josie and other members of the Whitebeard pirates are still frowning at this time. Although the aftermath caused by Uranus has temporarily stopped harming them, they still don't know whether Yu, that boy, can defeat the behemoth Uranus. Uranus, known as the most terrifying weapon in the world, really shocked them. Marine also frowned. Now they hope that the final winner will be Yu. If Yu wins, they will be free labor at most, and at least their lives will be guaranteed. If that guy I am wins the final victory, with the cold attitude I am showed before, they will definitely die. I hope Mr. Yu can win. What they don't know is that Yu has opened several Conqueror's fields in an instant, so Yu's instant range has also reached several times that before. At this time, Yu has already appeared, located somewhere in the sea 10 kilometers away from Whitebeard and the others. The two-headed dragon from before was also successfully attracted by Yu. Similar to before, only a loud bang was heard. A nuclear bomb exploded from the depths of the sea. After the explosion, the entire sea surface began to ripple, and a large number of waves appeared, some of which reached a height of several hundred feet. Huge waves crashed wantonly, and all the Poseidon species that had been inside the sea died under this explosion. Corpses of marine creatures gradually appeared above the sea level. Chapter 209 Mysterious Flying Object. The giant waves continued to crash. Although Whitebeard and the others were 10 kilometers away from the explosion site, they were still attacked by the giant waves. Wow. A large amount of sea water fills the entire sky. Finally, a heavy blow hit the Conqueror's city wall. The people within the walls of Conqueror's city frowned tightly. They all heard the big explosion 10 kilometers away. The roiling waves all around let them know how terrifying this explosion was. Yi Yu, you must not fall. Come on. People around him silently cheered for Yi Yu. On the battlefield, after a huge explosion exploded on the bottom of the sea, Yi Yu used Conqueror's power to rush out from the bottom of the sea. As soon as he emerged from the water, he saw an extremely dark sword, slashing hard at him. This IM is really chasing after him. Yi Yu shook his head inwardly and thought helplessly. After saying that, Yi Yu plunged directly into the bottom of the sea again. Seeing Yi Yu's actions, IM sneered. Absurd, do you really think this sea can withstand my attack? IM's eyes were full of disdain. With a bang, the big sword above Uranus struck the sea. The entire water surface was instantly divided into two halves, and the crack in the middle became a vacuum zone, and the seawater next to it could not heal for a long time. The next moment, a terrifying electric current came from the broadsword. The electric current spread and gradually spread throughout the ocean. Creatures on the seafloor, whales, Poseidons, schools of fish, seals. Various creatures gradually floated out from the bottom of the sea. There were some animal carcasses floating directly in Whitebeard's place. This made the people around him even more worried for Yi Yu. This guy Yi Mu had quite a murderous intention this time. If he didn't kill Yi Yu, he might not give up. This is also a catastrophe for the entire world. Not all creatures are so lucky to be taken care of by Yi Yu Conqueror's defense. The lives of those who are not so lucky cannot be protected at all. IM showed a strange smile after controlling Uranus to strike this blow. Ha 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 ha. Yi Yu, you brat, this attack was mixed with Conqueror's, Thunder Fruit, and Sword Energy. With this blow, even you will be killed by me on the spot. Trembling. Well, stupid humans, the rule of this world belongs to me alone, IM. Ha ha ha. IM sneered in the cockpit of Uranus. At the same time, the current continued to increase, so much so that all living creatures in the entire sea in this area were dead, and Yi Yu's body was not seen. It's strange, why can't I feel Yi Yu's breath? IM frowned and murmured in the cockpit. He hurriedly turned on Uranus's detection power, and saw a huge telescope deformed inside Uranus, looking at the sea for a while. Looking at the results that appeared on the screen in the surveillance room, IM widened his eyes. How is it possible? How is it possible? How is it possible that this kid is not at the bottom of the sea? As the ruler of this world, IM, who has always been steady, was completely confused this time. He had clearly opened up his ability to see, hear, and detect just now. Why was Yi Yu not found? After thinking about it carefully, I finally figured it out. The reason why such a situation occurs is entirely because my own abilities are also affected by Uranus. Unknowingly, my own perception was also affected by the fluctuation of Uranus radioactive material, which greatly reduced it. Well, it looks like you still need to be proficient in operating Uranus. IM pressed the query button in the cockpit, and Yi Yu's head suddenly appeared on it, located 10 kilometers directly in front of him. Yi Yu, this kid, must have activated Conqueror's field under the sea, and now he has teleported to a field 10 kilometers away again. He is really a difficult guy. IM frowned, then pressed the operation button, and then rushed towards Yi Yu's direction. Emperor Yan. At this time, Yi Yu had already gathered a huge ball of magma in his hand, like the sun, and hit IM's Uranus heavily. Huh, boring guy. IM sitting on the cockpit. Snorted for a while. Then an ice dragon condensed from the sky above Uranus. Go to hell, kid. IM shouted loudly at Yi Yu. Just when the ice dragon and Yi Yu's Yan Emperor were about to collide, Yi Yu's Yan Emperor mysteriously disappeared out of thin air. Question mark. Disappeared. IM thought in surprise. Next, Emperor Yan, a behemoth like the sun, appeared in Yimu's field of vision again. As Emperor Yan got closer, Emperor Yan's pupils in Yimu's field of vision were greatly enlarged. Dodge. IM hurriedly pressed the avoid button in his hand. However, what IM didn't expect was that in addition to the Emperor Yan, Yi Yu also released a huge white ball and chased IM from behind. This white ball is the fusion of Yi Yu's Conquerors and the Junjun fruit. The energy generated can be felt, and the surrounding space becomes trembling. It's just that IM, who is in the cockpit and protected, cannot feel it. The environment in his cockpit is so comfortable, there is not even a breath of wind. Just as IM dodged Yi Yu's Yan Emperor move, Conqueror's shock energy hit the Uranus machine. Boom. At this moment, the entire sky shook. What was even more terrifying was that cracks appeared one after another in the sky. The sky seemed to be torn to pieces. The Uranus machine shook violently under this blow. IM, who was in the cockpit, was staggered by the blow. The items in the monitoring cabin were all made of top-notch sea-floor stones. This hit caused IM to fall quite hard. On Yi Yu's side, after everything succeeded, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Sure enough, just as I imagined, this guy IM's own perception will also be affected by Uranus in the cockpit. Although his strength and speed will be greatly improved within Uranus, his flexibility will definitely be greatly improved. Reduction. This is a huge thing. At the same time, Yi Yu also began to deal with the crisis in front of him. The ice dragon in front of him made a beautiful displacement flip. This ice dragon was directly led into the sea by Yi Yu. In an instant, the entire sea was freezing, and thick white smoke appeared. A moment later, the entire sea turned into ice, and it was bone-chilling cold. Looking at the sea behind him, Yi Yu slowly exhaled. It was really strong. This blow was comparable to the Ice Age of 100 Aokiji. The freezing effect produced by this ice dragon is fundamentally different from Aokiji's Ice Age. That is, unlike Aokiji's Ice Age, which only freezes the surface of the sea, the freezing effect of this ice dragon can reach directly to the deep sea and even the sea. The deepest part is also frozen. As the saying goes, it takes less than a day to freeze 3 feet, but Im's ice dragon can actually freeze the entire sea. Along with the explosions around Uranus and the weird sound of the air being shattered, the frozen sea behind Yu also changed at this moment. I saw that the previously frozen and quiet sea made a huge noise at this moment. Subsequently, the ice surface in the sea was directly shattered by the earthquake, and the entire sea directly turned into countless ice cubes. This guy actually mixed the power of the Junjun fruit into it. It seems that I underestimated you. I didn't even notice it before. Yu said with a smile. But it doesn't matter, this time I miscalculated. Instead of hiding in the dense and invisible sea, he chose to use his powerful space ability to lead the dragon into the sea. Boom, boom. Uranus, who was located on Tianlong, fell directly from the sky after being hit hard by Yu, and rolled down a long way. During this period, 8 mountains were leveled to the ground. Is it over? Yu narrowed his eyes. I really don't know what the legendary Uranus's defense power is. To be honest, this is also the first time I have attacked Uranus. So Yu used Conqueror's power to fly directly into the air and rushed towards Uranus. As soon as Yu got close, the next moment, a pitch-black sword struck him heavily. It is even mixed with 3-color domineering and other weird mixed energies. There was a loud bang. Yu had no time to dodge, and the blow hit Yu hard. Fortunately, he was protected by Conqueror's defensive shield, otherwise he would really have died this time. However, under this blow, Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield was directly shattered by the shock, causing a terrifying explosion that resounded throughout the world. Yu was also struck by the powerful reaction force under this blow and flew into the sky. Yu, who was above the sky, showed a shocked expression. Originally, he thought that his attack would cause a certain degree of damage to Uranus, but he thought wrong. Under the attack just now, Yu discovered that the terrifying guy Uranus had even a small body on his body. There are no cracks. What kind of weird material is it? It doesn't even have any cracks. Even if it was the Sea Tower stone, Yu believed that it would be shattered by his terrifying blow, but this time, he used all his strength to strike it, fused with the Golden Conquerors and the most powerful stone in the world. The attacking Paramesha was unable to damage it at all. This is terrifying. Could it be that Uranus really has no weaknesses as rumored? Whoever controls Uranus can rule the world. Yu shook his head vigorously. He would not believe this kind of thing. Even if the rumor that he could rule the entire world if he obtained Uranus was true, he was not within this scope. I don't belong to this world, and I have something more terrifying than Uranus, which is my own overlord system. I came to this world to be a king, and I was not born to be defeated by others. After testing, Uranus must have its own weaknesses. Although he has not found Uranus's weakness yet, his other goal has been almost achieved. That's right, I have been thinking about my plan since I first started fighting with it. That is to fight deliberately showing his weakness, and letting suppress him and fight. Only in this way can he move the battlefield away from the area of the Whitebeard pirates, thus dispelling his own scruples. The only way is to divert the battlefield away. Let the brothers in the Whitebeard pirates area be protected from harm, so that you can really let go of your hands and feet to fight. In other words, my hands and feet were tied before. I have just let go a little now. As for Uranus's weaknesses, it doesn't hurt to find them slowly. From the beginning to the end, the Phoenix ability in my body is activated, and my conquerors are endless. It is only a matter of time to find Uranus's weaknesses. Thinking of this, Yu's mouth curved. Well, he would use the blow Uranus gave him to fly farther. Yu made up his mind and began to let the force move on him, sliding on the sky. On the other side, looked angry in the cockpit. Just now, he was bruised in the cockpit. There is no way. Another reason why Uranus is so terrifying is that the person in the cockpit has the same abilities as the person in the cockpit. But at the same time, there will be a certain price in exchange, that is, half of the strength of the people in the cockpit is given to Uranus, and their own strength, defense, domineering, etc. will be affected. This was also an important reason why he didn't notice Yu's attack and injury. Yu, wait, I will definitely kill you. After saying that, took a stance and flew Uranus towards Yu quickly. And Yu felt the angry Yu behind him, and the corners of his mouth curved again, activated his Overlord defense, and accelerated his flight again. Some people on land, after hearing huge roars, saw Yu and Uranus flying one after another in the sky, pointing at them one by one and starting a heated discussion. Look, what is that in the sky? I don't know, it's too fast, especially the huge thing at the back. It's really hard to believe that such a huge thing can be so fast. You said, it was like there was an earthquake here just now, and there was a huge roar coming from the distance. Was it caused by these two mysterious things? I think it's possible. It's the first time I've seen something so fast. It's faster than a meteor. The people on land seemed very lively, and some media even got wind of the news and decisively took out their cameras to shoot in the sky. You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites shared the same login details, so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 210 The Unwilling I Am. But, Uranus and Yu were too fast, and they only captured a general picture of the situation. In the holy land of Mariajoya, the revolutionary Long occupied an intelligence room, turned on the live phone broadcast, and happened to see such a strange scene. The tyrant bear behind him widened his eyes. What's the matter, bear, do you know him? Because the photo was too blurry, the diminutive Yu didn't attract anyone's attention at all, so the revolutionary Long couldn't tell that the small black dot in the front of the picture was Yu. As for the Uranus dragon, I have never seen it before, so I naturally don't know what it is. Chief, this thing is Uranus, and the small dot in front of it, if I guessed correctly, is Yu. Tyrant bear murmured. Yu, I'm afraid you are planning to lure Uranus away. Long, the revolutionary at the side, frowned and said. It seems that we need to inform Yu of Uranus's weakness quickly. Only in this way can we save the entire world and guide the world to the right path. Tyrant Shang said to the commander of the Southern Army. At this time, the commander of the Confederate Army was excited. It turned out that in this intelligence hall, the commander of the Confederate Army discovered equipment for repairing radios. Great, give me time, I will definitely be able to fix it. The commander of the Southern Army said excitedly. On the battlefield, driving Uranus was still chasing Yu at high altitude, and behind Yu, he kept releasing domineering fusion bombs with various strange energies. In just a blink of an eye, Yu was already 100 kilometers away from the Whitebeard pirates area. At this time, Uranus also caught up with Yu. Looking at Uranus Yu behind him, he smiled slightly. He is worthy of being called Uranus. In terms of speed, he is already very advanced. Yu clicked his tongue in surprise. After saying that, with a finger in his hand, a Conqueror's giant energy ball integrated with the shock ability collided with the missile released by IM. There was a loud bang. Two terrifying energies exploded, and a huge energy wave struck for a moment. The powerful shock wave directly blew away the white clouds in the sky. Even the sea was swept along by the strong air, becoming turbulent in an instant. IM's cold snort came from the Uranus cockpit. Hey, boy, your death has come. You can't run away now. IM sneered at Yu, with a wretched look on his face. And Yu also smiled back, was he not going to be able to do it? That is not the case. The reason why I led IM to this place was because he planned to keep IM and the aftermath of his explosion away from the area of the Whitebeard pirates from the beginning. And now, my goal has been achieved. Then I don't have to hold back now. Yu said calmly facing IM. And IM looked at Yu with a mocking expression, as if he heard something very funny. Boy, do you really think that with your strength, you can defeat me? IM's mouth curled up with a look of ridicule. If you don't try it, how will you know, right, IM? Yu shook his fist directly at IM. This move also completely angered IM. Now that he's like this, he still dares to show off in front of him. Since you don't plan to run away, how about we finish with the final blow? IM used the provoking method on Yu. Since it is a method of provoking generals, how come Yu's own heart is not clear? However, Yu is absolutely confident that he can win. On the other side is the area of the Whitebeard pirates. After Yu left, everyone showed surprised expressions. These two guys disappeared, just for a moment, even our eyes couldn't catch them. White-bearded Edward Newgate looked in the direction of Yu and murmured. Marco also came over. Yes, what happened? Mr. Yu seemed to have lured IM here on purpose. Marco said with a serious face as his eyes widened. What did you say? You deliberately lured IM away. Diamond Josie showed a worried look. When the surrounding pirates and marines heard this, they all showed worried looks. You must know that Yu is now their life-saving straw. If Yu loses, their fate will also be rewritten. Big Mom, Kaido, Garp, Sengoku and others all looked solemn, but at this moment, the Conqueror's city wall around them suddenly disappeared, and then they flew towards Yu. Feeling Yu's Conqueror's wall break away, everyone's hearts showed worries again. It seems that the battle between Yu and Yu is coming to its final conclusion. As Conqueror's city wall collapsed, the people around were surprised to find that even the island under their feet had become shattered due to the aftermath. As Conqueror's city wall collapsed, one piece began to collapse. Immortal Flame. Just when everyone was about to fall into the sea, Marco the Phoenix released his Immortal Flame, and a ball of blue flame appeared, directly holding the crumbling people. Soul Power. Auntie also summoned a cloud to hold everyone. The most terrifying thing is the Golden Lion, which directly releases its own power. The people around it are all within the scope of its ability, and they are directly suspended high in the air. Everyone in the sky all turned their attention to the place where Yu left. Everyone prayed for Yu. He must win, Yu. On the other side, Yu and Poseidon were facing each other. IM took the lead in launching the attack. In the cockpit, IM directly pressed a blood-red button. In an instant, the entire Uranus machine began to tremble violently. The surrounding environment changed dramatically, and a large amount of dust flew directly into the air. In mid-air, the birds in the sky were indeed sliding down from the sky one by one. All the turrets on Uranus disappeared, and finally a long barrel grew out from the middle of Uranus. This barrel was more than 200 meters high, with the muzzle facing Yu. At the same time, all kinds of strange lights were produced inside the entire Uranus machine, and a large amount of Conqueror's hockey appeared in the entire sky. At this time, IM in the cockpit was indeed very tired. There is no other reason. This move requires him to inject all his energy and even Conquerors into Uranus. Only in this way can he fully exert the power of Uranus as a world weapon. Correspondingly, he is indeed extremely weak. The violent energy caused the entire sea to boil, and even triggered crustal movements inside the sea. The lava on the seabed erupted into a large amount of flaming magma, floating above the sea, and the entire sea was filled with energy. The red light looked very strange and terrifying. It really is like the end of the world. At this time, I am in the cockpit, his eyes widened, and his hair looked a little messy, like a madman. The reason why I am did not use this move was entirely because he did not want to bear this kind of weakness. In this state, as a god, Yi Mu does not allow himself to appear tired and let others see it, and this person cannot even be his enemy. However, he really had no choice. Facing the DEU, he knew clearly that if he didn't inject his own energy and let Uranus activate all his own energy, he would never defeat the kid in front of him. Yi Yu, this D, has too many abilities, especially the invincible spatial movement in the Conqueror's field, which makes it impossible for him to start. There is only one way for Yoruichi to complete his attack on Yoruichi by overdrawing his own energy and injecting it into Uranus. Facing the Tianshuan earth coiling of the entire world and the great changes in the entire world, Yi Yu narrowed his eyes and looked at the disheveled I am in the cockpit of the Uranus war machine. I really didn't expect it. He is indeed an old monster who has lived for so many years. Yi Yu murmured. Uranus, devouring shockwave. The terrifying energy gradually gathered at the muzzle that Uranus had spit out before. There was a loud boom, as if the entire sky was exploded by some terrifying energy. The terrifying energy directly caused the temperature within 10 kilometers of the surrounding area to rise rapidly, and the thousands of meters long shock cannon wave rushed towards Yi Yu heavily. Like a long dragon. Through the Conqueror's field opened by Yi Yu himself, it can be clearly felt that the space around this shock wave has undergone extremely strange changes. The entire space seems to have been absorbed by some force and has become illusory. Except for Yi Yu, who can resist the terrifying aura, everyone else in this world will probably tremble in fear under this terrifying aura. Faced with Im's blow, which could only appear in mythical stories, Yi Yu did not dare to be careless. Yi Yu raised his spirit and locked his eyes tightly on this terrifying shock wave. Can't hide my clumsiness anymore. With a thought, all the Conqueror's energy, including the Conqueror's walls that were used to protect the Whitebeard pirates, were summoned by Yi Yu. Yi Yu had a thought. Layers of golden Conquerors domineering appeared behind him. As Yi Yu summoned more and more Conquerors, a huge golden city wall formed behind him. Look at the length, width and height of 10,000 meters. Behind Yi Yu, many humanoid Conquerors' fruit abilities appeared, each of them looked like a glaring King Kong, looking angrily at I am in the Uranus cockpit. I am, who was in the cockpit, widened his eyes. This was the first time I am had seen the moves Yi Yu unleashed in this state. Im's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. Conquerors could be so full and could transform into a human form. It really surprised him. These things are transformed from all of Yi Yu's Conquerors plus Devil Fruit abilities, especially the Phoenix Fruit that keeps recharging Yi Yu's Conquerors, which causes Yi Yu's Conquerors to reach its maximum state. Maintaining it like this, and only under this situation, can Yi Yu be able to exert his greatest power. Emperor Gen, Emperor Thunder, Emperor Shinigami, Emperor Ice. Each one is the most powerful fusion of Conquerors and Devil Fruit. These various transformed God Emperors all merged under Yi Yu's control. A violent light suddenly emitted from behind Yi Yu, and then a new God Emperor, Quan Emperor, appeared behind Yi Yu. Quan Di's body is so huge that in Im's eyes, it looks like his head is in the sky and his feet are on the ground, as if everything in this world is under Quan Di's feet. When I am saw this great emperor, layers of bloodshot eyes instantly appeared. This character is Quan Di. How is it possible? How could he appear? The exhausted I am almost shouted in the cockpit. This reminded him of that day 800 years ago, when he fought with Joey Boy. Although Joey Boy turned into the form of the sun god at that time, he was finally defeated by him, and the sun god Joey Boy was coming. When he died, he was laughing to himself. 800 years later, there will be a more powerful god who will end you. He is even more powerful than my sun god. This sentence has been bothering I am for 800 years. Under Im's rule, many newcomers who wanted to grow up were assassinated under the planning of his CP organization, but he really didn't expect that in a short time, in less than a year, a kid like Yi Yu appeared, but in less than a year, he became a towering tree that could compete with him. I originally thought that I had released the strongest form of Uranus. Even if people saw my exhausted side, I still wanted to defeat Yi Yu and maintain my rule for so many years. But, the king that Joey Boy talked about finally appeared. Right in front of me now. Hateful. I am yelled. Why after so many calculations, it was still difficult to stop the fate of this world. I am, who claims to be a god, is actually just an ordinary person. He has been living in the world for so many years. Under the shadow. I'm not willing to give in. I am yelled. Then the majestic energy appeared in the body again, and this energy was continuously input towards Uranus. Amu also showed a hard-working look. Yes, in order to defeat Yi Yu, Amu overdrafted his body, so even that young face began to look extremely old. Maybe this is what I am looked like. After Uranus obtained this energy bonus, he once again fused a large number of cannonballs, booming, and kept firing out from the muzzle, bombarding Yi Yu heavily. Although the people in the Whitebeard pirates area were 100 kilometers away from the direction of Yi Yu's battle, they could all feel that there were two powerful forces confronting each other. Especially the all-god that Yi Yu transformed into could be clearly seen by the Whitebeard pirates who were 100 kilometers away. They all widened their eyes and revealed their emotions. Incredible expression. That is something, it seems to be a god. Shiki, the golden lion, was the first to see it in the sky and said excitedly. Whitebeard also looked towards the direction where Yi Yu and I were fighting. Chapter 212 Obliteration. Whether it was the Red Earth continent, the New World, or the Grand Line, huge earthquakes occurred in all places. All people showed a sense of panic. They could feel that this earthquake did not come from underground, but from underground. It means that something in the sky collided, causing vibrations. It's so scary. What happened? People fled from their homes one by one, looking around with dull eyes. But who was unwilling to do so, was still sacrificing his own strength. A series of terrifying energy bombs were fired from the Uranus driven by IM. But Quan Wang was completely unmoved in the face of the attack unleashed by IM. Holding his own invincible sword, he aimed at the cannonballs in front of him and launched a series of attacks. The shells exploded directly under Quan Wang's attack. And the whole king also attacked Uranus step by step. Controlled by Yi Yu's mind, Quan Wang raised the knife high above his head, his eyes exuding majesty. Various powers began to gather on Yi Yu's blade. It is powerful, has the power of shock with terrifying explosive power, is very cold and can freeze everything, and has the ability of the phoenix that burns blue flames and lives endlessly. These powers are integrated with the Conquerors, all gathered on the blade. The entire blade exudes colorful light. The entire sky also became cloudy and sunny because of the induction. Bolts of lightning struck down from the sky, and the earth began to tremble under this energy. Quan Wang directed a sharp slash at Uranus in front of him. After the slash, even a trace was drawn across the entire sky, and the space was directly split. A huge space gap appears. The mother inside Uranus widened her eyes. Are you kidding me? Even the space is split open. What shocked IM even more was that in the broken space, there were strange space creatures looking in his direction. In other words, because Yi Yu was so powerful, he actually opened a gap in another space and created a fusion in a short time. This scary guy, without giving Yi Mu time to think too much, Quan Wang's slash had already struck towards Quan Wang's head. Faced with such a terrifying blow, IM was so frightened that even the space could be cut open by this terrifying slash. Even Uranus, who possesses the most terrifying defense power in the world, must not be able to evade such a spatial slash. IM, who was in the cockpit, hurriedly pressed the button, preparing to let Uranus escape. Boom! The huge slash struck directly on a large mountain. The mountain was instantly split into two halves, and the earth was also split into two. All kinds of weird energy merged on the earth, and finally were completely annihilated. Most of the earth disappeared in an instant. This time, IM was completely in disarray. The legendary king of Quan, who was superior to all kinds of gods, was truly terrifying in strength. How can you hide from this ability that can destroy space? At this time, the revolutionary troops in the Holy Land of Marijoya finally debugged the radio. Broadcasts to all parts of the world began. Uranus. The top 3 weapons in the world are not invincible. Chapter 211 Horrible, like a god. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. That direction seems to be the direction where Yi Yu and Yi Mu are fighting. Could it be that they released such a terrifying thing? Whitebeard said suspiciously. And Katakuri of the Big Mom Pirates started to speak. Yes, I can also feel that the giant was released by Yi Yu, and his breath has the unique feeling of Yi Yu Conquerors. Katakuri turned on the top level of knowledge and explained to everyone. That giant was actually released by Yi Yu. Mahawk murmured in his heart that this was the first time he had seen Yi Yu in this state being able to summon such a terrifying thing. Mahawk looked excited. I knew that Mr. Yi Yu would never fail. Such a terrifying attack would definitely defeat IM. This battle is over, Mahawk said excitedly. Even the Marines opened their mouths one by one. This guy Yi Yu is indeed too terrifying. Such a terrifying thing, like a god, is really something summoned by Yi Yu. Cyborg Kong even narrowed his eyes. When he was working in the Holy Land of Marijoya, he had indeed heard that there was a god above the sun god. At that time, he did not believe it. Looking at it now, could this person be is it Yi Yu? An existence above IM and Joyboy. Kaido of the 100 Beasts also widened his eyes. He really didn't think that Yi Yu was so powerful. I remember that when they first met, Yi Yu turned herself into a bloody man. At that time, I was still worried about this matter. Now that I think about it, it seems that I was too naive. He should feel lucky that Yi Yu had given himself a huge favor by not killing him. What bullshit invincible defense, what bullshit resilience, and the most powerful creature. These words, in the eyes of Kaido himself, are simply an insult. In front of Yi Yu, he is simply doing what he does best. The ant also widened her eyes, opened her big red lips, and looked shocked. Kaido, how arrogant were we back then to dare to go against Yi Yu? Kaido also nodded heavily. Yes, we are still alive now. We should really be grateful for our luck. Kaido said in shock. On the battlefield, the battle between Yi Yu and Yi Mu continued. Uranus had an invincible sword in his hand at some point. This sword was made from the fusion of Conquerors and the devil fruit in this world. Conqueror's god in the form of the king, the invincible sword in his hand, faced the shells released went straight through. With a loud bang, the cannonball formed by Uranus collided with the attack formed by Yu's full king form. The two bursts of explosive energy burst out completely under the collision, and all kinds of weird energy sputtered in all directions in an instant. There is the power of lightning, the power of vibration, the power of frost. Various aftermaths scattered around. An aftermath with the power of frost, after falling into a hill, directly froze the hill on the spot, and a red aftermath splashed on the ground. In an instant, the entire hill melted. A scene that only appears in fairy tales has appeared. No one would have thought that just a simple collision could produce such terrifying power. With the violent explosion, the whole world was shaken. Chapter 212 The embarrassment of the world's greatest swordsman. Isn't it from the Holy Land Marie Joy? Why would anyone use the broadcasts from the Holy Land of Mary Joya? Yeah, what Uranus, I've never heard of it, what on earth is this? They were talking to each other one by one. Although they were a little confused, they also knew very well in their hearts that a big event had happened in this world. At the very least, there is no peace at all in the Holy Land of Marie Joa. And now the world has been trembling violently. This feeling seems to be even more terrifying than the battle on the top of the world headquarters. Something major seems to be happening in this world. Could it be said that the world is about to change? Although ordinary people in this world do not understand the meaning of Uranus from the Holy Land Mary Joa, this does not mean that all people in this world do not understand the so-called Uranus. At this time, Kid, Hawkins and the others, who had set foot in the territory of the red-haired pirates, all showed shocked looks. Hey, Kid, Uranus actually has a weakness. Hira murmured with shock on his face. Uranus. Kid narrowed his eyes, also looking extremely shocked. Uranus's weakness. I only know that if I get Uranus, I will get the most powerful equipment in the world, but I have never heard of it. What other weaknesses does Uranus have? In my heart, Uranus has always been invincible. How could there be a weakness? And, who is the person who knows that the Uranus's weakness is the cockpit? Why do they know it, and why can they broadcast it through the loudspeaker of the Holy Land Marie Joya? A series of questions echoed in Kid's mind. At this time, Apu also walked over slowly. No matter what, I still hope that the final winner is Yu. I have had enough of the old era. Apu murmured. Hawkins also walked over with a serious look on his face, a look of extreme shock on his face. It's really unimaginable that I couldn't detect the final winner. However, there is one more terrifying thing. I wonder if you want to know. Hawkins said helplessly while stroking his head and shaking his head. Something more terrifying. Everyone around was shocked. Is there anything more terrifying than now? Are you kidding? This is the most terrifying battle in the past 1,000 years. Even I is dying. Tell me, is there anything more terrifying than this? In a moment during this time, what Hawkins said was far beyond the expectations of this group of people. Hey, Hawkins, what are you talking about? What you are saying is too nonsense, isn't it? Kid frowned, thinking that Hawkins, this guy, was talking nonsense. This made Kid very upset. Anger. Apu also narrowed his eyes with a look of disbelief. Yeah, Hawkins, you guy, you can't even predict the outcome of the war now. I think your ability is no longer good. You are still here talking about something, and there will be more terrifying things next, lying to us. Are you playing? Apu said, holding his fists. Now he was not in the mood to listen to this guy Hawkins talking nonsense here. And Kira did come over, looking at Hawkins with a serious look on his face. Hey, Hawkins, what are you talking about? Don't lie, Kira said seriously. Hawkins saw that finally someone was interested in his divination, and a look of solemnity appeared on his face. Next, it seems that many strong people will appear, even some strong people are stronger than I am, and they all want to occupy this place. Perhaps this is the most terrifying hexagram. Hawkins solemnly said. Hearing this sentence, everyone was completely shocked on the spot. Above the sea, red-haired Shanks felt the recent turmoil in the world, and he also looked uneasy. A voice from the Holy Land of Mary Joa reached my ears. Shanks' eyes flickered, Beckman put down the lit cigarette in his mouth, and Curlew's little eyes widened. I think, the Revolutionary Army entered the Holy Land of Mariajoya. All the masters there, like the 5 elders, were defeated by Yu. It can be said that it is very easy for the Revolutionary Army to enter there now. Shanks murmured. Are you kidding me? Uranus's secret is actually known to others. Beckman's eyes flashed, with a look of disbelief on his face. It is really unbelievable that so many things have happened in this world in just a few days, and Beckman suddenly felt a little dizzy. If you say that, the secret of Uranus has been known, then the final winner must be Yu. Curlew said loudly. Yes, the people around me looked solemn, so this ending is not bad. The pirates in the Whitebeard pirates area were very excited when they heard this broadcast that could be sent to every corner of the world. Marco was above the sky, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised, looking at the white-bearded Edward Newgate on the side. Great, Dad, you heard it. The loudspeaker broadcast from the Holy Land Marie Joa just now told us that the secret of Uranus, the weakness of Uranus, is in its cockpit. Marco said with excitement. And Whitebeard immediately burst into hearty laughter. Hoo-ha-ha-ha-ha. That's great. I didn't expect that at such a critical moment, those guys from the Revolutionary Army would be of great use. Garp, how did your son know this secret? In the end, your son's contribution was greater than yours. If it weren't for this information, the final winner would really be I am. By then, I'm afraid, you have to teach I am about your life, and you have to thank your son, the revolutionary Long. Whitebeard said jokingly to Garp. After Garp heard this, he smiled bitterly. Whitebeard was right. If it weren't for his son Long, his life would really be in danger. The justice he believed in all his life did not expect it to be so dark, and his own son, known as the most vicious criminal in the world, did not expect to save his group of people in the end. This is very ironic in Garp's opinion. Garp also shook his head helplessly, feeling regretful for a while. Kaido and Big Mom also heard this broadcast to the whole world. Kaido held the mace in his hand tightly, with excitement on his face. Great, great, now our lives are saved. The ant also looked excited. If you put it this way, the final winner must be Yi Yuk. Great, Kaido, we can finally survive. With a terrifying existence like Yi Yu, now I don't want to be One Piece, I'm very satisfied to be able to survive. ... On the battlefield, Im's face became extremely ugly after hearing the broadcasts from loudspeakers around the world. Damn the revolutionary army, these guys must have taken advantage of their absence and all the strong ones among the Tianlong people were defeated by Yi Yu, and then they thought of taking advantage of the situation and occupied their base camp in the holy land of Mariajoya. And, what was even more unexpected was that these guys actually got the secret about Uranus. The damn revolutionary army, I should have dealt with them long ago. Now I have told you my secret to my biggest enemy, Yi Yu. This is obviously very bad news. After Yi Yu heard the news, he did not show too much excitement, but smiled slightly. Muttered to himself, as Uranus's weakness, it's a pity that I don't need it at all now. In the face of absolute strength, I can crush everything. Continue to attack, King Quan. The corners of Yi Yu's mouth raised slightly, showing a confident smile. The whole king is under the guidance of Yi Yu's thoughts. He came directly in front of I am Uranus, and then continued to launch his own attack. Boom! A loud noise shook the world, and King Quan was seen holding an invincible sword and striking Uranus with a sharp slash. This time, I am, who was shocked by the loudspeaker broadcast just now, did not react at all. There was a loud bang. The huge invincible sword collided with King Quan's body. I am, who was in the cockpit, widened her eyes. At this moment, she knew very well that even if she didn't chop at her cockpit. With Yi Yu Quanwang's terrifying spatial ability, he will definitely be able to smash his own Quanwang to pieces. However, everything was in vain. The terrifying power of space, accompanied by the terrifying conquerors, struck at the king. The terrifying momentum instantly locked the huge machine Uranus. For a moment, I am had no way out. Im's hair gradually became messy and his eyes became round. In desperation, he had no choice but to overdraw the conquerors again and give it to Uranus. This overdraft made I am look even older, and blood began to flow from the corners of Im's mouth uncontrollably. Even Im's voice became older. Damn B*************************** D. Yi Yu. I have ruled this world for so many years. I can never let you destroy all my hard-earned foundation like this. Lord I am, even if I die, I will never allow this to happen. I am yelled. At the same time, the conquerors in the body began to be frantically pulled away by Uranus. Uranus also became more powerful because of this. Facing the king controlled by Yi Yu, he actually resisted the fierce sword force. The middle ground between King Quan and Uranus is filled with all kinds of chaotic forces. There are lightning, vibration power, frost, magma, and even conquerors that fill the entire space. A strong wind of magnitude 20 has been blowing all around, and the surrounding trees have been uprooted. The surface layer of the earth within a radius of 10 kilometers has been blown away, and the hills are constantly being eroded. The entire sky was darkened by the strong wind, and the sun and moon became bleak in an instant. Strange sounds were made from time to time in the middle of the two. The Whitebeard pirates, who were just 100 kilometers away, naturally felt this terrifying collision. Everyone started discussing with great interest. Great, it seems, the broadcast from the Holy Land Marijoya has been of great help to Yi Yu. Now Yi Yu can achieve the final victory. Marco looked excited. At the same time, they looked at the sea below after they took off. The whole sea was rough. The Warring States' glasses reflected a white light, and a deep voice came out. A terrifying battle. Has the sea level even dropped due to this? After hearing Sengoku's words, Garp looked at the sea below with a solemn look on his face. Really, as the Warring States period said, even the sea level has dropped. Horrible battle. I don't know how much scarier this was than the battle I had with rocks. Garp clenched his fists and his forehead was covered with sweat. Even a marine hero like himself would be horrified to see such an epic battle. Eagle Eyes Mahawk's eyes were even more shining with incomparable brilliance, and his face was solemn. It's really a huge pity that I can't watch a battle of this level in person. If I can watch one or two immersively, I believe it will be very helpful to improve my swordsmanship. Mahawk said with excitement. Doflamingo on the side walked towards Mahawk with long strides. Fu. Mahawk, I admit that you are very strong, especially after receiving Yi Yu's guidance. I don't think 10 of me would be your opponent, but... There was a hint of light in Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo's eyes. But what? Mahawk looked at Doflamingo with doubt on his face. But, if you really go to visit this battle in person, I think you can't guarantee your life yourself. Only Yu wants to protect you. In this way you will be a hindrance, Doflamingo said with a smile. After hearing these words, Mahawk's eyes were stunned, and then he let out a wry smile. Doflamingo was right. If he really went there, he would definitely be affected by the time. By that time, he doesn't even have the strength to self-destruct. Empress Hancock also walked over at this time, without any intention of giving Mahawk any face, and looked at Yu with admiring eyes. Ha 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 ha. Doflamingo is right. Even if you are Mahawk, when facing an opponent of Yu's level, I think you will be unable to bear it. Empress Hancock played with her figure and smiled. Said. Mahawk couldn't help but smile bitterly. He was simply surprised by Yu's terrifying fighting power, and he said the wrong thing for a moment, and then he said that he wanted to watch it in person. This is great, now others are criticizing me verbally. Who allowed himself to say the wrong thing? Ha ha ha, I made a mistake at the moment. With my eagle eye, Mahawk, now I am really not even qualified to watch it live. Mahawk, the eagle eye, smiled bitterly and hurriedly admitted his mistake. Chapter 213 Slapping the Revolutionary Army in the Face. This shock once again caused an uproar in the entire world, and the power of terror swept across the entire world. People all over the world showed frightened expressions. Just now, the speaker said, Uranus's weakness. I remember that Uranus in mythology was invincible. Now, there is news about Uranus's weakness from the Holy Land Marigioa. Things are not that simple. The world is about to change. An old man felt the vibration of the world, remembered the previous myth, and said with a look of horror. If things change, I hope it can get better. We have had enough of the atrocities the celestial dragons have done to this world for so many years. If you want to change, make an earth-shaking change. I hope new gods can rule the world instead of the celestial dragons. A man who had been oppressed by the Tianlong people and had everyone in his family made slaves said loudly. In the holy land of Mariajoya, everyone in the revolutionary army felt this terrifying power, and each one of them showed a happy smile. They had just informed the whole world about the secret broadcast of Uranus, and then the whole world gave them such a big reaction. From this, we can know that there must have been a major battle before. There is no doubt that this battle can make such a loud noise, it must be the battle between Yu and Yu. Great, Yu must have started to fight back after getting our news. The commander of the Southern Army said excitedly. Even the revolutionary Long's serious face rarely showed a smile. So, we should also be recorded in history, ha ha ha. After all, we told Yu the news, so we can be regarded as the major contributors in this war. Revolutionary Long said with a laugh. After hearing the words of Revolutionary Long, the entire revolutionary army smiled. If they knew that Yu, who was fighting at this time, ignored their reminders and directly chose to confront the terrifying Uranus, their cheeks would definitely be burning. On the battlefield, Quan Wang struck with all his strength. Conquerors, which had barely resisted Quan Wang's attack before, completely collapsed under this attack. The Conquerors used to resist Yu's Conqueror's haki were instantly squeezed, and a large amount of Conqueror's haki was squeezed out and surged in all directions. Like the Earth's crust exploding, there was a huge muffled sound, and the whole world trembled. The Whitebeard pirates area, which was more than 100 kilometers away from Yu's battle site, felt this terrifying explosion, and everyone had lingering fears. The sea on their ground suddenly surged and could not calm down for a long time. Huge waves rushed towards the sky. The Golden Lion Shiki had to activate his Devil Fruit ability, only in this way can he stay away from the invasion of the sea. As the Golden Lion Shiki released his ability, the entire Whitebeard pirates rose directly to a height of several hundred meters again. Chatter. Die. Golden Lion Shiki showed an excited smile. Facing such terrifying energy, the former king now only has deep admiration left. Yu, turn this world upside down. Golden Lion Shiki roared loudly. Chapter 214 I am defeated, see Metkai. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. After losing the protection of Conquerors, Uranus became vulnerable to Yu's terrifying space-pulling force. Even if it is said to be an iron wall, it is completely worthless in front of Yu. The space at the collision point gradually collapsed, leaving gaps in the space. Appearing in the collision between the two, there are all kinds of weird abilities inside, sizzling, constantly appearing from the cracks in space. The airflow in the entire space was also extremely compressed, and some of the airflow was even blown directly into the alien space, completely disappearing from this world. Pieces of airflow poured into the void, which directly stirred the airflow of the entire world, making the world become manic and restless. The terrible atmospheric pressure caused the previous sea to stir up turbulent waves again, and huge waves appeared one after another in the entire sea area. Areas within 1,000 kilometers were severely affected. Under the impact of the strong airflow, a large number of buildings were instantly destroyed, and even the small mountain peaks were directly shattered. Everyone in the Whitebeard pirates area was completely shocked. Marco looked at his surroundings and spoke first. What a terrifying power. It feels like the whole world has been affected. Based on my knowledge and perception, this should be Yu's power. Marco said with excitement. White-bearded Edward Newgate also looked at the sky in the direction of Yu, with a shocked expression on his face. You're right, Marco, I think this battle is about to end. I have a hunch that the final winner must be Yu. Everyone on the marine side also felt lucky. Sengoku narrowed his eyes, and a white light reflected from his glasses, with a serious look on his face. Ever since the broadcast from the Holy Land Mariajoya sounded, there has been so much noise there. The winner of this battle should be Yi Yu. Sengoku's eyes were solemn. Lieutenant General he also walked over, with a serious look on his face, but a smile on his lips. Fortunately, the final winner is Yi Yu, otherwise, our group would really be buried with Yi Yu. Everyone has seen Im's true face. There is absolutely no way he will forgive us. Yeah, it's really great that Yi Yu wins. Even Baiju Kaido, the guy who had been against Yi Yu before, was secretly thankful for Yi Yu's victory at this time. I hope Yi Yu wins. Anti also looked worried, fearing that the final winner would be Im. Gang Gukong clenched his fists even more, with a serious look on his face. Yi Yu, you must win. And Im, who was on the battlefield and in the cockpit, saw that even the hardest part of his Uranus and even the turret were easily destroyed by Yi Yu's devouring power. Now, Im was completely panicked. If the fight continues like this, even I will be sucked into that terrifying space. I have no idea what is in that pitch-black chaotic space. The fear of the unknown and death made Im completely confused. Not to mention the unknown chaotic space, the terrifying pressure alone gave Im a splitting headache. The entire body was completely out of control, and some of the aftermath flowed into his body, leaving Im helpless. The internal organs of the body were seriously injured. The terrifying power penetrated into his body, and the internal organs were damaged. In an instant, the body suffered very serious internal injuries. The dying Im looked around involuntarily, unable to close his mouth for a long time. Within a radius of 1,000 kilometers, basically all matter was destroyed by the aftermath, and the earth of the entire world was trembling. And even the sky, because of the aftermath, cracks appeared one after another, giving me the feeling that the sky was about to collapse. Even if the whole king was destroyed, Im was very clear in his heart at this time. There was no doubt that he would lose this time. No fight. Spare me. Spare me. From now on, you are the only god in this world, and I choose to quit. At this time, Yi Mu no longer had the arrogance she had before, and faced Yi Yu with only a pleading expression. Seeing Yi Mu's expression, Yi Yu was also slightly stunned. He didn't expect that this guy Yi Mu would be so miserable. It seems that even though Im has lived for such a long time, he is still greedy for life and afraid of death. If people in this world see Im's current expression, they will be surprised and open their mouths from ear to ear. This old monster has ruled the world for 800 years. He was so arrogant before, but who would have thought that now Im would be like an ant, begging Yi Yu for forgiveness? Obviously, this kind of thing is impossible to happen in people's understanding of this world. That's Im, a godlike existence. Yi Yu looked at Im, who was now like an ant, and shook his head. Im can be said to be far away from cholera in this world. It can also be said that Im is the only unrest factor in this world that can disturb his rest. Spare you. What if you send someone to disturb my sleep again in the future? I'm sorry, Im. You are different from the 5 elders. You are the source of cholera in this world. I have no intention of sparing you. Yi Yu said coldly to Im. After hearing Yi Yu's words, Im felt trembling all over, and Yi Yu also launched the final attack on Im. With the blessing of the powerful conquerors, the strange space power generated by the mixed power becomes even more raging. The cracks in the space became wider, and the terrifying aura rushed towards Yi Mu. Yi Mu could clearly feel that if she was hit, she would definitely die. But there was a crisp sound. Im's cockpit glass cover shattered directly, which made Im's heart thump even more. Dying. Dying. Im thought with horror in her heart, there is no doubt that even she cannot avoid this attack. What to do? What to do? Im screamed crazily in her heart. In 800 years, she had never been in such a miserable state. At this time, Im noticed the space-time gap beside him because Yi Yu's power was too strong. Although there are too many unknown factors in it, even if his own IMMU enters, it will be a disaster, but facing Yi Yu's attack, he can definitely fight it head-on, and he will definitely die. Take a gamble. At the last moment, Im made up his mind in an instant. The next moment, Im used all his strength to jump directly into the endless void. B******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************* I am shouted. The moment I am jumped into the activity space. Dong dong dong. A strange pendulum in the sky struck 12 times in succession. Even Yi Yu noticed the strange sound of the bell, and he could clearly feel that this strange pendulum came from the same source as his system. Yi Yu frowned slightly and looked at the insubstantial pendulum in the sky. It was detected that data errors occurred in the space, and fusion occurred in different spaces. The space guard battle has officially begun. There is only one world where people can defend their homeland. Open through the dual field. The final winner will protect his own world. Yi Yu frowned. His own strength was so terrifying that he created a gap in time and space. And this guy, I am, didn't know which space he escaped to, causing a system bug. The corner of Yi Yu's mouth twitched. I am, you, this guy, have caused a lot of trouble for yourself. It seems that he needs to fight a few more duels before he can protect his home. At this time, the system's beep also sounded. Ding dong. Congratulations to host for defeating I am, the god of the pirate world, and defeating the strongest conquerors in this world. The reward is endless. Infinite conquerors, then I'm not invincible. Yi Yu said in surprise, what else are you planning? Opening his system panel, Yi Yu looked with interest at what was called infinite conquerors. Infinite conquerors. Every breath, conquerors will strengthen. It turns out that he didn't directly reach the invincible state. Yi Yu lamented that, as expected, the system was not so abnormal yet. If he directly became invincible, then there would be no suspense in this dual field. Yi Yu continued to watch, wanting to see how far he could go. Next, the host can become extremely powerful in just one breath, and every day, Yi Yu's Conqueror's reserve will double. This is a good thing. Yi Yu licked his tongue unconsciously, very excited. At this moment, a picture appeared on the sky. The pendulum of time and space in the sky also began to tell the story with its own eyes. The first duelist, the proud blue beast from the world of Mars, Akai. Then a guy wearing green tights and a watermelon head appeared on the screen. He also posed for everyone and showed his white teeth. Due to system reasons, people all over the world saw Akai's projection. Passers-by all over the world showed expressions of surprise. This is the challenger from another world. Does this person look weak? He looks like a juggler, haha. Yes, look at his hairstyle and weird clothes. They are probably just for fun. People in other worlds are indeed not as strong as people in our world. The people around them discussed one by one. Obviously, Akai who came to challenge this time in the different world did not cause them much worry. Kid, who was in the red-haired pirate group's area, had a trace of disdain on his lips. Are you kidding? This is also called an invasion from another world. How dare such an idiot come to our world and invade? Kid said with disdain. Apu on the side jumped up and kept playing the drum in his hand. Ha ha ha, this kind of guy can be dealt with by me, Apu. I will kill him directly from a distance, like an ant. Hawkins on the side said nothing, picked up the divination cards in his hand, and began to divine one by one. It lasted for a minute, and when Hawkins took out his last card, he showed an extremely solemn expression. Hira noticed something strange about Hawkins and squatted directly next to Hawkins, with a look of surprise on her face. What's wrong, Hawkins, you guy, what did you divine? Hira asked suspiciously. Hawkins' eyes widened, then he looked at everyone with an incredulous look on his face, and spoke calmly. I really didn't expect that in this first battle, the final winner would be this watermelon head from another world. What? After hearing this sentence, the people around were completely stunned. They really didn't expect that the final winner would be this watermelon head. Hey, Hawkins, are you kidding us? Kid grabbed Hawkins' collar and said in disbelief. Hawkins pushed Kid's hand away with a serious look on his face. Do you think I will be the one making fun of you? Hawkins said solemnly. Hira also came over and opened her lips. Kid, although this guy Hawkins doesn't like to talk, his fortune telling is absolutely correct. At this time, the people around were completely shocked. What on earth was going on in this world? There are so many things that have happened recently, and they are so bizarre. No one would have thought that even a watermelon head could challenge their world now. At this time, the red-haired pirates naturally noticed something strange in the sky. Lachalu gnawed on his big chicken leg and listened to the words of the pendulum of time and space in disbelief. Jesus Bu was also lying on the deck, looking at the sky with a look of surprise on his face. This guy can also challenge our pirate world. Ha ha ha, Lachalu said with a mocking look on his face as the chicken legs in his hands were dripping with oil. Jesus Bu also smiled disdainfully. What the hell, this kind of thing can challenge us. The pirates of the red-haired pirate group also showed extremely mocking expressions. What? These weird costumes make you look like a weakling. I think in this battle to protect the pirate world, I can do it, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, if this is the case, challengers from another world are too weak. Beckman kept smoking the cigar in his mouth, and bursts of smoke floated in the air. Then he turned to look at Shanks beside him and murmured. What do you think of this watermelon head, Shanks? Shanks narrowed his eyes. It was difficult to see the strength of this watermelon head just through the sky. It's hard to see, but, can someone sent from another world be so weak? Don't judge a book by its cover, Beckman. Red-haired Shanks said with serious eyes. It's better to be a little wary of guys from unknown worlds. These words made the surrounding Jesus Bu and Lachalu come over one after another. But, boss, no matter how you look at this guy, he doesn't look like a powerful guy, right? Chapter 215 Red Steam. The red-haired Shanks looked solemnly and looked at the sky. Although this guy's eyes are not sharp enough, he is very determined. He may not be a weakling. When did you decide a person's strength based on appearance alone? As for Holy Land Marie Joanne, the Revolutionary Army group also showed surprised expressions after hearing the words of the time and space pendulum. Time and space are messed up, how can such a thing happen? The she-monster king widened his heavily made-up eyes with an incredible expression. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. The commanders of the Fourth Army all showed exaggerated expressions. Tyrant Bear showed a solemn expression and spoke slowly. However, a guy from another world shouldn't be so weak, right? The Tyrant Shang turned his gaze to the Revolutionary Long, who also had a ferocious look on his scarred face. Tyrant Bear is right, maybe this person is not as weak as we thought. The people in the Whitebeard Pirates area also looked surprised. This watermelon head wants to challenge our world. Are you kidding me? Marco frowned and couldn't believe that this strange guy in green tights in front of him would actually send him to challenge. Yeah, no matter how you look at it, he doesn't look like a powerful guy. Diamond Josie also said with an unconvinced look. Smoker held a cigarette in his mouth, looked at the sky, and sighed in his heart, if it is this watermelon head, I seem to be able to solve it, right? And Yi Yu also looked at the sky. Good guy, this guy with jarhead, green tights, and a murderous look, isn't he the Emperor Kai from the Hokage world? The guy who almost kicked out the finale once, if it weren't for Naruto Sasuke's halo as the protagonist, I'm afraid the one with the most ability to kill Madara would be King Kai. This guy is definitely worthy of recognition in the Hokage world, but of course, he is still far behind compared to his current self. I haven't reached the point where I can take action yet. At this time, 10 pictures appeared on the sky, and all 10 pictures showed a dark color. Please choose to unlock an information video of a Kai. The sound of vicissitudes of life spread to the whole world. Question mark. For a time, people all over the world looked up at the sky. There was a heated discussion about the 10 pictures in the sky. What are you doing? Choose a picture. I know. These pictures must be information about this guy named Akai, who comes from another world. It is very likely that Akai is fighting. This watermelon head battle video. Don't be kidding me. How can there be any interesting battle information for a character like him? Although everyone said this, some people began to make choices about the pictures in the sky. After the first person silently recited his wish in his heart, a number appeared below a video in the sky. As more and more people mentioned the videos they wanted to watch, more and more numbers appeared under these 10 videos. Kid and others in the red-haired Shanks pirate area all frowned. Hey, this damn guy wants us to vote and watch the video. What's going on? Kid pouted, looking a little impatient. Hawkins narrowed his eyes, stared at the 10 videos in the sky, and finally selected one through the cards, which indicated the video that could best help everyone understand Akai's strength. And Apu also looked irritable. This kind of rule was completely determined by the pendulum of time and space, and he felt like he was being fooled. When he was angry, Kid on the other side directly activated his ability. Under the strong magnetic force, a large amount of metal was attracted to Kid's fist. In an instant, Kid's fist became extremely huge, and there were still holes between the metals. It always exudes a sizzling magnetic sound. After doing all this, Kid directly punched the sky with his fist. You're so noisy. You be asterisk. D. Who wants to listen to you to choose a video? Kid roared loudly and spoke to the time and space pendulum in the sky. A picture of a huge metal fist hitting the sky, but then flying into the air, which dispersed a lot of white clouds in the sky. Although they were very angry, Kid and others also expressed their goals after hearing this. The revolutionary troops in the holy land of Mariajoy looked at the sky, each of them showing expressions of surprise. Quote. Let's choose a video to open. What a weird thing. How could this happen? It's so dreamy. The King said with his smoky eyes widening as he looked at the sky. What do you think? Tyrant Bear said in disbelief. I have been in this pirate world for so many years, and I have seen a lot of bizarre things, but things like today are still rare. Revolutionary Long narrowed his eyes, showing a trace of expectation. I originally thought that after we deal with IM, the world will be at peace. But I really didn't expect that after dealing with IM, something like this would happen again. The world is really getting more and more interesting. Revolutionary Long licked his tongue, even wanting to go to the duel. There is no way, he, who is known as the most vicious criminal in the world, has been clamoring all day long to overthrow the rule of the celestial dragons, but in fact he has done nothing at all. On the contrary, this kid named Yi Yu appeared in the world recently and killed the Tianlong people's god Yi Mu. This made the Revolutionary Long feel like he was being tricked. This feeling made the Revolutionary Long K, the proud son of heaven, very unhappy. If I could choose to compete in the duel field, I would not be so aggrieved if I win a game for the world. At least let everyone know that in this world not only Yi Yu can save the world, but also the Revolutionary Long himself. The other 4 army commanders stopped talking, closed their eyes one after another, and began to shout out the video in their hearts and made their choice. On the sky screen, under everyone's thoughts, various numbers gradually appeared under the 10 screens. Finally, these numbers stopped on a video screen, and then, the sound of the time and space pendulum came again. After the selection is completed, the 4th video will be played below. The sound of vicissitudes of life came, attracting the attention of the people around, and all the people looked towards the sky. Chosen. Finally chosen. Are you really going to open it? The people around them looked excited and looked at the sky with incredible expressions. In the red-haired pirate group area, red-haired Shanks narrowed his eyes and looked at the sky. It's finally revealed what the strength of this jarhead is, now we can finally see it. The red-haired Shanks looked at the sky and murmured. The revolutionary army located in the Holy Land Marijoy also showed curious eyes one by one. The commander of the Eastern Army still had an indifferent attitude. He really couldn't tell what was so great about this watermelon head that he still needed everyone to look so nervous. Commander Wu Wu looked solemn. I don't know why I always have a feeling that this guy shouldn't be weak. Revolutionary Long also had the same expression, looking towards the sky with curiosity. The answer was about to be revealed. In the Whitebeard Pirates area, Marco, Diamond Josie, Garp, Sengoku and others all looked excitedly at the sky above their heads. How powerful this jarhead is, they will know soon. Yi Yu also looked at the video above his head with great interest. According to his guess, this should be the wonderful moment of Metkai. The time and space pendulum in the sky changed the scene again, and dynamic and passionate music sounded. In the meantime, a new animation scene appeared on the screen again, mapping the whole world. A voice came first from the screen. Who is that? Yi. Watermelon-headed Akai looked at Six Paths Madara and said with a confused expression. Six Paths Madara also looked at Akai, conveying a kingly aura, thinking for a moment, and then said lightly. I think I've seen it somewhere. He is Madara. Metkai finally remembered something and said. Kakashi on the side also spoke. That's right. Sage art, sage jutsu. Metkai looked at Madara and said seriously. Namikaze Minato also appeared directly, with a serious look on his face. That's right, the only things that can hurt him are sage jutsu, and taijutsu that can cause physical damage. After hearing this, Akai seemed to understand something. In other words, now it's my turn for the blue beast to appear. 8 gates Dunjia, the 7th gate, gate of wonder, open. Metkai shouted. In an instant, the terrifying aura rushed out crazily in all directions, and the terrifying aura instantly lifted the clothes of the people around him. A large amount of dust was instantly blown by Akai's breath. In an instant, the entire space was blown, and dust particles flew all over the sky. Blue steam. Madara widened her eyes, looking in disbelief. The other people Kakashi, 4th Hokage and others also looked surprised. Even they, who are well-informed people, have never seen this kind of thing. But it was Kai's friend Kakashi who saw the clues. This is 8 gates Dunjia, the gate before death. It's not red steam. It looks like I'm being looked down upon. Madara covered her eyes with her hands and murmured. Seeing this scene, the eyes of the Whitebeard pirates gradually became serious. This aura doesn't look weak. Edward Newgate, the white-bearded man, narrowed his eyes and murmured. Marco was also shocked. He didn't expect that this weak-looking guy would have such a strong aura. Kid's group, which was located in the red-haired pirate area, all widened their eyes at this time. This. Kid's purple lips kept trembling. Kid, who was the loudest before, is now the one with the most exaggerated expression. The remaining people also opened their mouths wide. Fortunately for Hawkins, he had already figured out that Akai was not an ordinary person. The other people were not as calm as Hawkins. Before, they were laughing at Akai, a humble guy, but now they did not expect that they would explode in such horror. Power. Kid opened his mouth again. This guy, if I go to fight with him, I'm afraid I won't be his opponent. The audio player Apu also looked shocked. Akai's strength far exceeded his expectations. After being shocked, Hawkins murmured. I just said that Akai's strength is definitely much stronger than yours. It is impossible to defeat him as you thought before. The members of the Revolutionary Army inside the Holy Land Marijoya were all shocked when they saw the video played in the sky. Iakoku jumped up. This guy is really not weak in strength. Long, you are right. The 4 Revolutionary Army commanders opened their mouths one by one. They had misjudged Akai before. Revolutionary Long Zheng had a solemn look on his face, but the corners of his mouth curved slightly. I've said it before, this guy Akai is not simple. I'm afraid he has already reached the strength of Sabo and the Tyrant Shang. Sabo and Tyrant Bear both nodded after hearing this. Mr. Long was right. Just that move by Hiruta just now has reached the level of a general candidate. And what's even more terrifying is that through their conversation just now, this guy named Akai seems to have even more terrifying moves. What does the red steam refer to? The she-monster king murmured with a suspicious look on his face. Yi Yu smiled slightly. The 7th gate. This is not Akai's true strength. A player of Akai's strength would be placed in the pirate world. There are really not many people who can subdue him. The next moment, Akai activated his physical skills and arrived in front of Madara in just a blink of an eye. A series of attacks flowed smoothly and very quickly. Even 4th generation couldn't help but admire it. This is the power of 8 gates Dunjia. Akai used 8 gates dungeon. After a series of attacks were dodged by Madara, Akai made a gesture again and aimed at Madara. Zaihu. Akai shouted loudly. In an instant, a huge white tiger appeared. The terrifying aura rushed towards Madara. Even the space seemed to be stirred, and a roar erupted towards Madara. The terrifying power was not chakra, but the terrifying power produced by Akai's physical skills. The terrifying power was carried down by Madara. Madara retreated dozens of meters directly, and retreated dozens of meters above the ground. Kakashi stared at Madara with his blood chakra eyes, his face solemn. Even the only promising physical technique is useless. What can we do now? He's too strong, Kakashi said in shock. At this time, the people in the Whitebeard Pirates area were shocked, and they immediately let out a tiger-like terrifying aura. The power of this jarhead is not simple. Chapter 216 Contestant EU. This jarhead is not simple. Could it be that it has some strange devil fruit ability? Marco said with a solemn expression. I've never seen any kind of terrifying ability, it's more like a physical attack. Diamond Josie murmured. Taijutsu attack, are you kidding? Taijutsu can transform into a tiger. Even Doflamingo was a little amazed at Akai's strength, walked in this direction, and joined the discussion. Phew, this world is really getting more and more interesting. After all, they belong to a different world, so it's not an exaggeration to say they have some weird abilities. But, the guy named Madara seems to be more powerful than this jarhead. Golden Lion Shiki took a puff of his cigarette and narrowed his eyes. This is really, Whitebeard Edward Newgate also said. So far, although this guy named Akai is very powerful, he can still defeat him. It's just that guy named Madara, has an unfathomable feel to him. But, whatever, since it's this watermelon head who's coming to fight us, don't worry about that guy with long hair, he may not show up. Whitebeard also laughed heartily. He was not afraid. If the long-haired man could come over, he really wanted to compete with him. Above the sky, the picture continues to play. Akai, on the other hand, put on a very handsome pose, turned his back to Kakashi and others and murmured. It's time to transform into the red beast. As soon as he finished speaking, Kakashi widened his eyes and looked at Akai in disbelief. Could it be? Are we going to use the last gate, the gate of death? Kakashi said in shock. Kai, no. Fourth Hokage hurriedly tried to dissuade him. Akai, on the other hand, looked into the distance, his eyes gradually becoming serious, as if he recalled many things before. No, this is my wish. After hearing this, Shaoli clenched his fists and stared at Akai closely. Teacher Kai, in your opinion, has that moment really arrived? What does that kind of moment refer to? Red-haired Shanks narrowed his eyes tightly and stared at the picture in the sky, murmuring. Because the strength shown by Akai in the previous scene was too eye-catching, even the red-haired Shanks, the four emperors, began to become dignified. I don't know, Shanks. However, through the expressions of the characters on the previous screen, we can still feel that this move is much more powerful than the previous move of the Day Tiger. Beckman on the side had a cigar in his mouth and had the same solemn look on his face. As for the other personnel, Lakelu, Jesus Bu, and the man carrying the monkey on his back, they were even more curious about the moment mentioned in the picture. The Revolutionary Army group located in the Holy Land of Mariajoy also gradually became dignified. Looking at this posture, at that moment, it seems that he is even more powerful than he is now. Speaking of which, I still have some expectations. Revolutionary Long looked very much looking forward to it. The ability from another world is really interesting. The commander of the Fourth Army was also in awe of the strength of Akai. The strength that Metkai showed before has exceeded their imagination. They don't know what the strength of this jarhead guy will be next. In the Whitebeard Pirates area, Kaido and Big Mom also looked at the sky. Hey, does this guy Kaido look very strong? I wonder how it would be if you fought him. Aunt asked, staring at Kaido with interest. After Kaido heard what his aunt said, he rolled his eyes, but he still analyzed it carefully. This guy's physical skills seem to be very powerful, but with my immortality, strong defense, and Conqueror's entangled attack method, he may not be able to defeat me. Kaido said confidently, judging from Akai's current performance, he can still deal with it. The problem lies in the next performance. The Whitebeard and the Golden Lion rarely showed excited expressions, and looked at the sky one by one. In today's pirate world, the limelight has almost been stolen by Yu. The world today has almost forgotten. They were once strong too. If I can show my strength in this battle, I will have some sense of existence. He won't be overwhelmed in front of the powerful Yu, so Kaido of the 100 Beasts still wants to try it in this battle. Yu narrowed his eyes. Naturally, he was very familiar with this scene. The true strength of Akai will be revealed next. Sure enough, just as Yu said, the picture in the sky continued to play. I saw Akai giving his thumbs up, without the slightest fear, but with a look of relaxation and confidence. This time you can just laugh and watch it, Akai said excitedly. Akai, who was running hard, made a strange gesture with his palms and pointed at his heart. As Akai's running speed increased, the blue aura around his body gradually turned blood red. Now is the time, open. 8 gates Dunjia formation, Akai roared loudly. 6 paths Madara on the side soared into the air, narrowed her eyes, and looked at Akai. Red steam. Is it the legendary blood steam? Blood vapor. The people around were stunned for a while. White-bearded Edward Newgate narrowed his eyes to a slit. Judging from this, the move that this jarhead guy unleashes seems to be a move that can overdraw his life. In order to protect your country, you will not be afraid at all even if you lose your own life when facing someone who is stronger than you. This kind of spirit and courage makes Whitebeard in awe. Golden Lion Shiki saw this scene and showed an expression of respect. Although they are enemies, they all fight to protect their homeland, which is worthy of respect. This guy named Akai is not weak. Golden Lion Shiki said in shock. Although it's just a picture, when Akai gradually turns into red steam, his running speed can be seen. Akai's strength has definitely improved a lot. For such a powerful and affectionate guy, the two former kings, Shiki the Golden Lion and Edward Newgate the Whitebeard, still value them very much. If possible, I really want to fight this guy, Whitebeard Edward Newgate murmured as he looked at Akai on the screen. After a short discussion, the picture in the sky began to play continuously. Shishyong. 1 foot, Akai said with a loud roar. With just one punch, a powerful momentum rushed towards his face instantly, and the air in the surrounding space was forced towards Madara's direction by Akai's swing. Even a player of 6 paths Madara's level was enveloped by this powerful aura and took dozens of steps back in an instant. Fortunately, he escaped. The next moment, Akai waved his fist again and released a powerful aura towards Madara. 2 legs. ... A dozen air waves were instantly formed under Akai's attack, and powerful air waves struck from all directions. Madara was thinking of evading, but was restricted by the waves of air, unable to move at all, and her eyes immediately showed a solemn look. The next moment, these dozens of air waves instantly enveloped Madara, making her unable to move at all. The people watching below once again let out waves of exclamations. This guy looks like he's really not that simple. Even Garp had a solemn look on his face. This guy in weird clothes looked very scary in his physical skills. He could generate huge air pressure just by punching and kicking. From this point of view, taijutsu has reached its own level. A strong taijutsu master from another world. Edward Newgate, the white-bearded man, stroked his beard with a solemn look on his face. This guy's physical skills are truly terrifying. Kids group located in the red-haired pirate group area were completely shocked this time. What kind of joke is this? Kid widened his eyes and looked at everything in front of him in disbelief. A mere human being can actually rely on his own powerful physical skills and brute force to produce a power even more terrifying than a devil fruit. So, kid, what I said before is correct. Even if you, kid, go up, you will definitely fail. Hawkins said mercilessly. Kid could only be speechless. He had indeed underestimated this watermelon head before. If he went up, he would definitely be killed. The remaining people all looked shocked. This watermelon head shocked them too much. Even Shanks in this area has a look of shock on his face. He has surpassed himself in terms of physical skills alone. Physical skills that surpass the level of the four emperors. Lachalu on the Shanks boat narrowed his little eyes into a thin line. His physical skills on the boat can be said to be very strong, but compared to this jarhead, there is still a long way to go. Yi Yu smiled slightly. The first game was King Kai. It seemed like it really didn't allow people to have a good rest. Wouldn't it be nice to enjoy life when you have time? Above the sky, the sound of the pendulum of time and space sounded again. Next, the challenge begins. Pirate world, I hope you can protect your home. With this order, Metkai officially appeared and slid down from the sky. As soon as it fell, Metkai began to look at the surrounding environment, and Metkai narrowed his eyes. Is this the other world that the pendulum of time and space calls? Metkai said very vigilantly, I wonder who will challenge me next. Although they were very vigilant, people in the pirate world did not notice the fear in this man's eyes. White-bearded Edward Newgate narrowed his eyes. Amazing man. Whitebeard spoke highly of Metkai. Although he is the strongest man in this world, he still feels strange when facing a group of strong men in this other world. But the man in front of me is very determined in his heart. That's why Edward Newgate, the white-bearded man, spoke so highly of Metkai. At this time, the people in the Hokage world also had solemn expressions on their faces. Even Madara stopped his attack. Just before, he had doubted the time and space pendulum in the sky. He thought about attacking the pendulum of time and space, but with the power of the pendulum of time and space, Madara felt the impact of dimensionality reduction for the first time. That's right, it's a dimensionality reduction attack. Even his most respected opponent, first Hokage Senju Hashirama, did not feel this feeling of inadequacy. In front of the pendulum of time and space, all of his power seemed to disappear, and he could completely feel the terrifying power of the pendulum of time and space. You can defeat yourself in an instant. Now the entire Hokage world has stopped its war. Now the entire Hokage world has a common enemy. If this war in another world fails, according to the time and space pendulum, their other world space will also be squeezed and become the space of another world. In this case, even if the Third World War is won, it will be meaningless. HMPH, then let's join forces with you and eradicate these aliens first. Madara said disdainfully. Kakashi, fourth Hokage, Shao Li, Naruto and others all breathed a sigh of relief. The war that was fought very fiercely before suddenly stopped this time. Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. Although I don't know how this time and space pendulum appeared, it seems that Madara's crisis has been temporarily relieved. Kakashi said with relief. The oppression that Madara put on his group before was so strong that Kakashi even wanted to face challenges from another world rather than face an opponent like Madara. But, contestants from another world must be very powerful beings in their world. Can Akai win? Kage Gaara said with a little worry. Naruto also looked worried. Teacher Nongmei went to another world alone. Isn't he too dangerous? If all the people from the other world come out to deal with Teacher Nongmei, will there be any big trouble? Naruto turned on his perception, but could not feel the presence of Teacher Akai. Teacher Nongmei was indeed transferred to another world as mentioned in the pendulum of time and space. Don't worry about Naruto. Kakashi came to Naruto and gently tapped Naruto on the shoulder. Naruto looked back at Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi-sensei. Don't worry, Naruto, the time and space pendulum just said it, this is a one-on-one duel, the purpose is to choose the strongest person in each world. Akai must be facing an enemy. With Akai's ability, it would be perfect to use it in a one-on-one fight. Kakashi began to analyze calmly. If it were a simple battle, Kakashi would prefer Akai to fight. In terms of toughness, there are really not many people who can't be tougher than Akai. In the world of pirates, the sound of the pendulum of time and space sounds. In the world of pirates, the candidates for the battle this time, Yi Yu and Marco, please choose one of them. The sound of vicissitudes of life came over. When the entire pirate world heard Yi Yu's name, everyone showed strange expressions. You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites shared the same login details so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 217 Emperor Kai. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Originally, everyone wanted to show off in this duel, but they didn't expect that the combatants this time would be named by the pendulum of time and space. This time, they have no share. They admitted that this guy Akai was very strong, and not so powerful. You could already see it in Guo's firm eyes and his unflappable temperament in the face of danger. But, no matter how strong Akai is, if his opponent is Yi Yu, then it can be said that he has no chance of winning. In front of Yi Yu, this jarhead, no matter how strong he is still like a clown. There is no doubt about this. In the entire different world, is there anyone more powerful than Yi Yu? Regarding this, they still believe in Yi Yu. There was no way, the shock Yi Yu brought to them was really terrifying. A person who does not need to practice at all, and who has been out at sea for just over a month, can overthrow the rule that has ruled the world for 800 years. This kind of terrifying talent is even more evil than an evildoer. Above the sea, the red-haired man smiled. There is no hope now. I originally wanted to watch a close battle, but I didn't expect that the pendulum of time and space directly named Yi Yu. What's there to fight for? As long as Yi Yu is willing, he can get rid of that jarhead just by moving his fingers. Lachalu also gnawed on his big chicken drumstick and murmured in his mouth. There is no hope. As for Yi Yu, I have no doubt that he will kill that guy in strange clothes in an instant. Long, the leader of the revolutionary army, also showed a disappointed expression. Well, as soon as Yi Yu takes action, that guy will undoubtedly be killed on the spot. From the time the pendulum of time and space said the name Yi Yu, it was already destined that the guy named Akai will definitely fail. When everyone is disappointed, Yi Yu shouted directly at the time and space pendulum in the sky. Are you kidding me? The pendulum of time and space clicked my name. I don't know. I just went through a big battle. Do I need to rest now? I choose to abstain from this battle. Yi Yu said carelessly. As soon as this sentence came out, everyone was shocked again. It was unreasonable and expected. With Yi Yu's temper, he was indeed able to do such a thing. In this way, the opportunity to challenge Akai from another world was naturally placed in Marco's hands. Marco was very excited, in this case he could prove himself. Others showed envy and jealousy towards Marco. Even Whitebeard, the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, showed envious eyes. Marco, you guy is lucky this time. You have to take advantage of such a good opportunity. White-bearded Edward Newgate looked at Marco with a jealous look. Even the red-haired pirates who were very far away from Whitebeard's sea area were yelling at Marco one by one at this time. The red-haired Shanks shook his head helplessly. I originally thought that I could still perform well and take some of the limelight out of Yi Yu recently, but I didn't expect that the pendulum of time and space will decide the contestants through selection this time. You're really taking advantage of Marco. Beckman also walked over with a cigar in his mouth, a wry smile on his face. Haha, this guy Marco is really lucky this time. If this opportunity is given to our red-haired pirates, I believe we will be able to defeat that jarhead. The limelight now belongs to the Whitebeard pirates. Although everyone in the red-haired pirate group was disappointed, they still watched the next battle attentively. Marco, the leader of the Whitebeard pirates, was very excited after hearing this. Ha ha ha, great, Dad. This time, I will definitely prove myself well and let people in this world see that our Whitebeard pirates are not only strong, Yi Yu, but I, Marco, am also a strong one. Marco said excitedly. For so many days, in front of Yi Yu's battle with others, he was completely a passerby, and Marco even felt like a waste for a time. Now I finally have this opportunity. In an instant, Marco transformed into blue flames and rushed directly into the sky. Akai looked at the blue flames and showed excitement. Green steam was exuding all over his body, and it rushed towards Marco. You in this other world don't know what domination is, so in front of my blue flames, you can't break through my defense. So in this battle, I am invincible, Marco said very proudly. However, after hearing what Marco said about domineering, Akai frowned. What domineering? In front of youth, I can break through all defenses. The blue beast of Konoha is officially here. Akai roared. The next moment, a strange gesture appeared, and a white tiger charged hard in Marco's direction. Boom! Blue flames and white tigers collided in midair. The two breaths from the two worlds collided fiercely, and in an instant the whole sky collapsed. The next moment, Marco fell from the sky with blood in his mouth, a look of disbelief on his face. How is this possible, that a guy from another world can actually break through my defense? Marco said in disbelief. But just now, there was indeed something similar to an armed color, but I didn't know what it was. This thing of yours is called genjutsu. I have specially practiced the moves to deal with this kind of defense. As long as I add a little chakra, I can find and hit your entity. Akai showed a confident expression and spoke. After seeing this scene, everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates area showed shocked expressions. They still know Marco's strength, which is infinitely close to the general's ability, but even so, he was killed instantly by this guy named Akai. According to the video, this move was not Akai's strongest move. Marco fell down before Akai's red steam was used. As Marco fell to the ground, the blue flames on his body became brighter, and with it, Marco's own wounds began to heal rapidly. Waves of healed smoke came out from Marco's injured body parts. Seeing this situation, Akai showed an excited expression. You guys are a monster. It seems that I have to use a very powerful blow at once to defeat you in one blow. And Marco also knew the strength of the guy in front of him, and without too much hesitation, he directly activated his half-beast form. In the half-beast form, Marco's body had begun to transform into a beast, especially when his feet stretched out directly, long sharp claws. After seeing this scene, Akai's eyes widened even more, with a look of horror on his face. You are actually a precious beast. Akai said in disbelief. This also reminded him of the shark-like guy he defeated before. This time a guy like a big bird came. Marco did not hesitate too much, fanned his wings, and in just a blink of an eye, he was in front of Akai, with armed domineering wrapped around his sharp claws, and kicked Akai fiercely. Feeling Marco's attack on him, Akai raised his fists and fought back. Boom. There was a loud noise, and the two people collided. The terrifying aura rushed out crazily around them, and there were even traces of cracks on the ground under their feet. Seeing this scene, even the white-bearded Edward Newgate, the Golden Lion Shiki and others felt some kind of terrifying and huge power. The strength of this jarhead guy is really extraordinary. The terrible physical skills, I don't know if Marco can bear it. Sure enough, after the fierce collision, Marco took dozens of steps back. But Akai seemed to be okay, although Marco's attack on him just now seemed to be mixed with some strange power, which greatly enhanced Marco's defense. But in front of Akai's absolute power, he was still defeated. Marco touched his forehead with his hand and showed a wry smile. This time he was really embarrassed. He originally thought that this time he could bring glory to his world and let the people of this world. I looked at myself with admiration again, this time it was great, I didn't expect that I would be defeated so quickly. The guy in strange clothes in front of me is not simple at all. And Akai saw Marco being suppressed. In order to protect Akai and his country, he directly opened his 8th gates. One kick. Akai shouted loudly. The next moment, a terrifying wave of air appeared directly in front of Marco. With his domineering power, Marco successfully predicted the attack and hurriedly activated his ability to avoid it. Due to Marco's Devil Fruit ability, he is very fast, so Marco has absolute confidence that he can dodge this move. However, under the pirate world, there was a long chair, and Yi Yu was watching the battle leisurely. At this time, he shrugged helplessly at Marco in front of him. At the same time, Yi Yu said lightly, "Open your mouth. This battle is over. Marco has failed," Yi Yu said expressionlessly. After hearing Yi Yu's words, the Whitebeard pirates next to Yi Yu all showed incredulous expressions. No way. Marco is the captain of the most powerful pirate group in the world, and the awakened fruit ability is also very terrifying. The powerful recovery power is not more powerful than the 4 Emperors Kato, who is known as the undead creature. How much weaker is it? Now Yi Yu directly asserts that Marco has failed. Heavenly Yaksha Don Quixote Doflamingo said with an incredulous look on his face. The beautiful eyes of Empress Hancock on the side showed an incredible expression. She was quite familiar with this Marco, and his strength was infinitely close to that of the Emperor. In the battle on top, he even managed to kick a general. A brilliant performance, such a terrifying guy, I really didn't expect that after facing a strange guy from another world, he would be defeated. Is this man named Akai really so strong? Is it possible that Mr. Yi Yu made a mistake? Foil Beasta asked weakly with a confused look on his face. As soon as this sentence appeared, other people immediately rolled their eyes. Who is Yi Yu? He is a god-like existence in this world. Although the probability of Marco's defeat is a very small event, to say that Yi Yu is wrong is simply nonsense. From a probability perspective, there is no possibility of existence at all, the probability is 0. Pairs of eyes looked at Foil Beerus one after another, feeling everyone's strangeness, especially the anger from Mahawk, the world's greatest swordsman. Only then did Foil Beerus realize that he said something was wrong, or even caused some public outrage. He hurriedly waved his hands to everyone, with a smile on his face. Ha ha ha, I think Yi Yu is not wrong. I was careless. I was careless. Foil Beasta said in embarrassment as layers of sweat appeared on his forehead. If he didn't admit his mistake quickly, he was afraid that Mahawk, who was now furious, would stab him. To be on the safe side, it is better to give in and admit your mistakes. Even Empress Hancock rolled her eyes. That is to say, Beasta, how can you doubt Mr. Yi Yu's prediction ability? You are too stupid. Empress Hancock made a gesture of looking up to the Foil Beasta with disdain. Said. And Foil Beasta was beaten up by so many people. Although he felt very aggrieved, he still did not dare to refute. He had indeed said the wrong thing before and dared to question Captain Yi Yu's ability. And just as Yi Yu said, at this time in the sky, the voices of Akai and Marco were still continuing. Just as Yi Yu expected, Akai directly released a terrifying air wave. This air wave hit Marco's body directly, and Marco was hit instantly. I saw Marco's eyes widening. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was really hard for him to imagine that although he had predicted this terrifying attack wave, when it actually came, he couldn't dodge it at all. Has this terrifying power actually surpassed his own and reached the lowest level of the Emperor? This shocked Marco. Chapter 218 Golden Lion Shiki has Madara's ability. Now that I am in the same situation as Madara, I understand what a terrifying guy Madara faced at that time. Madara could face an air wave attack before, but now she can't even resist an air wave attack. Under the powerful air wave, all the space around Marco was squeezed by the air. He wanted to escape and tried hard to flap his wings, but he couldn't escape. It seemed like there was something terrifying surrounding his body. The nameless force was forcibly suppressed, and he even saw vague spatial cracks in the surrounding space. This scary guy, Marco couldn't help but think with emotion. The members of the Whitebeard pirates who were watching below looked at Yi Yu seriously one by one. As expected, Mr. Yi Yu was still very scary, being able to see the upcoming battle so accurately. As Yi Yu expected, Marco was quickly defeated. He had to admire that jarhead. That guy's strength was unfathomable and he was able to suppress Marco instantly. It looks like that Marco guy is going to fail. White-bearded Edward Newgate narrowed his eyes, looked at Marco in the sky, and showed a very solemn expression. Marco's strength was still very clear to him, but he did not expect to be suppressed in this way. At this time, Akai directly attacked Marco again. The fist in his hand was aimed at Marco and hit him hard. Under the strong force, a gust of wind blew by. Marco's body was still unable to move, facing Akai. Marco's eyes widened as he attacked. Facing this blow, Marco was extremely shocked. Even the four emperors had never let him feel this suppressed feeling. There is absolutely nothing I can do. Boom. This punch hit Marco's body hard, and blue flames rose, but in the end Marco spit out a lot of blood from his mouth. With one punch, Marco fell heavily from the sky, like a kite with a broken string, and finally hit the ground heavily, creating a huge blue hole directly on the ground. The flames also gradually dissipated in the pit. Marco. People in the Whitebeard pirates area shouted loudly. Fortunately, the blue flame was released in advance to protect the attacked part, otherwise I would really be dead. Marco murmured, but in the end, it still appeared in his mouth lots of red blood. And Marco also clearly felt that he had spared his hands with the jarhead just now, otherwise he would definitely die. Thank you for staying with me, Akai. Marco said respectfully to Akai. Close black lens bracket. Terrifying physical attacks, even if you are carrying blue flames, you can be directly hit and seriously injured. This feeling is quite similar to Garp's fist. Akai, on the other hand, had a solemn look on his face and slowly opened his mouth. It's nothing. I'm just thinking that everyone is working for their own world. There's nothing wrong with you. This shocked the people watching around me again. Are you kidding me? Is this jarhead really that scary? The corners of Kid's mouth twitched. He had thought about fighting this jarhead before, but looking at it now, Akai, this guy, could kill him instantly with just one punch. I am definitely too arrogant. A group of people from the revolutionary army in Mariajoya, the Holy Land, opened their mouths wide after seeing Marco's state. The expression of the S********* king is very strange. Hey, Long, did you hear that guy with the pineapple head actually said that the guy named Akai could kill him in seconds? Isn't this too exaggerated? The she-monster king looked incredulous. Revolutionary Long sighed and looked at the scene of the duel. Yeah, I really didn't expect that this guy would be so strong. I know Marco's strength, but he would be killed instantly. So this Akai has probably reached the level of the Emperor. Revolutionary Long looked into the distance and murmured. Emperor level. The four commanders of the Revolutionary Army each showed shocking eyes. The battle of good guys has just begun. The guy from another world is at the lowest level of the Emperor. This makes them feel a sense of crisis. See, it looks like guys from another world are not that much weaker. The four emperors in Heise's world were also shocked by their strength. It is not difficult to see that Akai, this guy, has Emperor-level strength. The cigarette smoke in Beckman's mouth was filled with smoke, and he had a solemn look on his face. I really didn't expect that this was the first battle that would be so terrifying. If I were allowed to go, even I, Beckman, would be killed instantly. Beckman said helplessly, shaking his head. Since this guy named Yu came to this world, Beckman has found that his sense of existence is getting smaller and smaller. If he wants to have a sense of existence, he must at least start at the Emperor level. The red-haired Shanks also had a look of helplessness on his face. Apparently, you need someone of my level to do it, not even me, red-haired Shanks said a little embarrassed. You can't even do that. Are you kidding me, Boss Shanks? Larch Road came over with a big chicken leg and said in disbelief. That's right, do you remember the previous video? In the video, it was clearly stated that after the red steam, Akai's strength will be improved to what extent. We still don't know this, but we can be very clear that he has definitely improved qualitatively. Red-haired Shanks said worriedly, and it was this that made him feel that even if he played, he would not be that guy's opponent. Akai. Interesting. Quote. I think, don't call him Akai. For the lowest emperor-level strength, let's call him Kaihuang. Beckman said jokingly. Yes, with such terrifying strength, I think this guy can definitely be called the Emperor of Kai. Red-haired Shanks agreed. Yi Yu looked at the situation on the battlefield, his face still calm. He didn't know when all kinds of food and wine appeared in his hands, and he looked like he was enjoying himself. Is everything within his own mind? No surprise at all. At this time, the sound of the time-space pendulum in the sky rang again. The winner of the duel, Akai from the Hokage world. The second duel will still be held by Akai, and people from the pirate world will challenge. The sound of vicissitudes of life came down from the sky, and then a yellow light fell on Akai's body. Akai, who was still in some pain due to the 8 Gates Dunjia, instantly returned to his usual state this time. All the previous fatigue was gone. The pendulum of time and space in the sky glowed again, and the sound of vicissitudes of life was heard. Those who come to fight in the pirate world next, please make your choice. After hearing these words, most of the people in the pirate world lowered their heads. They had really felt the terrifying dominance from Akai just now. Now they no longer dare to move forward with this person. What kind of fight will the guy named Akai have? Everyone held their breath, and the scene was a little quiet. Golden Lion Shiki, Yi Yu, please choose. It wasn't until the sound of the time and space pendulum came over that the people around him slowly exhaled. The Golden Lion Shiki is naturally not a weakling who is afraid of fighting. He was very excited after hearing his name. The Whitebeard on the side cast an envious look. After seeing Whitebeard's reaction, Golden Lion Shiki laughed. Ha 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 ha, Whitebeard, just give me a good look at you, and teach me how to avenge Marco. Golden Lion Shiki said with a smile. Don't be complacent yet, there's no reply from Yi Yu yet. Whitebeard rolled his eyes and said. Yi Yu. Golden Lion Shiki suddenly realized something. Yes, if Yi Yu agreed to fight, he would have nothing to do with him. Mr. Yi Yu, look. Golden Lion Shiki said in a low voice, with respect for Yi Yu in his eyes. People around him also looked at Yi Yu. Yi Yu lay on the old man's chair, yawned, and then spoke slowly to everyone. Don't worry, I won't participate in this battle, so I'll leave it to you, the Golden Lion. After hearing Yi Yu's permission, a white light shone in the Golden Lion's eyes, indicating that Yi Yu had given himself permission. Golden Lion Shiki looked in the direction of Whitebeard, showed a mean expression, and then shouted loudly to the sky. I, the Golden Lion Shiki, the King of the Sky, request a battle. As soon as he finished speaking, Golden Lion Shiki's figure disappeared from where he was before, and appeared directly on the duel field the next moment. The whole world noticed the Golden Lion Shiki, and even the commander of the Revolutionary Army, Long, showed a smile. As that old guy Garp a strong man at that time. If he goes up, it is really possible to defeat that jarhead. Revolutionary Long said with approval. According to his father Garp, Golden Lion Shiki is a more powerful existence than One Piece Roger. If Golden Lion Shiki hadn't been affected by the bad weather at the time, One Piece would now be Golden Lion Shiki. The red-haired Shanks also showed a solemn expression. It turned out to be that guy Golden Lion Shiki. This battle is really interesting. Red-haired Shanks said with great interest. People in the Whitebeard Pirates area also shouted for the Golden Lion Shiki. Shiki, come on, demoralize this guy. That's right, let this guy know that we in the pirate world are not easy to bully. The pirates below are cheering for the Golden Lion Shiki one by one. People in the Hokage world naturally noticed the projection given to them by the pendulum of time and space. After seeing the image of the Golden Lion Shiki, each of the ninja coalition showed suspicion. This guy, sent to deal with our Emperor Kai. Why does he look so ordinary? Yeah, I think this guy is worse than the pineapple head from before. As this old man obviously a disabled person. Can he compete with the existence of Emperor Kai? Even Naruto from Sage Transformation looked suspicious at the scene in front of him. Kakashi, who was beside him, was calmly analyzing the current situation. Don't take it lightly, Naruto. According to my analysis, the guy in front of you must be stronger than the pineapple head from before. Just look at the reaction of the pirates under him. Kakashi said seriously to Naruto. He spoke. After hearing what Mr. Kakashi said, Naruto looked at the screen projected by the time and space pendulum. Sure enough, the pirates below the Golden Lion Shiki in the screen were shouting for the Golden Lion Shiki one by one. On the battlefield, the Golden Lion Shiki just floated in the air as soon as he entered the duel, smoking a cigar in his mouth and looking at Akai with interest. Good boy, a strong man from another world, I want to have fun with you. Golden Lion Shiki took a puff of his cigar and murmured. After Akai saw the Golden Lion Shiki, his eyes became serious. I can feel the strong aura coming from the Golden Lion Shiki. You are really a ferocious beast. I want to see who is more powerful, you, the lion, or my blue beast. After finishing speaking, Akai didn't hesitate and instantly opened the seventh door. Shihu suddenly appeared and charged directly towards the Golden Lion Shiki. Facing Akai's turbulent offensive, Golden Lion Shiki took his time and was still smoking a cigarette in his mouth. The next moment, a strange ability appeared. A large mountain was summoned by the Golden Lion Shiki and floated in the air. The Shiki released by Akai hit the mountain heavily. There was a sound of collision, and under the strong airflow, the mountain peak that was uprooted by the Golden Lion Shiki was directly smashed into pieces, and then the Day Tiger also disappeared in the collision. Akai showed a solemn expression and the corners of his mouth twitched. What ninjutsu is this, Earth-style ninjutsu, or Uchiha's gravity? Akai said in shock. To be able to pull up a mountain to resist his own attacks, in Akai's opinion, this is a very powerful and rare ninjutsu. Akai even once suspected that this must be some kind of forbidden technique from another world. The people in the Hokage world were no less shocked than Akai. Are you kidding me? This guy actually lifted up a huge mountain easily. This ability, how does it look like Madara? A member of the ninja coalition shouted loudly at the phantom above his head. After saying this, the people around them all looked at Madara. They really didn't expect that in another world, there would be someone with the same ability as Madara. Madara, on the other hand, narrowed her eyes and pulled up the mountain. Her clan with blood chakra eyes has never recorded such an ability. Chapter 219 Yi Yu attacks and explodes the other world. However, the old man who looks like a lion does have two brushes. This ability makes Madara a little afraid. On the battlefield, the ground shook continuously, and the mountain peaks were uprooted and rushed towards Akai. Facing so many attacks, even Akai felt powerless. Directly opened his eighth gates, Shi Shang. He waved his fists and feet vigorously, and waves of air appeared from the sky. The powerful force caused the whole world to groan from time to time. This attack, with its powerful momentum, is like Shinigami's punishment on the world. Golden Lion Shiki narrowed his eyes, not daring to be careless at all. Is this the move I used in the video and in the battle against Marco? It is indeed powerful. This move can pull you into the threshold of the Emperor level. It's just a pity that what you encountered is I'm the Golden Lion Shiki. After saying that, Golden Lion Shiki unleashed all three colors of domineering energy on his body, especially Conqueror's domineering energy, which instantly swept over Akai's body. Even a strong man like Akai felt a hint of terror. However, Kai Huang regained his steely will after only a brief abnormality. One after another air waves appeared again, and under the impact of the air waves, space-time gaps were created one after another in the entire sky. With the powerful blessing of power, every attack of Akai after opening the 8 gates was comparable to that of Raihu of the 7th gate. Every attack directly smashed the mountain into pieces. The Golden Lion Shiki, feeling Akai's terrifying fighting power, activated his Piao Piao fruit. Everything on the ground was controlled by the Golden Lion and flew into the sky. In an instant, the whole world was shattered, and rubble was flying everywhere. What a terrifying attack, people in the pirate world said in shock when they felt Akai's terrifying fighting power. Even Garp, who has always been known as the most powerful physical practitioner, couldn't help but show admiration after seeing Akai's moves. Back then, he had achieved the record of smashing 8 mountains with one punch. This Akai in front of him, in terms of martial arts attacks, it can be said that he is not inferior to himself at all. Even the Golden Lion had sweat on his forehead. It was unimaginable that a person without devil fruit abilities could have such terrifying power. People in the Hokage world were also surprised. It's hard to believe that that old guy can actually withstand Akai's attack. He's the 8 gates Dunjia. Does that person have the same energy as 6 paths Madara? The people around looked at the steady stream of energy that was controlling the mountain. The Golden Lions who came to defend themselves spoke in shock. Akai, Kakashi looked worried. After a series of attacks, Akai finally began to pant, but the Golden Lion on the opposite side did not suffer any damage at all. All his attacks hit the mountain peak summoned by the Golden Lion Shiki. It's time to use that move. Akai's eyes became more and more determined, and at the same time, the breathless look on his face began to fade away. Yi Kai! Akai shouted loudly, and his momentum instantly increased hundreds of times. Even the surrounding space was affected, and red steam began to spurt crazily around. In the Hokage world, seeing the current appearance of Akai, Xiaoli clenched his fists and his body began to tremble uncontrollably. What does Teacher Akai mean in this state? Xiaoli said more than anything else. Be more clear. Gaara on the side noticed something strange about Xiaoli and patted Xiaoli's shoulder to comfort Xiaoli, but Xiaoli cheered up on his own. No, I won't feel sorry for Teacher Akai. For such a man who regards death as home, any comfort is an insult to him. I will support your choice, Teacher Akai. This is youth. Xiaoli shouted loudly at the picture in the sky. Gaara on the side was also moved after seeing Xiaoli's performance. On the screen, Akai turned on Yekai and ran towards the Golden Lion Shiki. Even Shiki, the Golden Lion with Conquerors turned on, felt Akai's power at this time, with an extremely solemn expression on his face. As this guy, a beast. Golden Lion Shiki said with a shocked face as sweat continued to flow from his forehead. Then, Golden Lion Shiki began to mobilize most of the mountains and threw them at Akai. After activating Yi Kai, Akai faced the mountain in front of him without dodging. The red gas on the body directly shattered the mountain peak in front of him, and the terrifying aura directly formed the direction of a dragon's head, roaring wildly at the Golden Lion Shiki. Even the Golden Lion Shiki felt his heart pounding when he felt the roar of this evil dragon. What a terrifying aura. You can actually shatter your own mountain with just your terrifying aura. I have been traversing this sea for so many years. Apart from Yi Yu and perverts like Yi Mu, you are really the first man to reach this level. Golden Lion Shiki said in shock. Akai just gave a terrifying flying kick. During the flying kick, cracks appeared in the space. The evil dragon directly attached to Akai's feet. At this time, Akai seemed to merge with the giant red dragon. At this time, Akai was like a demon. Cold sweat suddenly appeared on the forehead of Golden Lion Shiki. He desperately mobilized the mountains on the ground and smashed towards Akai. But after Akai saw it, he didn't dodge, his movements didn't change at all, and his heart didn't change at all. A little hesitation. Akai, it turns out you have surpassed me a long time ago. Roar. Akai. At this time, Kakashi was also infected by Akai. Even Madara praised Akai very much. Did this guy want to defeat him with such a move before? The pendulum of time and space really disturbed my interest, otherwise, I would really feel a sense of crisis. I recognize you for this kind of taijutsu. Among the ninjas that I fought with before, not even Senju Hashirama, there is no one who can surpass it. Madara had a look of excitement on her face, such a terrifying opponent herself, I really want to fight it. In the world of pirates, red-haired Shanks looked surprised and opened his mouth. This guy is so terrifying. He has reached this level by relying solely on physical skills. This kind of world-destroying aura has not been achieved through devil fruit or three-color hockey. It was released, it was terrible, it was really terrible. Red-haired Shanks said in disbelief. As for the other members around him, they were even more shocked after seeing this horrific battle scene. The members who were located in the holy land of Mariajoy were equally shocked when they saw this scene in front of them. Even the revolutionary Long showed a look of fear and fear. This guy's physical skills are really terrifying. For such a terrifying guy, Mr. Garp, who is extremely armed, may not be his opponent. Golden Lion Shiki, although he was the strongest among the strongest of that era, but facing such a terrifying opponent as Akai, I am afraid he will fail. Revolutionary Long shook his head and said. The 4 army commanders all looked solemn after hearing the Revolutionary Long's story. Even Saab is feeling the crisis like never before. So in other words, when our world faces the invasion of another world, it is difficult for us to defeat the first opponent. Our world's combat power relies entirely on Master Yi Yu alone. Just hold on, Sabo said with emotion. Hearing this sentence, the people around them nodded one after another. Although they were unwilling to admit it, the facts were placed in front of them and they had to admit it. The area of the Whitebeard pirates. After the white-bearded Edward Newgate saw Akai's performance, his whole face instantly turned pale. If you look at it this way, this guy Shiki the Golden Lion will die. Golden Lion Shiki heard Whitebeard cursing himself, and a look of resentment immediately appeared on his face. Whitebeard, you guy, do you want to curse me to death? Golden Lion Shiki said angrily, and then the devil fruit ability was turned on to its most powerful state. The mountains, sawdust, walls, and even the sea on the ground were all summoned by Golden Lion Shiki, and they were combined into a huge lion head. This terrifying lion head roared at the giant dragon in front of it. The lion roared wildly, and the giant dragon opposite also roared. Boom, a fierce collision began. At first, the two terrifying forces were evenly matched. But after a moment, the evil dragon roared, and the lion head summoned by the Golden Lion Shiki directly roared. The collision shattered. Under the terrifying aura, even the space around the Golden Lion Shiki had cracks one after another. Golden Lion Shiki wanted to activate his abilities and escape, but under the terrifying power, Golden Lion Shiki found that he could not move at all. The terrifying energy directly caused cracks to appear in the space, and the Golden Lion Shiki was completely controlled in this space. Huge energy came in front of the Golden Lion Shiki, the strong man of the last era in the pirate world. Facing Akai's ability from another world, he had no room for resistance. He could only watch Akai kicking him. He was sure that such a terrifying kick would not be possible even for his own Golden Lion Shiki. He will be kicked instantly and disappear into this space. It's over. It's over. The Golden Lion Shiki, not only lost, but also lost his life here this time. This time I really embarrassed the people of the pirate world. Jin Lion Shiki closed his eyes. I began to look back at my words. There were really not many people who could be convinced by my words. However, among these people, the person I admired the most was Yi Yu. Even the man in front of me, facing Yi Yu, at that time, the Golden Lion Shiki also had absolute confidence. Yi Yu could easily knock him down, and it was an instant kill. It seems, I still have to rely on Mr. Yi Yu to bring things back to the pirate world in the future. The Golden Lion Shiki, have failed. At this time, a yellow light appeared in the sky, appearing directly in front of the Golden Lion Shiki, forming a huge wall, and Akai's attack was directly blocked. This is the power of the pendulum of time and space. Everyone looked towards the pendulum of time and space. Golden Lion Shiki admits defeat. The winner of this competition is Akai from the Hokage world. As the sound ended, a ray of light shot into Akai's body, and the side effects caused by Akai due to Yekai were eliminated in an instant. Akai felt the energy in his body, with a look of disbelief on his face. The side effects of his 8 gates Dunjia could be eliminated so easily. The power of the pendulum of time and space is indeed as powerful as a god. Not only did the side effects disappear, but Akai's own physical strength also returned to its strongest state. People in the Hokage world cheered. Well done, Akai. Is that Kai from Konoha? The legendary blue beast is indeed terrifying. Yes, this time it will bring glory to our Hokage world. Kakashi also showed approval. Well done, Akai, let's kill all these strong men from the other world like this. Naruto also jumped up. That's great, Teacher Nongmei, well done. Fourth Hokage also praised Akai for a while. Akai, didn't you expect that you would have already surpassed my apprentice Kakashi? While people in the Hokage world were cheering, the sound of the time and space pendulum rang again. The sound of profound and long-lasting vicissitudes came. I will continue to announce the candidates for the pirate world, Whitebeard Edward Newgate and Yi Yu. After hearing his name, white-bearded Edward Newgate showed an unexpected expression. He shook his head at Yi Yu. Yi Yu, I won't go to this battle. Even if I go, it will be a failure. Whitebeard Edward Newgate shook his head. The strength of the guy with the golden lion is actually almost the same as his own, and the ability of the guy with the golden lion seems to be more suitable for fighting against Akai. If you go up by yourself, you will only fail more than the golden lion. So Whitebeard decided not to go up. After hearing what Whitebeard said, Yi Yu frowned. You guys are really unreliable. If I don't go, I'm afraid none of you can be a match for Akai. That's okay, that's okay. End the battle quickly and I can have a good rest. After saying that, Yi Yu came directly to the time and space pendulum and spoke calmly to the time and space pendulum. Yi Yu, join the war. Yi Yu said calmly. Although it was just a simple sentence, it directly caused a shock in the entire pirate world. Yi Yu, my god, it's Yi Yu. Yi Yu is going to join the war, that's great. Yi Yu actually participated in the war, will he directly destroy the other world? Chapter 220 Yi Yu takes action, the end is coming. The people around him discussed Yi Yu for a while. The people in the holy land of Mariajoya showed shocked expressions one by one. Even the revolutionary Long was swallowing his saliva crazily, his eyes flashing with light. Yi Yu is going to join the war. I'm afraid he will kill that guy named Akai instantly. The E King was very excited. Great, Yi Yu's participation in the war will also let these people see the strength of our pirate world. There are no cowards in our pirate world. The she-monster king roared loudly. Sabo also showed an excited expression. Great, Yi Yu, it's Yi Yu. If Yi Yu comes, our defense of the pirate world will be stable. Above the sea, red-haired Shanks looked at the sky. After hearing Yi Yu's words, he instantly became interested. Great, Yi Yu joins the battle, and our pirate world can get back on track. Beckman also showed an excited expression. That's right, Yi Yu joins the battle. Now our pirate world will let them in other worlds take a good look at our power. Kid and others who were located near the waters of the red-haired Shanks pirates also looked shocked. Yi Yu, it's Yi Yu. Kid, look, Yi Yu is going to join the war. Kira shouted loudly from the side. After Kid heard this, his eyes flashed brightly. I really didn't expect Yi Yu will be joining the war so soon. Let the people from this different world take a good look at the strength of our pirate world ceiling. Kid looked excited. Hawkins also showed a calm expression. According to this divination, the probability of Yi Yu winning is 100. Hawkins murmured while holding his divination card. Apu came over and patted Hawkins on the shoulder, as if he was laughing. You don't need to say it, Hawkins, we don't need you to say it, we also know that Yi Yu will win this battle. At this time, people in the Hokage world also saw Yi Yu's existence. Naruto was the first to feel the look of surprise. Ah, Mr. Kakashi, is there no one left in the pirate world? You actually sent such a character to fight us. Naruto touched his head and said with a confused look on his face. After Kakashi heard this, he was not careless, but showed a solemn expression. Don't underestimate this person, Naruto. People in the pirate world have failed in previous battles. This time, they will definitely send a strong one. Kakashi frowned and said. Ah, Naruto opened his mouth wide with a look of shock. Don't worry, Mr. Kakashi, this person doesn't look as powerful as the pineapple head. I think he will definitely not be Mr. Akai's opponent. Naruto said confidently. Gaara on the side also came over. Yes, I agree with what Naruto said. The only drawback of Teacher Akai's 8 Gates armor is that you will lose your life. And due to the pendulum of time and space, you should also have discovered that Akai's side effects have completely disappeared, and he will not lose his life at all. So, Akai can always activate the 8 Gates armor, which makes him almost invincible, right? Gaara explained to Kakashi. After hearing Gaara's explanation, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief. Fourth Raikage also had a look of contempt after seeing Yi Yu. Ha ha ha, it seems that there is really no one left in the pirate world, and they would send such a person to challenge us. Fourth Mizukage Terumi was also filled with emotion. He looks like a handsome guy, but with a base like this, his strength is certainly not that great. Terumi wiped her red lips and murmured. Even Madara showed disdain. HMPH, is this the level of the so-called different world? One Akai can defeat these people. It seems like there's no need for me to go up. Madara looked at Yi Yu who was idle on the screen with contempt. The Ninja United Army also shouted one by one. If we defeat this brat again, our Hokage world will have 3 consecutive victories, haha. Isn't this the bullshit pirate world? Now a kid has been sent here. This time, Akai will definitely be able to kill this brat instantly. Just like that, Yi Yu slowly took off and reached the sky amidst the shouts of everyone. I saw Yi Yu hugging his arms and yawning, looking indifferent. Gotta hurry up, there are so many characters in the other world, I have to fight until the end of the year. Yi Yu said lightly, without even looking at Akai. This made Akai a little troubled. His blue beast was just feeling comfortable, and it defeated 2 strong men in the pirate world in one fell swoop. Then a young boy dared to ignore him like this. This made Akena very depressed. Boy, you guy, don't be too arrogant. You can defeat me, the blue beast of Konoha, Kai. Akai said angrily. But Yi Yu still looked indifferent. Come on, Metke. Arrogant boy. People in the Hokage world also expressed disapproval of Yi Yu's behavior of seeking death. A brat, so devoid of the aura of a strong man, started yelling as soon as he entered. Sasuke, the king of pretense, immediately became angry when he saw Yi Yu's pretense. How could a brat who was 100 times weaker than himself allow such a brat to show off in front of him? Stupid guy, Akai's 8 Gates can definitely kill this kid instantly. Let me tell you, Mr. Kakashi, this guy named Yi Yu must be like this because the pirate world cannot send anyone. The strong ones among them have been dispatched a long time ago, and this boy Yi Yu is just trying to make up for it. Naruto said proudly to Kakashi. Kakashi also breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, the boy in front of him had no royal aura at all. He's just a kid who pretends to be a fool. Gaara is right, he was too careless. Even the 5 shadows showed mocking expressions one by one. The Hokage world must be the most powerful among all the different dimensional worlds. Akai, just kill all the dimensional worlds in one go. The 5 shadows all cheered for Akai. At this time, the battle on the duel field has also begun. Metkai still did the same move, with his hands facing back, he started running violently. At the extremely fast speed, Akai narrowed his eyes. Facing Yi Yu, Akai directly opened his 8th gates. Shi Shang. Akai shouted loudly. In an instant, red gas began to flow crazily on Akai's body. Under the blessing of this red gas, Akai's speed directly increased dozens of times. On the entire screen, phantoms appeared one after another. People in the Hokage world were surprised for a while. Sweat broke out on Kakashi's forehead, his mouth opened wide, and he looked at Akai in disbelief. How is it possible that Akai directly opened his 8th gates? Naruto also looked surprised. No one thought that in order to deal with a kid, Akai would directly open the 8th gates, which felt like killing a chicken with a knife. Shikamaru started his own calm analysis. According to my analysis, the reason why Akai is like this is to quickly resolve the battle. This is already the 3rd battle. I believe that if the pirate world loses again, it will not be far from declaring the overall failure, so Akai wants to solve the battle quickly. There is another more important reason, that is, the pendulum of time and space can eliminate Akai's side effects. In a sense, Akai can release the 8 gates Dunjia infinitely. As soon as these analyses came out, Uzumaki Naruto swallowed a few mouthfuls of his own saliva. Is it so scary? If Teacher Nongmei can unleash the 8 gates Dunjia infinitely, there will probably be very few people in this world who can be his opponent. On the battlefield, Akai arrived in front of Yi Yu in just a moment. After turning on the 8th gate state, Akai kept shuttling around Yi Yu. Because the speed was so fast, everyone could only see one after another afterimage. Akai, who was running around Yi Yu, saw Yi Yu standing there like an idiot, and immediately showed a look of contempt. I originally thought, maybe he was a strong man who could make me burn my youth. But, looking at it now, it's just me who overthinks it. This guy seems to have no idea about fighting. He is standing there dumbfounded at this moment. He must be shocked by his own speed. This boring battle, let's end it. Akai thought in his heart, and kicked Yi Yu crazily in the head. Faced with such a scene, people in the entire pirate world were surprised, and no one showed a worried look. This was noticed by Shikamaru in the Hokage world, and he immediately realized the seriousness of this problem. Wait, something's wrong, Shikamaru said loudly. The surrounding World Alliance forces also looked in the direction of Shikamaru. Something was wrong. Everyone looked at Shikamaru in surprise. Isn't this normal? The kid named Yi Yu was so frightened that he couldn't move even under Akai's full kick. Isn't this a normal thing? No, have you noticed that the people in their world have strange confidence in this guy named Yi Yu? Shikamaru expressed his doubts. Maybe, that guy named Yi Yu is their trump card. Shikamaru widened his eyes and murmured. While he was talking, the battle on the duel field was still continuing. Akai's attack directly kicked a wall of mysterious objects, and the previous fierce attack came to an abrupt end. What? Akai's eyes widened and he looked in front of him in disbelief. There was nothing in front of him. Why couldn't he get even half a step closer? Could it be some strange defensive stealth-type ninjutsu? But Yi Yu still had a calm face and smiled slowly at Akai, not because Yi Yu wanted to delay the battle, but because Yi Yu was really eating delicious food now and had no time to take care of this guy named Akai. The city wall just now was nothing more than the Conqueror's protective shield produced by one's own Conquerors after infinite upgrades. My current Conqueror's protective shield has a radius of 100 meters, but I can't help it because my current Conqueror's is too ample. Even the defensive ninjutsu cannot resist my 8 gates Dunjia. Even Shodai's Rashomon, Konoha's Blue Beast, can definitely defeat it. Akai's attack hit the invisible barrier in front of him again. Wave after wave of air penetrated the entire world, creating wave after wave in the air, and finally all struck heavily on Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. However, something unexpected happened to Akai. Akai's attack still did not leave a single ripple on Yi Yu's Conqueror's defensive shield. The entire Hokage world was completely shocked. What exactly is going on? Then what kind of mysterious ninjutsu is it that can actually block Akai's 8 gates armor? Could it be that there is another power of 6 paths in another world? Kakashi frowned tightly and murmured. He spoke. Uzumaki Naruto also opened his mouth wide, and Teacher Akai was able to resist such a terrifying move. Gaara looked even more embarrassed. He had been analyzing just now and believed that Akai would win the final victory and win 3 consecutive victories in the Hokage world. But I really didn't expect that. This little-known kid could be so terrifying, and even defeated Akai's defense. What kind of ninjutsu is it? It's impossible to analyze at all. Shikamaru was also confused. It is unimaginable that there are people in this world who can withstand the full blow of 8 gates Dunjia chapter 8 gates. At this time, Akai, who was in the sky, did not dare to show any contempt for the young man in front of him. This terrifying ninjutsu, you should be called Yi Yu, I will always remember you. Akai said to Yi Yu. At the same time, the red steam in his body began to spray out desperately. Akai directly pressed his finger on his Achilles heel. Everyone in the Hokage world widened their eyes. Akai, is this guy preparing to use his last resort? Has a lot of energy begun to flow into the fatal point? Yi Kai. Akai's eyes turned pale and he shouted at Yi Yu in front of him. In an instant, the energy in his body surged 100 times again, and even Akai's hair stood up directly under the impact of this energy. There was energy like fire emerging from the body. Isn't the peak of youth the time when burning is the most intense? Akai said without a hint of drunkenness when facing death. Instead, he laughed and said. Being able to fight against a powerful opponent like Yi Yu made Akai very excited. People in the Hokage world looked solemn. Akai had used this move to kill the Golden Lion instantly. Nowadays, to deal with a kid, such a last resort is still needed. It seems that the people in the pirate world are not weak at all. Akai, taking a starting position on the ground, murmured to Yi Yu. You will never be able to resist this move. Akai shouted loudly. The next moment, a huge red dragon head appeared and roared at Yi Yu again. But the people in the pirate world still looked calm at this time. Just kidding, Yi Yu and Imna have both experienced battles that could destroy the world. Now, naturally, they couldn't stand the battle between Yi Yu and Akai. Although Akai's attack is very powerful, it is still a little inferior to IM. The reactions of the people in the pirate world were seen by the people in the Hokage world through the corner of the camera. At this time, some people in the Hokage world had already seen the calm expressions of the people in the pirate world. Edward Newgate, the white-bearded man, was stroking his beard, with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Although the Golden Lion was defeated in the previous battle, when facing Yi Yu's battle, he still opened his mouth wide and kept laughing. Even Marco, who was easily defeated by Akai in the first duel, looked calm at this time. From the eyes of these people, it can be clearly seen that these people in the pirate world have no worries at all about Yi Yu. Kakashi's eyes became more serious. How is it possible? Could it be that these people, facing such a terrifying blow from Akai, didn't show any awe and fear? Kakashi said in confusion. Gaara also noticed the abnormality of these people and opened his mouth wide. Could it be that they are so sure that the guy who drags his feet and is careless will win in the end? Gaara was even more confused and said in disbelief. Uzumaki Naruto had a very strange expression on his face. What are you talking about? Teacher Nongmei is so powerful, will he really lose? On the arena, Akai had already rushed towards Yi Yu quickly, and the huge red dragon head was wrapped around Akai. Akai's face was full of fighting spirit, and the space around his body gradually became distorted under Akai's attacks. On Yi Yu's side, Yi Yu still had a calm look on his face, and the food in his hand was also finished at this time. He threw a banana peel casually and threw it on the sea. Finally finished eating, Akai, has it reached the climax? But it's a pity. I need to kill all of you guys from another world this time, so I'm sorry. I'm going to take action directly this time. Yi Yu said lightly. After finishing speaking, Yi Yu waved his hand directly to Akai. Akai, who was running hard, was obviously stunned for a moment. He was about to attack me, and then waved his hand to me. Why does it look like you are saying hello? Are you sure? Are you going to attack me? Akai, who was running hard, had a look of confusion on his face. He had no idea what Yi Yu was doing. Yi Yu chuckled. Since defeating Yi Mu, he has obtained unlimited conquerors. He is getting stronger with each breath. Yi Yu can clearly feel that his current strength is stronger than before defeating Yi Mu. It's not even half a star. With just a flip of his hand, a huge palm suddenly appeared, making the entire sky become extremely dark. It was groggy and made people look very depressed. The entire sky also became filled with thunder and lightning and shook endlessly during Yi Yu's movements. It's like the end of the world.